Because of a chance encounter with a girl, I accidentally discover the secret of this girl whom everyone sees as a delinquent. At school, she looks fierce and unapproachable. Yet here she is, all alone, crouching on a park bench and crying. She's filthy and ragged, looking just like I did when I was an orphan. I can't bring myself to walk away, so I bring this miserable girl home with me. I plan to just let her stay for one night and then send her on her way. But the moment we step through the door, she gets all flustered and starts trying to repay me. The whole thing throws me completely off. My brain buzzes and just short circuits on the spot. Can I crash at your place for a while? I know I'm a bit clumsy, but I'll try my best not to be a burden. She turns her face away as she speaks, a faint blush of embarrassment spreading across her cheeks. I'm quietly stunned. Does she even realize what she's implying? My instinct is to push her away, but the moment my fingers barely lift, she starts trembling with fear. Wait, there's something I have to tell you first. Just hear me out, and if you're okay with it, can I stay? What happens next makes my eyes go wide. Right before me, a pair of broken wings slowly unfold from her slender back, and between her lips, two faint fangs come into view. As you can see, I'm not human at all. Her voice is calm and cold, and her eyes begin to glow with a dark, deep red light, sending cold sweat down my forehead. You're a vampire? More or less exactly the kind of existence you humans talk about. If you don't mind, can I stay here for a while? I have nothing left, but you can rest easy. I would never hurt anyone. I swallow hard, still not recovered from the shock. If this is too much for you, I'll leave right now. Seeing me just sitting there frozen on the couch, a shadow of sadness flickers in her eyes and she turns to leave. By the time I finally snap out of it, she's nearly reached the front door. Wait! I shoot up from the couch. Lyra stops and looks back at me, her eyes carrying that same look I saw in the park, full of loneliness and helplessness. I'm at a loss for words, not sure what to say. Even if what stands before me is a vampire, a creature unlike anything human, I can feel she means no harm at all. I just point at the table, gesturing toward the soy milk and fried dough sticks over there. I picked up breakfast on the way home. Come sit down and eat something. Now it's Lyra's turn to be stunned. She stares at me in disbelief. You know what I am, and you're still willing to sit and eat with me? Didn't you say you have nowhere to go? Besides, it's still raining out there. Either way, my conscience won't let me throw a girl in trouble out onto the street. Let's just eat first and figure the rest out later. I scratch my head, even though even I think what I'm saying sounds pretty ridiculous. Thank you. Lyra's eyes turn slightly red, looking at me like I'm her savior. I watch her awkwardly shuffle over and sit down at the table, then grab the food and wolf it down. This tastes really good. I stare at the girl scarfing down her food and can't help but wonder, do vampires eat regular food too? Lyra looks like she saw that question coming, and answers with a calm expression. Regular food keeps our body going, but as you might already know, to truly survive long-term, blood is absolutely essential. Hearing her say it so bluntly, my hand holding the soy milk gives a little shake. Lyra rests her cheek in one hand, seeming to notice my unease. She delicately bites off a small piece of the fried dough, a hint of amusement in her eyes. Relax. Unless you give your consent, I won't take a single drop of your blood. If you bit me, would I turn into one of you? The question just slips out of me, and it leaves her speechless for a long moment. She thinks it over before answering. If I intended it, then yes, it should be possible, but it's a complicated process. Creating another vampire without cause is strictly forbidden, and the threshold for turning a bloodbound is extremely high. I immediately press further. What kind of threshold? Lyra looks a little troubled, dropping her gaze and quietly sipping her soy milk. But she can't hold out against my curious stare. A deep blood bond must be established first. So put your mind at ease, I won't drink your blood, and I certainly won't turn you. Actually, if you really need it, I can offer you some of my blood. The moment I realize what I've just said, I freeze in absolute shock. With a thud, the half-eaten dough stick drops right out of my hand. Lyra looks at me unbelievably. What did you just say? Honestly, I'm genuinely curious what it feels like, and things have been really rough for me lately. Not only did my childhood girlfriend walk into someone else's arms, I'm just completely worn out. I grew up in a cold orphanage, worrying every day about getting enough to eat, even fighting other kids for food. The director not only pocketed the donations, leaving us with nothing, but forced us to obey his every word. Surviving in that kind of environment is what made me the loner I've always been. The one saving grace back then was having my girlfriend by my side. I thought she was the light that saved me, but that light went out so fast, now I feel like there's nothing left to hope for. So if your bite could put an end to all of this, that wouldn't be the worst way to go. The words barely leave my mouth when I suddenly realize the girl across from me has gone so red she looks like she might burst, and I immediately realize how that must have sounded. I meant just offering blood. I'm not trying to form any blood bond with you. That came out wrong. Lyra stares straight at me, as if she sees something in my eyes that resonates with her. She rises slowly, drifts closer, and gently cups my face in both hands, crimson light swirling in her eyes. You're really strange. You take in a stranger with nothing to gain. You know what I am, and yet you're practically offering me your blood. You're the most interesting person I've ever met. With that, she sinks her fangs into my neck. I brace myself for the pain, but to my surprise, there's none at all. Instead, warmth washes over my entire body. My eyelids grow heavy, and my body starts to fall forward on its own. Lyra catches me in her arms, greedily drawing large mouthfuls of my warm blood. Your blood is something else. It's making me feel strangely excited. Then I feel myself being gently laid down on the bed, completely drained of strength, letting her hold me softly. On the edge of unconsciousness, a faint apology reaches my ears. I'm sorry, I think I lost control. Then my consciousness sinks into darkness, The next day, a piercing alarm shatters the silence. I open my eyes in a daze and realize this is the most soundly I've slept since my parents passed. I stretch, reach for my phone, and the screen reads 6 o'clock in the evening. I've slept for 11 hours straight. I'm still staring at the time when a notification pops up. Amber has posted twice in a row on her social feed. I almost scroll past without looking, but in the end, my curiosity gets the better of me, and I tap into her profile to take a look. The caption reads, "My first gala, and I finally got to wear the dress of my dreams." In the photo, Amber is dressed to the nines in a dazzling ice blue gown, standing at the center of a lavish ballroom. She looks radiant, every strand of hair perfectly in place. She's holding a delicate wine glass, leaning against a tall, handsome guy. I know better than anyone this is the elite circle she kept talking about when she broke up with me. Just the diamonds trailing along the hem of that dress, selling me off wouldn't cover the cost. Just as I'm lost in my thoughts, a rustling sound comes from beside me and I startle, snapping my head around. Lyra is sleeping right next to me. She rubs her drowsy eyes and lazily glances at my screen. "Is that your girlfriend?" She gives me quite a scare. "How did you end up in here, and why aren't you wearing anything over that?" Lyra flips back half the blanket at that, propping herself up on one side. "There's only one bed in this place, I had to make do." She lets out a long yawn as she speaks, radiating serious morning grumpiness. "I gave you what you wanted, and now you want to back out? Not a chance." I open my mouth to respond, but then she sits up and her oversized t-shirt slips off one shoulder, and I quickly turn my face away. "Pull your collar up." Only after she turns away and fixes herself do I dare look back, and I study her carefully. "So by what you're saying, being bitten by a vampire doesn't necessarily kill you? Noble vampires don't need to kill to survive. We take blood purely to maintain our strength." Honestly, that feeling really wasn't bad at all. I linger on the memory of last night, a kind of relaxation I had never felt before. Lyra completely loses her composure at that, spitting out a mouthful of water. Seeing her react so violently, I quickly grab a towel and hand it to her. "Do you really have to be that dramatic?" Lyra snatches the dry towel and grabs my wrist in the same motion. "Nice, my foot. Are you out of your mind? Do you forget what happened last night?" She doesn't sound angry, it's more like she's embarrassed. "Please, just stop talking about it." I'm thoroughly confused, but I nod obediently anyway. "Can I use the shower?" Lyra asks with a faint blush on her cheeks. "I got water all over myself just now." "The bathroom is all yours. I'll find you something clean to wear." "Thanks." Lyra has barely stepped into the bathroom when the front doorbell rings. I shuffle over in my slippers to answer it, and the moment I crack it open and see who it is, I freeze completely, because standing outside is none other than my ex-girlfriend Amber. She looks like a completely different person, her usual ponytail replaced by flowing curls, and the warm, smiling eyes I once knew are now cold and distant. The way she looks at me now is like she's looking at a stranger on the street. "I'm here to talk." Her tone is flat and utterly cold. I stand there stunned for a few seconds before quietly nodding, glancing back at the quiet living room, then turning back to Amber. "Since you're here, I've already packed the things you left behind in a box. You can take them with you." Amber doesn't even bother to look at me properly, the contempt in her eyes impossible to hide. "Just toss that junk, it's only taking up space." She clicks her heels straight into the apartment, and the moment her eyes sweep across the dining table, she lets out a sharp, cutting laugh. I pull the door shut and turn around, meeting her mocking gaze head on. "What are you laughing at?" "Lucien, we're not kids anymore. Stop acting like one. I know you can't let go, but we've been over for a long time." Hearing that, I furrow my brow. "What are you even talking about?" Amber walks over to the table, picks up a cup, and flashes me a fake smile. "This is my cup, isn't it? You kept it, and you've been secretly using it. Doesn't that make you sick? Aren't you being a bit overdramatic?" "I haven't touched that cup. I only took it out because I had a guest." I'm just getting ready to defend myself further, when she lets go and drops the cup straight into the trash. "Don't touch my personal belongings, and don't keep anything I've left behind. The way you carry yourself is just pathetic." I stare at the trash can and fall silent. Looking at this polished stranger in front of me, I suddenly feel nothing at all. I know what you're thinking. You think I'm materialistic. And you're right, Lucien. I want money and power, plain and simple. But you need to face reality. You're just a helpless orphan with no one and nothing. My parents spent their whole lives on fixed wages, grinding through hardship. And do you have any idea what it feels like to be terrified of being poor? I did want to build something with you once, but back then I was short-sighted. I had no idea how the world really worked. The truth is, Amber's parents meant more to me than she knows. They were the ones who gave me a second chance at life. When that corrupt orphanage shut down, it was her parents who took me in. When I really think about that history, Amber and I were practically like siblings for a while. And now the way Amber looks at me is like she's staring at mud in a gutter. She deliberately shows off the bag on her arm. "Do you even know how much this brand costs? You could work yourself to death for a year and still not afford it. Do you understand what this bag represents?" Seeing that I say nothing, her sense of superiority goes through the roof. "This is the ticket into the world of the wealthy. Lucien, don't tell me you haven't seen my posts. Last night he took me to a fine dining restaurant. The kind of place you couldn't even dream up. Everything is flown in fresh and made to order. Do you understand what that means?" I let out a short laugh and fire back. "It means you finally landed yourself a sugar daddy. It means the gap between our classes, Lucien. It means I've grabbed hold of happiness, and that's something you could never give me in this lifetime." Amber sweeps a disdainful gaze around the apartment, the very place we once carefully picked out together to share. her face written all over with disgust. I must have lost my mind back then, agreeing to squeeze into a dump like this with you. I wouldn't even want to set foot in this place now. Do you have any idea where I'm living now? What did you actually come back for? Hurry up, grab it and get out. I'm living in a luxury villa district now, the most exclusive neighborhood in the entire city. So what? I can't stand another second of this. I'm genuinely baffled by how she's become this person. Every illusion I ever had about her is shattered. I can't deny that I once lowered myself to thinking about getting back together, even splurging on an expensive bracelet. But now I just want this nightmare of a person out of my life as fast as possible. As for the cup she just threw away, the truth is I only had that one left. I even washed it 3 times before letting Lyra use it in a pinch, but explaining any of that is pointless now. My current boyfriend is waiting right outside the building. You've probably seen that kind of supercar online. I won't mention the price, I don't want to hurt your fragile ego. Lucian, just accept reality and stop holding on to any fantasies about me. I only came back today for one thing, to take that photo of us and throw it away. I say nothing after that, and head into the room, finding the photo frame in no time. Inside is a photo of the two of us from back then. In the photo, our faces are still young and unguarded, our hearts pressed close together, laughing without a care in the world, like a pair of fools. But things stayed the same only in pictures. People don't. Amber won't even look at it directly. Maybe she thinks it'll bring bad luck. Or maybe somewhere deep down her conscience stirred, and she still feels a trace of guilt toward me. She snaps open her bag, pulls out a thick envelope and slaps it on the table. Consider this a breakup payment, Lucian. Take it and spend it. I stare at the envelope and let out a sharp laugh. Did your sugar daddy hand you that? This is enough to cover all 4 years of your university tuition, so you don't have to keep waiting tables and taking people's crap. I furrow my brow and look at this hypocritical woman. Take your filthy money and get out. Amber sees me still talking tough and just assumes I'm too proud for my own good, so she makes her words even harsher. If you ever dare to message me again, I will make sure you... Right at that exact moment, the bathroom door clicks open, and Lyra steps out wrapped in a towel, her cheeks flushed pink from the steam, droplets of water still clinging to her collarbone. The sight is absolutely devastating. And that face of hers, it hits on a completely different level, leaving Amber utterly stunned. Who is she? She jabs a finger at Lyra and demands an answer. What business is it of yours? You got what you came for, now get out. I can't be bothered to explain a single word to her. But Amber explodes with rage, eyes blazing as she glares at me. Lucian, I haven't even fully moved out yet, and you're already bringing some woman back here? Look at you. I dig a finger in my ear and tune her out like background noise, just about to throw her out, when Amber suddenly looks like she's made a discovery. She fixates on Lyra's face, and sneers with a nasty edge. Well, I was wondering who this was. It turns out it's the most talked about girl on campus. Amber struts forward on her stilettos, closing in on Lyra, her face twisted with undisguised mockery. You're Lyra, aren't you? We're new students in the same year. Oh, I've heard plenty about you. Word is you're easy if the price is right. How much did Lucian have to spend to get you here? Probably because seeing a girl more beautiful than herself in her ex's apartment triggers every twisted strand of jealousy in Amber, and her pathetic, laughable pride. She simply cannot allow me to have someone better than her, even if it's just a matter of looks. But Lyra doesn't even spare her a proper glance, leaning lazily against the doorframe as if she's long grown tired of this kind of talk. Lucian, let me give you a word of advice. A woman like this is all looks and nothing else. She is a parasite who latches onto money. Don't get hooked on someone you can just buy. I never... Lyra tilts her head up slightly and looks at me, as if she wants to explain something, but Amber's sharp voice cuts her off. Do I even need to spell out what you're really about? You think nobody knows what you've been up to? You've been tangled up with guys from outside campus, and your adoptive parents' deaths are still shrouded in mystery. Maybe you're the reason they're dead. She doesn't even finish before I step directly in front of Lyra, fixing Amber with an ice-cold stare. I hear your advice loud and clear. Amber, I swear I will never again lose myself over a woman who only clings to money and can be bought with it. How dare you? Amber catches the mockery in my words, and the worst part is she has no comeback. After all, the fact that she abandoned me for a rich man is undeniable. For money, she threw away years of what we had, and that's the truth staring us both in the face. Burning with humiliation and rage, Amber jabs a finger at Lyra. How could a low woman like her even be compared to me? I slam my fist hard into the wall beside her, driving her back into the corner. Lucian, you'd really do this for someone like her? Are you actually going to hit me? Out of respect for what we once had, I'll let this go. She's with me, and what happens to her is none of your concern. Now get out. Amber has never seen me like this. When we were together, I never once raised my voice at her. She always thought I was a pushover, a little lamb that would put up with anything. But now that lamb is showing its teeth, and the reason for it all is the girl everyone talks badly about. Lyra also stands frozen in place, because she is not even human, yet here is a human, knowing full well what she is, still willing to stand in front of her like this. You're hopeless, Lucian, I won't forget this. She shoots me one last venomous glare, then sweeps a look over the silent Lyra. What a woman with no standards, happy to pick up what other people threw away. With those ugly words hanging in the air, Amber storms out and slams the door. I feel a weight lift from my chest the moment she's gone, and I look down at the back of my hand, reddened from the punch against the wall. A thought quietly takes hold. Why did I lose control like that just now? Then Lyra gently takes my hand, looking at me with worried eyes. I'm sorry. That's my line. Besides, she was my ex. Don't take anything she said to heart. I'm going to shower and cool down. I try to pull my hand back, but Lyra suddenly pushes me up against the wall. Her strength is startling, and she tilts her head up to look at me, her red eyes shimmering with an almost charming glow. I'm sorry, I really can't hold back anymore. Can I have just one more taste? Didn't you say noble vampires don't? Look at the situation we're in right now. I truly am sorry, but ever since I tasted you last night, I've been slowly losing control. Her voice trembles slightly as she speaks, and her eyes are filled with longing. I can clearly see she's been fighting her desire with everything she has. Maybe it's just like she explained, prolonged hunger alone only leads to weakness, not a craving this intense. It was I who broke her restraint last night, like throwing meat to a starving predator. This kind of instinctive hunger is not something she can simply stop. At least let me shower first. I smile helplessly. Lyra looks utterly reluctant, but she finally lets go. Her pale face is full of longing, lips slightly parted, those faint little fangs peeking out, and somehow, they only make her look more beautiful. I slowly raise my hand and gently ruffle her hair. Just bear with it a little longer. I'm not going anywhere. With that, I slip into the bathroom feeling strangely at ease. When I come out, I find Lyra quietly waiting right outside the door. She's completely transformed. Silver hair cascading down, eyes like deep red rubies, those little fangs showing, and that barely contained look of urgency in her eyes. Everything about her is silently declaring that I'm already hers. May I now? Even now, she still holds on to her manners, a delicate flush spreading across her cheeks. I give a small nod, taking it as a yes. Lyra settles her slender frame onto the sofa, holding a book up in front of me, and leans her body gently against mine. Before I can even take in that warmth, her two sharp fangs descend without waiting another moment, and press lightly into my neck. It's exactly like last time. The moment her fangs sink in, there's no pain at all, only an indescribable feeling of comfort. The sensation is so strangely wonderful that I give up any resistance and gently wrap my arms around her. Just before my consciousness fades completely, I hear her soft whisper at my ear. You just said I'm yours, so you'd better take responsibility for that. After that, I lose consciousness entirely. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Amber leaves the apartment, heads downstairs, and climbs straight into a luxury sports car. That broke guy actually laid a hand on you. I'll have someone teach him a lesson. Forget it, darling. Don't bother with someone that low. He's just bitter. Someone like us shouldn't waste our time on him. All right, whatever you say. Ready to head out now, babe? I've booked that Ocean View restaurant, and I've arranged for a musician to play. I remember you love piano. Great. You're always so good to me, darling. Let's go. Amber tosses the photo frame out the window without a second thought. She couldn't care less about the photo inside. It's simply that now she sees herself as someone of status, and something that documents her past is not something she can leave in the hands of an ex. But the moment the engine roars to life, a pair of eyes emerges from the shadows, flickering with an unnerving red glow. Despicable humans, how dare you humiliate my master? The car has barely pulled away, when one of the tires blows out, sending the car into a violent skid, and it slams hard into a tree at the side of the road. Watching the two of them crawl out of the wreck in a sorry state, the figure in the shadows lets out a cold snort. If it weren't for the Arcane Oversight Bureau's rules, today's lesson would have been a lot worse. With that, the figure melts back into the darkness. Back upstairs, the sound of a violent crash from below, followed by the piercing wail of a car alarm, stirs Lyra awake. She quietly sits up in bed, pulls a jacket over her shoulders, and drifts to the window to look down below. The luxury car is completely wrecked, and a crowd of onlookers has already gathered around it. Her gaze drifts past the noise of the crowd and lands on a quiet alley not far away, fixed on a corner that appears completely empty. Her eyes shift from violet to red in an instant, and she speaks into the empty air in a cold voice. Come out. A dark figure sweeps in through the window, and it is unmistakably the same mysterious figure from before, her delicate features cool and sharp beneath the moonlight. She drops into an elegant curtsy before Lyra. My master! That was your doing just now, wasn't it? My master, I cannot stand by while others show you disrespect. Don't call me that. You're not my direct bloodbound. Facing this silver-haired girl, Lyra seems like an entirely different person, eyes cold, expression imperious. Our era ended long ago. This is the age of human dominance. If the Arcane Oversight Bureau comes after you, don't expect me to step in. You have nothing to worry about. I would never bring you trouble. Unless you've developed real feelings for this human? Elena's gaze shifts to me, still lying on the bed. A sharp red light flashes through Lyra's eyes, and in the next second she appears right in front of Elena, looming over her, voice icy. Don't get any ideas about him. Elena, I am not your master, and you are not under my command. From now on, stop following me. Find somewhere else to exist. This city is not big enough for two of our kind. My master! Elena opens her mouth as if to say more, but in the end she lowers her head in submission, her form then dissolving into dark mist and vanishing without a trace. Lyra turns and walks back to the bedside, quietly gazing at me as I sleep. The coldness on her face slowly fades and her eyes drift back to their soft, gentle violet. She carefully reaches out a finger, inching toward my cheek, then stops just before touching it. In the end, she simply lies back down beside me. The next day is a busy Monday. Lyra and I both have morning classes, so after breakfast we head to school together. As we near the building, Lyra gives me a small wave and walks ahead on her own. For some reason, I get the feeling that at school she's deliberately keeping her distance from me, as if she's afraid someone might notice something. When classes end in the afternoon, my good friend Landon catches up with me. He's one of the very few friends I have at school. We walk home together, him pushing along an old bicycle, a trusty companion he's had since middle school. What a shame you two were so close in high school, always finding new ways to show it off. Amber and I were practically inseparable throughout high school. Since I'd been an orphan since childhood, her parents had always been kind to me. Who could have predicted things would end up like this? If I told Landon right now that I nearly punched Amber yesterday, I wonder what he'd think. Landon sees me go quiet for a while and assumes he's hit a sore spot. So he says with a hint of guilt, "Don't be sad over someone like that. I'm treating you to barbecue tonight. I know a place that's absolutely amazing." I'm about to politely decline, because I don't know when Lyra will be back, and I don't want her going hungry tonight. But then I remember I've already given her the spare key. Worst case, I'll just buy some barbecue and bring it back for her. So I follow Landon to the barbecue stall. We're barely seated when Landon, after a few cold beers, starts feeling the effects. He claps me hard on the shoulder and starts in. "Bro, you're tall and good looking. You can find someone better. As for the kind who turns on you the moment money's involved, just see it for what it is. You got a good look at who she really was." My heart is completely still as I listen, and I just smile at my tipsy friend. It's all in the past. "Lucian, you think I'm just trying to make you feel better? When I say you've got what it takes, I mean it. If you actually want someone, you'd be off the market in no time. Hey, check it out. That waitress over there is really something." I follow the direction of his finger and spot a waitress working hard. She looks petite and slender, silver hair hanging loosely, face covered by a mask pulled up tight. I can't help but narrow my eyes slightly. The clothes she's wearing look awfully familiar. I'm pretty sure I own something exactly like that. Even with most of her face covered, her eyes are unusually alive, even faintly glowing with a hint of soft violet. "Here you go. The grilled meat you ordered." Right at that moment, the girl walks over carrying a plate. She sets down the sizzling skewers. Her voice carries a delicate, ethereal quality, cool and distant, like a breath of cold wind on a winter night, crisp and clear. But it sounds so familiar to me, as if I've been hearing it every single day lately. "Thank you." I give her a polite nod. The girl turns to attend to another table, but my eyes keep following her figure, feeling like the answer is right in front of me. "Hey Lucian, what's gotten into you lately?" Landon's loud voice snaps me back. "You've knocked back 6 bottles and you haven't even gone pink. I remember you used to be a lightweight, 2 bottles and you'd be talking nonsense. How are you suddenly drinking like this?" Only after he points it out do I realize. I've drunk 6 bottles without even noticing. It's not an outrageous amount, my head is completely clear. Forget that. What did you think of that girl just now? I'm telling you, don't let the mask fool you. With my years of reading people, I bet anything she's stunning underneath. I can't help but laugh and tease him. "Landon, you've never even held a girl's hand, and you're out here calling yourself an expert?" Landon is clearly properly drunk now. He lifts his glass and downs a big gulp, then jabs a wobbly finger at me in protest. "Don't underestimate me. I just don't want to be tied down. If I actually wanted a relationship, I could find someone in no time." Seeing my skeptical look, he gets fired up on the spot. "You don't believe me? I'll prove it to you right now. It's exactly 10 o'clock at night, the busiest hour for a barbecue stall. The girl from earlier is clearly new. She just got a talking to from the boss for delivering the wrong order and is now quietly clearing up a table. "Hey, excuse me." Landon suddenly drags me along and walks right over, greeting her at full volume. The girl pauses what she's doing and looks up at him with those expressive eyes. "Would you be okay with exchanging contacts?" I can't believe what I was hearing. Emboldened by the alcohol, Landon has actually gone through with it. All I feel right now is secondhand embarrassment, because the girl is tilting her head slightly and looking at us like we're completely hopeless. "Sorry, I already have a boyfriend." The girl says it flatly without missing a beat. Landon looks like he's been struck by lightning. "I told you not to embarrass yourself. Happy now?" I give him a helpless pat on the back. Before he can even recover from the rejection, the waitress has already stepped right up to me, looking me straight in the eye. "Today's my first shift. I'll probably be here late. You should head home early. Don't wait up for me." My hand freezes mid-pat on Landon's back, and I can only stare blankly at the girl in front of me. Landon is just as stunned. He whips his head around, staring at me, then back at the girl, completely lost. "You two know each other?" Before I can say a word, Lyra simply nods with total composure. "He's my boyfriend." "Lyra?" I finally put it all together. "What are you doing working here?" "I can't just eat and sleep at your place for free. I want to earn something like you do, at least enough to help out a little." Looking at this thoughtful girl in front of me, everything suddenly feels surreal. A vampire of noble and mysterious standing, carrying plates at a barbecue stall in the middle of the night. Landon has completely shut down. He doesn't even have the energy to demand an explanation. Seeing him this far gone, I flag down a car by the roadside and bundle him into the back seat to send him home. After settling the bill, I walk back to the stall. Landon was supposed to be treating me, but somehow I end up paying. I shake my head with a wry smile. Seeing Lyra still running around nonstop, I don't want to get in her way. I consider sitting nearby to wait for her shift to end, but just sitting there without ordering anything feels awkward. So I wait for her gap and walk over. "Make sure you get home safe after your shift." With that, I head off on my own. Walking the quiet streets home, the cold winter wind pushes its way in through my collar. In the past, after working late until midnight, I would have been shivering from the cold. That feeling was absolutely unbearable. But tonight, facing this biting cold, I strangely didn't feel a trace of chill. What I find even more unbelievable is that this alley, without a single streetlight, is as clear to me as broad daylight. Just as I reach deeper into the alley, a black car pulls out and cuts off my path. 4 or 5 men in black suits step out. I know immediately this is bad, and start to fall back, only to find the way behind me is blocked by another car and more heavy-set men. "You're Lucian?" The last one out of the car is a tall, well-built man around my age, but every move he makes radiates authority, clearly someone born into wealth. That's me. Hey guys, you wouldn't be here for my money, would you? I put on a smile to buy time while scanning the perimeter for any way out. After all, growing up the way I did, I've developed a sharp instinct for danger, and these men are absolutely not here for anything good. I haven't lost many fights, but these men in suits are clearly trained professionals. 2 fists can't hold off 10. If it comes to a straight brawl, I'm not walking away clean. So you're the one who put his hands on my girlfriend? The man strolls up to me with a cold smile, pressing a fancy handkerchief over his mouth and nose, as if the air here disgusts him. I've already figured it out. This is almost certainly Amber's new man. I should have just landed that punch on her directly. Anyway, this trouble can't be avoided either way. Roman confirms my identity and gets back into the car without looking back, giving a casual wave to the bodyguards through the window, and coldly letting out 2 words. Do it. The moment the words land, the suited men lunge at me. I react instantly, shoving the bicycle forward and barely blocking the first wave. As the fight unfolds, I'm shocked to realize my strength seems far greater than before. These professionally trained bodyguards are temporarily unable to do anything with me. Useless trash, I spend a fortune keeping you around and you can't even handle one broke student. Roman sits comfortably in the back seat, dabbing his handkerchief to his face between every sentence. But I'm still outnumbered, and these are professional bodyguards. After holding out for a while, I finally get taken down. Fists come down on me like raindrops in a storm. I can only curl up to protect my head, gritting my teeth and waiting for a chance to fight back. Enough, drag him over here. Roman has moved to the front passenger seat, door wide open, watching me like it's a show. I'm covered in injuries without even the strength to stand. You probably think I had you roughed up because you hit that woman. A woman like that isn't worth a second of my concern. She just has a decent enough face, that's all. She told me you two met in high school, and that you chased after her relentlessly, until she finally gave in and agreed to date you. But whether or not that's true, I don't want to see you anywhere near her again. And here's the part that genuinely surprises me. After all that time together, you never touched her. She came to me completely inexperienced. I almost laughed. I added her less than a week ago, took her to one nice dinner, gave her a phone, and she was mine just like that. He grabs my head and looks me up and down with contempt, letting out a laugh. Roman slaps my face and laughs without restraint. I know you'd love to kill me right now, but people like you need to accept the reality of where you stand. Honestly, a woman who's never seen the world is always the most entertaining. Anger? Do I even feel angry right now? By any normal measure, I should be, but my heart is completely still. Hearing about Amber's betrayal, all I feel is a deep, hollow sadness, not for myself, but for her. Watch your mouth, Roman. Someone might be recording this. Think about how that would look online. Can you tell your men to let go of me first? Roman ignores my request entirely, grabs a tight fistful of my hair. No matter how much I explain it to you, the gap between where you stand and where I stand is something you will never close, so I won't waste my breath. I have extremely high standards when it comes to my personal life. Until I'm done with that woman, you'd better not exchange a single word with her. Are we clear? You worthless little nobody. As he goes on throwing threats around without a care, he happens to meet my eyes. He expects to see fear, or the kind of helpless rage that comes with it, but he sees nothing, because my eyes are as still as standing water, carrying a kind of cold indifference that makes the skin crawl. After all, everyone only has one life, his counts, and so does mine. While he was busy mocking me, my mind was already running through exactly what it would take to bring him down with me, and it's not impossible. But the brainless Roman has clearly misread me. He takes my calm as a direct challenge. A flash of killing intent crosses his eyes. He wipes his hands with his handkerchief in disgust, then gets up and walks to the back of the car. He pulls out a baseball bat and strolls back to me with a cold grin. You've got a death wish. What do you mean? I haven't said a word. Before I can finish, the bat connects squarely with my head. The dull crack rings through the cold night, and warm blood slides instantly down my forehead. Trash belongs in the gutter, where it always will be. He tosses the bloodied bat aside in disgust. Everything spins. The world bleeds red before my eyes, and the sounds around me begin to fade. I gasp desperately for air, but every breath pulls at the agony in my chest. This time, I think I might actually be finished. The warmth draining from my body, the pain going numb. Then the darkness swallows everything. I don't know how much time passes before I wake to the sound of an ancient cryptic chant, a voice that feels like it has crossed 1,000 years to reach me. I try to move, and to my shock, there's no pain. I reach up to touch the wound on my head, and it's healed, miraculously and completely, as if the beating I just endured was nothing but a strange, senseless nightmare. I get up and look around, nothing but darkness in every direction, except for a massive stone gate ahead radiating a faint glow. The heavy stone doors are carved with elaborate runes, flickering dimly in the dark, exuding a deep and ancient presence, like a secret code woven into a strange and haunting totem. Above the runes are relief carvings, each one startlingly lifelike. Twisted forms, monstrous creatures with horrifying faces, like demons clawing up from the abyss. Damn, did I actually fall into hell? I mutter with a self-deprecating laugh, and carefully reach out to push the gate. The massive stone doors don't budge. Just as I'm starting to wonder, a strange whisper filters through the gate and into my mind. It's a language I've never heard before, yet it feels branded into my very soul, and somehow I can recall and repeat every word. Without thinking, I follow the voice and speak the ancient incantation aloud. The moment the last word leaves my lips, The gate lets out a deep rumble and slowly swings inward. Beyond it is a ruined temple, dim and barely lit, crumbling walls and broken stone in every direction, with only a single throne left untouched. Seated on the throne is a young man, strikingly handsome, his dark skin marked with golden runes. His black hair hangs loose and disheveled, and his clothing is distinctly unusual, carrying the unmistakable style of ancient Babylon. "Hey?" I step forward and ask where I am, but the young man says nothing, resting his chin in one hand, muttering to himself. How could I have lost? Why did I lose? Just then, a mechanical prompt sounds in my mind. Demon Bale. Classification, extinction class. Soul status fractured. Objective, repair Bale's soul. Each stage of restoration grants a portion of his power. Current progress 0%. I stare at the blank-faced young man before me. This is Bale, the demon king among the 72 pillars. I don't know the legends of Solomon in detail, only that he was an ancient king of Israel who made pacts with demons in exchange for wisdom. No wonder Bale looks so vacant. His soul is broken. The prompt says that restoring his soul will return his power to me, a way to turn everything around. With that in mind, I pull myself together and try to talk to him. But no matter what I say, no matter how I try, the young man pays me no attention at all, so I just reach out and tap him. The sharp sound rings out and echoes through the empty ruins. Bale snaps awake instantly. He slowly turns to look at me, his eyes filled with complete confusion. Who are you? Before I can answer, the prompt fires again in my mind. Baal's soul has been awakened. Current restoration progress 1%. Baal's gaze has been obtained. Absorption of his power has begun. I can't help but think, all it took was a tap? Before I can even process it, a mysterious power surges through me, and I feel every cell in my body restructuring, like being reborn entirely. As the surge slowly subsides, the young man rises slowly from the throne, walks toward me barefoot. Waking me grants you power. I understand what you want. You want a dying body brought back to life? I stand frozen, staring up at this tall, white-haired young man, my lips barely moving. Who would choose to die when living is an option? The young man watches me in silence, golden eyes radiating absolute authority, and I meet his gaze without flinching. That seems to spark something in him. He lets out a quiet laugh. Power isn't so easy to control. Feel free to find out for yourself whether you can handle even this much. With that, he flicks his hand, and my consciousness is ripped away in an instant, plunging into the darkness deep within the temple. Back in the alley, Roman spits on me as I lie on the ground and climbs back into his car, muttering curses. What did Amber ever see in someone like this? Turns down money and goes looking for trouble. Roman shakes his head in dismissal. One of the bodyguards looks at him uneasily. Young master, the master ordered no injuries but what you did just now. Clean it up, it's not like it's the first time. I looked into him. He's an orphan with no family, no connections. If he disappears, nobody will ask questions. Roman snaps his gaze to the window. The dark sky looks ready to open up. The previously still sky suddenly churns with heavy storm clouds, lightning flickering deep within them. What terrible weather! Then again, perfect cover for what needs to be done. While it's raining, take him and... He doesn't finish. The bodyguards freeze, because the man lying unconscious on the ground is gone. In that same moment, a thunderous crash shakes the roof of the car. He stares at the caved-in roof in disbelief. What was that? A humanoid figure stands on top of the car, torn shirt exposing strange runes across its skin, hands transformed into black claws, golden beast-like eyes locked onto Roman, lips curling into a sinister grin. The moment that grin spreads, the storm clouds split and hurl lightning down to earth, radiating outward from the figure at the center, blanketing a full kilometer in an instant. Within that range, every electronic device and vehicle goes completely dead. Thousands of lightning bolts converge on the center, all of them surging toward the figure. As the lightning tears through the night sky, it illuminates the terrifying silhouette on the roof. The men in black cry out in terror, their screams drawing the figure's attention. Before the screams even fade, claws crackling with lightning send them all flying, their eyes wide with total despair. None of them ever imagined ending up like this. What follows is a complete one-sided massacre. Every flash of lightning drops another man, and within moments the mingling of screams and thunder builds into something like a savage symphony. As the last man falls, silence reclaims the alley. As for Roman, the roof has caved in so severely that the car doors are warped shut. He huddles in his seat, trembling, waiting as the silence outside stretches on. Roman still doesn't dare look up, praying he hasn't been noticed. But that is wishful thinking. His heavy, ragged breath breaks the silence. Who's in there? I'm the son of the Holt conglomerate. Don't touch me, whatever you are. My father is very powerful. Before he can finish, claws smash through the window and yank him out like he weighs nothing. The sight before him destroys any last hope. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I'll give her back. I'll give you anything you want. You want money? I have plenty. I'll give you as much as you want. The figure tilts its head slightly, merciless golden eyes staring him down like a lamb about to be slaughtered. Then without warning, he grins, the same unsettling curve as before. Then he raises a hand and snaps its fingers. A crack of thunder, and lightning strikes Roman's right arm dead on, charring it black and leaving it completely numb. Ah, my arm. Pain and terror tear through him. He has lived his whole life in comfort and luxury, never knowing real pain, and now his entire arm is gone. Tears and snot smear across his face. He knows clearly there is no escaping this. But the figure doesn't seem to want to end it quickly. It intends to make him suffer. Just as those claws reach out to finish him off, The oppressive storm clouds of the seal field are forcibly torn open. A brilliant full moon rises into the night sky, and silver moonlight breaks through the darkness. Descending with the moonlight is a winged girl, her silver hair wild in the wind, crimson eyes raised high. Infernal domain is active, Crimson Hunt! With her cold voice, the bright moon is instantly stained a vivid violet crimson. The figure looks up toward Lyra, and a flash of wild excitement crosses those golden eyes. Lyra calls out urgently, "Wake up, Lucian! You have to learn to control this power. Don't let yourself become his puppet." My pupils slowly drift upward, fixing on her with an expression full of surprise, then shifting into boundless amusement, and from my lips spills a string of ancient words. Then a wild bolt of lightning strikes directly at Lyra. Her wings behind her snap open with a violent beat, barely carrying her out of the lightning's killing blow. But I close in on her at terrifying speed and grab her by the throat before she can even steady herself. Then my thick tail slams into her abdomen with brutal force. Her small body is sent flying up into the air. A thin trail of red seeps from the corner of her lips, yet her face shows not a trace of pain. But I, out of control just a moment ago, freeze after landing that blow. The blazing gold of my eyes slowly dims, and my towering body sways unsteadily. I sweep my gaze around. The ground is littered with unconscious figures. Reason snaps back all at once, and I realize I've hurt people, this many people. My whole body won't stop shaking, and my voice breaks as I speak to Lyra. "Lyra, I'm the one who did this to you." Lyra simply sits up and touches my cheek gently, her voice softer than I've ever heard it. "Don't be afraid. I'm here. You're going to be okay." Then she parts her lips and presses them gently to my neck. Like a powerful sedative, the trembling in my body slowly settles, the strange runes fade back beneath my skin, and that restless, raging force dissolves completely in an instant. My distorted face returns to calm, and the chaos in my eyes clears back to something human. Apart from the searing pain in my head, everything that just happened feels like a nightmare. "Lucian, you're just exhausted. Sleep easy." Lyra looks a little worn out herself. She reaches out and gently holds me as I slip into unconsciousness, and in the blink of an eye we vanish from the spot. Meanwhile, somewhere in a bank tower in Tianhai City, everyone should have gone home long ago, yet figures keep moving in and out. 4 people have gathered in the intelligence hall, 2 men, 2 women, all with grave expressions, each carrying an air of quiet authority. A middle-aged man in a black coat furrows his brow and speaks first. 2 domains appearing simultaneously. Could they be fighting over territory? Beside him, a sharp-looking woman in glasses responds with a cold expression. "If it were a territorial fight, do you think we'd be sitting here having a calm discussion?" At that, a young woman begins her analysis with quiet composure. The incident occurred in the West District of Tianhai. The alley is rarely frequented, no residents, no shops nearby, and not a single building suffered any damage. 10 people suffered serious injuries at the scene, and 1 sustained minor injuries. One of the 2 domains has no record in our database whatsoever. The other is a disaster class reading. The man in the coat snaps upright the moment she finishes, cold sweat instantly soaking through to his spine. "A disaster class other kind? Is the Arcane Oversight Bureau just decorative? Just letting a disaster class being show up and cause havoc?" The young woman in the black suit who just delivered the analysis slowly rises from her chair. She wears a neat uniform, looks barely past her early 20s, with short hair that falls to her shoulders, and an unreadable smile that never quite leaves her face. As she stands, every eye in the room turns to her. I should clarify this point. She is a registered and documented individual. The room erupts in stunned silence. Everyone exchanges glances. "Disaster class? There's a registered disaster class other kind in Tianhai City? How have none of us ever heard of this? Director Tess, don't you owe us an explanation?" The girl addressed as Director Tess glances at the man in the coat, completely ignores his demand, and unhurriedly picks up her coffee cup. "Since we brought you all here, we obviously have no intention of keeping this hidden any longer." She picks up a tablet and walks toward the large screen. "As I said, 2 domains appeared this time. The disaster class other kind was entered into the archives 15 years ago." She taps the screen twice with her fingertip, and a file appears on the screen, a silver-haired girl. Name, Leona. True name, unverifiable. Mythological origin, unknown. Age, incalculable. She is a highly unusual other kind, classified as a vampire, yet fundamentally different from ordinary vampires. She has never turned a bloodbound to expand her power. Instead, she has always sought to blend into human society and live as an ordinary person. 5 years ago, she was adopted by an elderly couple and renamed Lyra. 15 years ago, I personally vouched for her registration with the Arcane Oversight Bureau. Now she has made contact with another other kind on her own, and even activated domain power. This falls under my jurisdiction. I will get to the bottom of it, including the newly emerged other kind. The room draws another sharp collective breath. 15 years ago? Director Tess says she vouched for her 15 years ago, but she barely looks 20. Wouldn't she have been a small child back then? Seemingly reading their suspicion, Tess laughs with a trace of sheepishness. "A woman's age is her own business. I hope you'll all be understanding." At the same time, I snap my eyes open. I'm staring up at a familiar ceiling, and somehow I'm already lying in bed. Lyra is asleep, slumped over the edge of the bed. The sound of me stirring wakes Lyra as well, and she slowly straightens up. What exactly happened last night? I have a vague memory of losing consciousness after Roman's humiliation and beating, but somewhere in the back of my mind I think I saw a lot of blood. A lot of people fallen at my feet. Did I actually hurt people? I look at her, my eyes unsteady. Lyra sits quietly at the edge of the bed, rests a hand gently on my shoulder and speaks in a very soft voice. It's completely normal to lose control of your power the first time a domain is opened. So does that mean every time I use this power from now on, I'll lose control? Just as she's about to answer, there's a knock at the door. It's 9 o'clock at night. Who would be coming over this late? I don't really have many friends. Could it be Landon coming for his bicycle? While I'm still puzzling over it, a young woman's voice comes from outside. Sorry to bother you, could you open the door? I'm not here to cause any trouble. At the sound of that unfamiliar voice, Lyra visibly tenses. When I open the door, I find a young woman in a suit standing outside, tall, attractive, with neat short hair, and that same unreadable smile on her face. She's holding a plastic bag. I picked up some dinner on the way. Mind if I come in? She gives the bag a little shake as she says it, and the smell of food drifts out. I don't know this woman at all, but growing up the way I did, I've learned to read people, and something in her eyes tells me there's more beneath the surface. The smile is there, but behind it her eyes carry a faint edge of cold. Are you here to sell something? I'm not buying anything. I test the waters with a refusal, but this woman is clearly prepared for that. She suddenly extends a hand toward me. Both Lyra, who has just stepped out of the room behind me, and I see it, and we both tense up immediately. Lyra especially, the moment she sees the woman at the door, every part of her goes on high alert. Seeing the woman reach toward me, she nearly activates her domain right then and there, but the woman simply holds out an ID card. My name is Tess. I'm the Deputy Director of the Arcane Oversight Bureau here in Tianhai City. See, I'm a government official. I'm not here to cause harm. May I come in? I take the card and examine it carefully, but I can't identify what kind of credential it even is, let alone what the Arcane Oversight Bureau is. I glance back at Lyra. She has only just let out a breath of relief. Seeing that I'm looking to her for a read, she gives a small nod. All right, come in. I pull the door open and step aside. The woman named Tess steps inside, casually sets the bag down on the table, and noticing Lyra still standing there frozen, she smiles and waves her over. Don't just stand there, come sit down. She acts like she owns the place. I go to the kitchen and pour tea for Tess, though my guard stays firmly up. After setting the cup on the table, I walk over and sit down beside Lyra. Seeing that I've given away her cup, she tugs at my sleeve with a small frown. That's my cup. Only then do I realize the cup I poured for Tess is the one Amber left behind. That cup's already tainted anyway. Once she's done with it, we'll throw it out and get a new one. Lyra still looks a little unhappy, but nods obediently all the same. Tess picks up the cup, takes a sip of tea, then looks up at me. Am I allowed to drink this? Go ahead. I don't bother making a thing of it. With my permission, Tess takes a proper sip, looking thoroughly satisfied, then turns to Lyra with a smile. What's with the cold shoulder? A few months apart and you're already this distant? Come sit closer. She pats the seat beside her as she says it. Lyra pouts slightly, and slowly walks over to sit beside Tess. Tess casually reaches up and ruffles Lyra's hair like it's the most natural thing in the world. I stare, completely caught off guard. Lyra, this compliant? Or is this woman simply too powerful for even Lyra to push back against? Either way, this is going to be complicated. Little Moon, don't call me that. I hate that name. Lyra's tone is flat, but beneath the coldness is a compliance that doesn't quite dare to push back. Tess stubs out a cigarette, then looks over at me. You too, come sit, relax, I don't bite. I can tell this woman is anything but ordinary, so I walk around to the other side of the table and sit down slowly, exchanging a glance with Lyra. We both look thoroughly uncomfortable. It feels exactly like being brought in front of a parent. Allow me to introduce myself properly. I'm Tess, affiliated with the National Arcane Oversight Bureau of China. The Bureau is dedicated to managing and containing special groups that fall outside the category of human. I imagine you already know the truth about who Lyra really is. I am her guarantor. So when she caused that kind of scene last night, it puts me in a very difficult position. If this isn't handled properly, I'm in serious trouble. What happened last night was my doing. He has nothing to do with it. I start to rise from my seat immediately. Sit down, sit down. Tess waves a hand at me with a smile. If I were actually here to cause trouble, why would I bother bringing you dinner? Tess leans back in her seat and looks me over from head to toe, that unflappable smile returning to her face. I already know it was you last night. I didn't know who the second one was at first. But the moment I walked into this apartment, it became clear. This place is saturated with a very distinct scent, the scent of a demon. It's not what you think. This time it's Lyra who jumps to her feet, but Tess presses her back into the chair with one hand. I'm your guarantor, trust me a little. Do I look like someone who doesn't listen to reason? Then what do you want to, with him? Lyra doesn't lower her guard. Calm down, I'm only here to conduct an investigation. What exactly he is doesn't particularly concern me. What matters most is confirming whether he poses any threat to the world. He won't. Lyra's tone leaves no room for debate. Sweetheart, that's not your call to make. My colleague spent the entire night cleaning up last night's scene. Tess then turns to me. Can you tell me, are you a demon by nature, or a human who has been possessed? I take a moment before answering. Based on everything I can remember, I should be an ordinary human. Tess nods, then rises slowly and walks up to stand in front of me. I can clearly tell she means no harm, and whatever her relationship with Lyra is, it seems genuine. Rather than let things escalate, I might as well see what Tess is actually after. Good. Tess smiles softly, removes her glove, and places her palm gently against my chest. I stay perfectly still and let her feel my heartbeat. Tess's brow furrows slightly, and I swallow nervously. Then she lets out a slow breath. You've ended up causing harm to others after all, so whether we end up as friends or enemies, that's entirely up to you. In that moment, it finally hits me. The reality of having seriously hurt people. But I was defending myself. I nearly got beaten to death out there. They came at me first with lethal intent, so why am I the one being held accountable? Whatever you plan to do, I want the chance to defend myself. You're a government body, as for what happened last night, I think. But before I can finish, Tess can't hold back a laugh. Sorry, I was messing with you. You didn't actually think we'd care about a corrupt thug like that, did you? The world's better off with fewer people like him. Unfortunately, he's tied to too many interests, so as deputy director I'm still obligated to go through the motions officially. Seeing that, I say nothing. She keeps saying, there is an unknown and powerful force inside you, and that force needs proper guidance. The smile on her face doesn't move, but for just a moment something in it sends a chill straight through me. Do you know where this power comes from? Tess leans in and studies me closely, until Lyra, visibly irritated, pulls her back, and Tess steps back half a pace, shaking her head with a smile. My apologies. Demons are not exactly common in China. The Bureau has almost never dealt with one. So I genuinely don't know what to make of your situation. But there is one thing I can guarantee. If you don't learn to control this power, sooner or later the demon will take your body from you. At that, I go completely silent. It's true. I have fragmented memories of last night. If using this power turns me into a monster, then it isn't really my power at all, and I'm nothing more than the monster's puppet. She's right. I do need guidance. But how am I supposed to trust someone I just met? I have no intention of becoming anyone's puppet, not the demon inside me, and not your so-called Arcane Oversight Bureau either. Tess simply smiles at that. At least for now, no one is asking you to be anyone's slave. We can be equal partners. Your power is significant, but you don't know how to control it, and the Bureau behind me can help you with that. I study the woman in front of me in silence. She's small in stature, yet the pressure she radiates is immense. Tess sees me standing there unresponsive, reads the confusion and conflict in my eyes, and decides to give me some space to think. Don't worry, I'm not a bad person. You could say the Bureau is the best place for someone in your position right now. Of course, this is only a suggestion. We will never force you to join. You have 3 days to think it over. Think carefully, there is no downside for you in this. With that, she heads toward the door, and leaves, pulling it shut behind her. The room is left to Lyra, and me, both of us silent. I sit in the chair, staring down at my own hands. Even now, I can feel it clearly. The demons lurking deep inside my body are watching me and waiting. They want me to sink into despair, because the lower I fall, the sooner they can claim this body as their own. Lyra watches me sitting there, a little lost, and seems to think of something. She reaches out and grabs my wrist, looking straight into my eyes. I want to show you something. Before I can say a word, she covers my eyes with her hand and leads me to the window. Then suddenly, a wave of weightlessness hits hard. I feel her pulling me out through the window. The world goes quiet, nothing reaching my ears but the roar of the wind. I have no idea how long it lasts. It could be a long time, or it could be over in a single breath. Lyra's voice sounds beside my ear. I open my eyes slowly against the biting wind, and what I see stops me completely. Lyra is holding me close, and we are floating above the entire city. Beneath our feet, a sea of scattered lights and flowing traffic. Thousands of glowing windows shimmer below us, and in the distance, where the city meets the harbor, the ocean rolls in dark waves under the night sky. This is the first time I've ever looked down at this city from above. Growing up in an orphanage, I never left Tianhai City, let alone got on a plane. Lyra says nothing. She just holds me close, keeping me from falling. Slowly I begin to understand what she means by this. Looking at this city, at this world, from a different angle isn't such a bad thing. Just like what Lyra is doing right now, a vampire, choosing to live in a human way. So why can't I, as a human, live this life carrying a demon's power? The view from here beats the top floor of any fancy hotel, doesn't it? I pause for a moment, then understand what she's referring to. She still remembers the post of amber she happened to see that day. Though honestly, any hotel rooftop looks laughably small from here. Consider it a gift for taking me in. I know it's nowhere near enough, but Lyra looks at me with a quiet, warm smile. She hasn't even finished speaking. When I pull her into my arms, her small, faintly cool body. Thank you. I think being a monster might not be so bad after all. I hang there in the air, staring blankly at the city below. By the way, are you part of the Arcane Oversight Bureau too? Lyra pauses for a moment, then turns to find me already looking at her. I am, but they haven't come looking for me in a long time. I'm not human, so I'm classified as a specially contained other kind. And Lucian, whether or not you decide to join the Bureau, whatever you do, don't provoke that woman. She's not a bad person, but she is genuinely terrifying. As she says this, Lyra lowers her head, and a deep guilt settles in her eyes. In her heart, she feels like everything that's happened to me is because of her. She sees herself as a curse. Wherever she goes, she brings misfortune to those around her. I look at the girl beside me, and something soft moves through my gaze. I'm really glad. And then I pull Lyra into my arms. She freezes completely, caught off guard. What are you doing? I'm grateful to you, truly. Because of you, I got over being heartbroken so much faster than I would have. This might sound a little strange, but you really are someone the universe sent to save me. Lyra doesn't understand love. She has almost never experienced it. In over 1,000 years of drifting through this world, she has never once met anyone who made her feel this particular, inexplicable way. It had led her to believe that vampires simply weren't capable of love. but this human in front of her, so undone by a simple breakup, needing someone to pull him back up. Is love really that significant to him? And if she tried, if she could learn to love him, would that be the greatest thing she could give back? Lyra doesn't yet understand what love truly is, but she thinks this is the best way to repay me, and so she quietly wraps her arms around me in return. The next day, I arrive at school early. Even if I'm not entirely human anymore, university still goes on. When I get there, I notice everyone whispering among themselves. Whether it's just my imagination or not, it feels like every conversation is about me. "Lucian!" a familiar voice calls from behind. I turn around and Landon comes jogging toward me. "Last night, did I pass out on the ground? You've got some nerve. $30 for the cab, pay me back." I look at the breathless Landon and hold my hand out without a shred of mercy. "I haven't even asked you about my beloved bike yet, but forget that for now. Do you know what happened last night, right on the street near where we were eating?" Landon's expression is absolutely over the top, like he's about to reveal some earth-shattering secret. "What happened?" My own expression isn't quite as natural as I'd like it to be. If I'm right about this, I don't just know about it, I'm the one who caused it. "I'm telling you, something went down on that very street near us." My eyes shift instinctively. "What kind of something?" Landon doesn't notice my reaction and launches straight into what he knows. "Apparently there was a car accident, 3 vehicles collided on that street and a bunch of people got hurt, and one of them is a big deal, didn't die, but lost the use of one arm. You know who it is? Roman, the most famous rich guy at our university." "Wait, you said a car accident?" I catch on something immediately. "What are you fixating on? The point isn't the accident, it's Roman. Roman lost an arm." "I know he lost an arm. I did it." "You did it?" "I mean, I saw the news this morning when I did breakfast." Upon hearing this, Landon looks visibly annoyed. "Then why did you act like you didn't know? I thought you had some new information." "Stop changing the subject. You said it was a car accident." "Yeah, didn't you see the report? It's really strange. That road is practically deserted, no shops or residents, barely any traffic at the best of times. And yet 3 cars somehow managed to crash into each other there last night. It's like something out of a ghost story." Just as Landon and I are talking while walking toward the classroom, a dazed-looking figure ahead slowly makes its way toward us. I glance up without thinking, and realize it's Amber. Amber looks hollow-eyed and haggard, like she didn't sleep a single minute last night. It's not hard to figure out that after Roman's accident she must have been at the hospital all night. After all, Roman is her ticket into the elite. She can't afford to lose that golden goose. Amber spots me and Landon then. "Hey, Lucian." My expression doesn't change. Looking at Amber now, even this wrecked, worn-out version of her, I feel absolutely nothing. Amber slows to a stop, and hesitantly raises her hand as if to greet me, but I walk right past her without sparing her even a sideways glance. Amber's hand freezes in midair. She feels deeply wronged and resentful. What gives Lucian the right to treat her this coldly? All she wanted was a better life, to never be poor again. What did she do that was so wrong? At exactly 8 o'clock that evening, Amber has dressed carefully and made her way to the hospital room, only to be coldly turned away at the door by the bodyguards stationed there. She jabs a finger at them, furious. "Do you know who I am? I'm your young master's girlfriend." The bodyguards exchange a glance. Even behind their dark glasses, Amber can read the contempt clearly. This has never happened before. These same men used to treat her with full respect, never daring a single impolite move. "You really think you're something, don't you?" One of them scoffs without a shred of mercy. "You were just entertainment. Did you actually think you'd fall for someone as money-hungry as you?" "Say that again clearly. How dare you talk to me like that?" Amber's eyes go wide with fury. "You two actually dare say this to me? When Roman wakes up, I'll make sure you both regret it. By the time he wakes up, he'll have no time for you. Still out here throwing around borrowed authority? Women like you who throw themselves at money should stop acting like they're worth something." "How dare you?" Amber surges forward, ready to argue, only to be shoved to the ground by one of the bodyguards. Throwing herself at money. How familiar those words sound. Just days ago, she used those exact words against the girl named Lyra, and now she's the one on the receiving end. "All of you, just wait. This isn't over. Roman, I threw away a boyfriend I'd been with for years for you, you ungrateful. Get out of here. Keep making a scene and see what happens." In the end, Amber is thrown out of the hospital. Her carefully chosen outfit is now disheveled and pulled out of shape, her hair a mess. She looks nothing like the polished, confident woman from before, walking alone down a bleak street on a broken heel. She feels cold all over. She's wearing an expensive coat, but this cold comes from somewhere deep inside. She slowly comes to a stop, and looks up at the dark sky, and in that moment, she sees the boy from before who never had much to say. The one who said he would protect her forever. And then she sees him who walked past her today, whose eyes held nothing for her at all. She breathes out slowly, a small cloud of white in the cold air, and finds herself asking, "Did I actually do something wrong?" Meanwhile, at the top floor of a Tianhai City corporate tower, Victor, a man who built his empire from nothing. Decades of navigating the business world have left him at the head of a commercial empire. The Holt Group is one of the most recognized names in China, and everything it represents has brought Victor limitless wealth and power. But right now, he has a problem about what happened to his youngest son in a car accident recently. As for the incident, he can't find a single lead. Every piece of surveillance footage has been wiped. Victor reads the report his subordinates have handed him with a look of perfect calm. His son being seriously injured is a significant matter to him. The reason it only qualifies as significant rather than critical is that the one injured is his youngest, the useless one, who spends his days idle and unproductive just like his mother. Victor always knew this kind of attitude would catch up with his son sooner or later. He just didn't expect whoever did it to go this far and take an arm. He sets the report down slowly and walks to the floor-to-ceiling window with barely concealed anger, looking down over the city where he built everything. He's no fool. The fact that every investigator he personally dispatched came back empty-handed means whoever went after Roman is no ordinary person. So now Victor is weighing whether it's worth taking any further risk for such a thoroughly useless son. Mr. Victor, his secretary enters with documents. Your wife called again. She was crying and said you absolutely must. Tell her I'll handle it. Victor waves him off with a touch of impatience. He doesn't need to ask which wife. He is 58 years old and has far more than one son. He has 3 wives, each of whom has given him 2 children, and the one calling non-stop right now is Roman's birth mother. This is part of what annoys Victor. The boy takes after his mother entirely, addicted to pleasure, and never understands how to better himself. And business empire this size, Victor made up his mind long ago that Roman will never touch a single inch of it. But his son being crippled by someone is still, undeniably, a slap in his face. If word spreads that his son was maimed and he did nothing about it, his authority will take a real hit. So he dials a number, one that is completely encrypted, one he almost never calls. Mr. Victor, we found something on the matter you asked about. The voice on the other end is disguised. This is a covert organization that deals exclusively in underground intelligence. Immediately, an email arrives on his phone. Inside is a surveillance clip. The footage clearly shows his son and a group of bodyguards surrounding and beating a young man. The young man looks around Roman's age. Just as his son swings the baseball bat down hard toward the young man's head, the footage cuts out. What is this? Where's the rest of the footage? Victor demands coldly. There is no more footage. It's all gone. Mr. Victor, please stay calm. What happened to your son may be connected to this person. Didn't my son beat him to death? Victor has no interest in whether the other person survived. What does it matter, as long as his son cleaned up after himself? Mr. Victor, he didn't die, and as a bonus, I'll share some additional information about him. Victor tightens his grip on the phone, fury rising, because now he can say with complete certainty this was no accident. Someone deliberately targeted his son, and the young man his son beat in that video is the key to everything. Victor crooks a finger, beckoning the tall man standing at the door inside. Mr. Victor, what are your instructions? Find someone named Lucien, get a thorough understanding of the situation, and remember, if you can avoid killing anyone, don't. Around 6 o'clock that afternoon, I finish my last class and head home. Lyra and I arranged earlier that I'd come pick her up from the barbecue stall tonight. Even though she said I didn't need to worry about her safety, I still think a girl walking home alone in the middle of the night isn't something I can just ignore. Lyra didn't argue. She just lowered her head, smiled slightly, and said softly, "Then I'll wait for you." But as I'm passing through a street, an unmarked van suddenly pulls up right in front of me. Several masked men move with practiced efficiency and bundle me into the van in seconds. I don't resist, because I understand immediately. These men are highly professional and came completely prepared. Resisting now would probably just earn me a beating on the spot. In broad daylight, do you people have any respect for the law? The words are barely out of my mouth when a hood is pulled down over my head. Then darkness. I can only feel the van jolting beneath me. The vehicle drives for roughly 40 minutes. The sounds of traffic that surrounded us at first are completely gone. Now there's nothing but silence. With a sharp sliding sound, the door is yanked open. I'm dragged out roughly, arms seized on both sides. Then I'm hauled into the interior of some building. The moment the hood is pulled off, I find my hands already locked tight in handcuffs. I look around and figure this is some kind of unnamed basement. Who exactly are you people? I genuinely have no money on me. This seems a bit excessive, doesn't it? Could you at least take the handcuffs off? The men stand expressionless and say nothing. Their builds confirm what I already suspected. These are almost certainly former military. Against them, I have no advantage. Soon, a tall man walks into the room. He speaks a few words into a phone with his back to me, then hangs up and turns around. His eyes have completely changed. My stomach drops, and sure enough, he gives a small wave of his hand, and several men immediately set on me with fists and boots. They are methodical about it, avoiding anything fatal, targeting precisely the spots that will hurt the most. In under half an hour, I'm curled up on the floor in agony. The tall man grabs my jaw and stares me down with cold fury. Kid, I've got some questions for you. I curse internally. What kind of person beats someone up first and asks questions second? Maybe lead with the questions, next time. You've still got some fight in you. Good. I'd rather not have a death on my hands. My name is Jason. You can call me Uncle Jason. Last night, did you have a conflict with my young master? Your young master? You mean Roman? I lift my head slightly to look at him. By this point, it's completely clear to me. This man was sent by Roman's family for payback. Oh, come on, you're both young. A bit of roughhousing is one thing, but why did you have to go that far? Are you serious? Your young master nearly beat me to death and you're calling that a bit of roughhousing? Jason ignores me entirely and barely raises a hand. The man beside him spins and drives a kick hard into my stomach. From this point on, I ask, you answer. Honestly, understood? Let's not waste each other's time. I cough up blood, locked to the chair, swaying like a punching bag. To be honest, I genuinely don't like laying hands on someone your age, but you went way too far. You took an arm from the young master. The boss isn't going to order a killing over this, but I hope you understand that sometimes those of us who serve have to learn to finish things properly on our master's behalf. You bullying thugs, you really are all the same. I spit out a mouthful of blood and stare at Jason through a bloodied face. a cold and unsettling smile spreading across my face. I've had people look into you. You're nothing but an orphan raised in a corrupt orphanage, treated like an animal. And because the young master took your girlfriend, there's bad blood between you. Jason's expression is perfectly composed. He takes out a piece of chocolate at his own leisure and holds one out to me. I shake my head and refuse. Kid, I'm normally a very busy man, but I've cleared my schedule specifically for you today. I'm not asking for much. I just need you to give the young master back an arm. You don't have any family anyway, so there's no one for me to compensate. But I can make sure your affairs are taken care of properly. If you have any last wishes, now's the time. I burst out laughing. One arm for one life, now that's a deal. Seeing that I have absolutely no intention of giving in, he snaps his fingers again. A bodyguard steps forward immediately and hands him a sharp axe. How about this? You just called me uncle, which makes me your elder in a way. The young master was in the wrong first, I'll admit that. But unfortunately his life is worth considerably more than yours. What if I just apologize to you, and then you go on your way for good? I slowly raise my head and look at him, my eyes carrying nothing but cold indifference. Then by all means give it a try. A lunatic with a death wish. Jason sees my arrogance and whatever thin shred of guilt he had vanishes entirely. He waves a hand and several bodyguards rush forward to pin me down. I no longer have the strength to resist. All I can do is watch as he grips the axe and steps slowly toward me. Just as he reaches me and raises the axe to swing, his phone rings. He gives me a gentlemanly smile. Apologies, kid, I need to take this. He hands the axe to a bodyguard, takes out his phone and sees it's an unknown number. He frowns, because this is his personal number. Almost no one has it besides his boss, Victor. Hello, who is this? Hi, my name is Tess. Tess? He doesn't seem to recognize the name. When he says that name, I go still for a moment, then slowly raise my eyes toward Jason. Of course you don't know me, I'm just a civil servant, but I do suggest you stop. Stop what you're doing right now because it's very stupid. Is that so? Miss Tess, are you with the police? Of course not. But this call is meant to save your life, even though I honestly don't care either way whether you live or die. Ha! Save my life? You're very entertaining, Miss Tess. I don't know where you got this number, and I don't particularly care who you are. Good advice is wasted on the doomed. Fine, suit yourself. Some things really do need to be let out. Otherwise they build up and become a real problem. Especially for boys this age. What on earth are you rambling about? The woman's strange words leave Jason completely baffled. Nothing, I've said what I needed to say. You'd better not touch that kid. This is entirely for your benefit and for the benefit of whoever is behind you. Of course, if you insist on going through with it, I won't stop you. That's all, do take care. The call ends cleanly. Jason stares at the darkened screen, feeling vaguely unsettled. He tosses the phone to one of the bodyguards. After this is done, find out who she is, dig her out. Then he undoes his shirt cuffs and collar, takes the axe back, and walks toward me again. Sorry about that, a brief interruption. Didn't get to finish earlier. Let's continue. Jason? I look at him with a blank face. What, ready to beg now? No, I just want to sincerely ask, did that woman named Tess actually say those exact words, that she doesn't care whether you live or die? Jason stares hard into my eyes, then lets out a contemptuous snort. You're a funny kid. He hands the axe to one of the bodyguards. The man understands immediately. He doesn't want blood directly on his own hands. So the bodyguard takes it in silence, turns, raises his thick arm, and brings the axe down hard toward my head. Everyone is waiting for that sound. But after a brief moment they realize, nothing. No scream from me either. Instead, the bodyguard himself is trembling. A moment later, his entire body is lifted off the ground, blood spraying violently from his neck. Then comes a sharp crack. His neck twists at a grotesque angle, and he collapses to the floor like a rag doll. Only then do Jason and the others register with horror that the bodyguard's neck has been snapped clean. Jason looks back at me. Wait, is this still the same orphan from a moment ago? His lips won't stop trembling. He's lived a long life and seen plenty, but right now he genuinely wonders if something is wrong with his own mind. Because what he sees before him is not a human being, it is a terrifying creature. It has demon horns, dark black skin covered in golden runes. But what fills him with the deepest dread, what makes his very soul shudder, are those golden demon eyes. What is that? A monster! A monster! Several of the younger bodyguards break formation instantly, scrambling backward to put distance between themselves and it. Jason, to his credit, has an iron will. He forces his fear down immediately and fixes the monster with a murderous glare. Kill it! Die, monster! One bodyguard draws a combat knife and lunges at the creature's throat, but only now do they realize in horror the monster has a thick, long tail. The moment he charges forward, the tail drives straight through his chest, lifting him high into the air and slowly bringing him level with the demon's eyes. Blood slides down the length of the tail and drips onto the demon's lips, drop by drop. He watches the man who is still trying to fight back with curiosity, and slowly pulls his lips back into a savage grin. I always wondered why vampires are so drawn to human blood, but now tasting this I find I prefer human souls. No, please don't kill me. Wait, I surrender, I surrender. Jason can only hear the continuous screaming around him, but it doesn't last long. Every scream cuts off at once, as if those people never existed at all. Now there is nothing at all except his own heartbeat and the weight of his own breathing. He wants to scream with fury, but everything that comes out of his throat is just trembling. His fear has reached its absolute limit. How has this happened? A nobody orphan, someone who should have been crushed without a second thought, and yet he feels this hopeless? Moments later, the entire room has become a blood-soaked hell. I slump unconsciously back into the chair as the demon's horrific features slowly recede, leaving behind a frail human body once more. I shake my head through the pain and look around. Nothing but broken bodies. Then absolute horror spreads across my face. Did I do all of this? At that moment, the heavy door of the basement swings open. A girl in a fitted black suit steps calmly into the blood-soaked room. All done? Tess looks at me with the same relaxed, indifferent smile as always. I didn't do this. I curl up on the floor, clutching my head, tears and snot running freely. Tess walks over slowly and crouches down. Poor little thing. Her voice is very gentle, her movements delicate. Slender fingers brush lightly across my cheek, as if to wipe away my tears. The gesture makes me look up through my terror, but the very next moment, what comes out of her mouth is nothing like comfort. The smile on her face twists into something wild and unsettling. A gleam of delighted madness flickers in her eyes. What are you performing for me? Pretending to be a demon-possessed killer who's lost control and then curling up and sobbing about it, hoping for a nice comforting from me, are you? Tess's hand tips my chin up gently, and she leans in with an unmistakable excitement, until her lips are at my ear. Killing without mercy, isn't that what you did most often when you were young? My pupils contract violently. Then the panic slowly drains away, and my expression flattens into something cold. What exactly do you mean by that? Perhaps the very first time your body really was taken by the demon. But just now, wasn't it your own will that killed every single person in this room? Hearing Tess tear through my lie without hesitation, a flicker of cold passes through my eyes. So? Are you here to exercise the Bureau's authority and deal with me as a dangerous killer, or... Tess presses a finger gently to my lips. Whether these people live or die is no concern of mine, and your actions fall under self-defense, excessive at most. She rises slowly and walks toward the door. We'll send people to handle the cleanup. Go home and think carefully about the proposal I made you. Making a dangerous deal with a demon. At first you may seem to have the upper hand, but never forget, every ounce of power you're relying on is entirely in that demon's control. Don't let that woman leave. From somewhere deep in my mind, Bale's voice snaps through me without warning. Her soul force is extraordinarily powerful. Kill her now, harvest her soul, it will repair my broken one. And then I will grant you far greater power. You can do whatever you want. No one in this world will be able to hold you back. I press my hands hard against my throbbing head. Don't you actually think of me as a killer? Ha ha ha! Just now when you killed others, didn't you enjoy every second of it? That's because those people had it coming. Tess pauses at the doorway, listening to my slightly unhinged muttering. She slowly turns her head and looks at me calmly. Lucien, do you need my help? One hand pressed hard against my head. I wave the other at her with sudden urgency. Get out of here, now! I think I'm about to lose control of this power again. Just go! A note of amused curiosity enters Tess's eyes. So you really aren't someone who enjoys killing. And yet, instead of leaving, she walks back toward me. Leave it to me. Hand everything over with confidence. I'll personally teach you how to use this power perfectly. She presses a gentle hand to my shoulder and murmurs, Be good now. Let your body go to him. Suddenly a demon tail erupts from behind, and drives straight through Tess's body. I shift back into the demon's form. But this time, the one in control is not me. It is the true ancient demon. Bale. You've got nerve, woman. Bale tilts his head, staring coldly at Tess, then peels his lips back into a cruel grin. Tess's smile freezes but doesn't disappear entirely. She looks down at the hole in her chest. This suit is my work uniform. Now I'm going to have to spend money replacing it. How could you do sneak attacks like that? Bale stares at her with ice-cold eyes, then realizes with shock the body his tail has pierced is not bleeding a single drop of red, and she appears to feel no pain whatsoever. You're not human at all, Bale snarls in a voice that grates like gravel. Then he manipulates his tail to hoist Tess directly in front of his face. Your presence is very strange. He leans in and inhales slowly. Not bad, right? That's my perfume. Tess gives him a playful wink, not a trace of fear anywhere on her face. Let's continue where we left off. Lucien, you can still hear me in there, can't you? I have absolutely no objection to you meeting force with force. The Bureau needs people like you more than you know. But the condition is that you must be strong enough first. I'll say it again, the Bureau needs someone like you. But you have to become strong enough, or one day you'll run into a wall you absolutely cannot handle right now. Bale snaps close to her face and bares its teeth. You reckless creature, you dare talk to me about strength? With me behind him, nothing in this world can stop him. He can kill whoever he wants. Is that so? Tess hears this and gives a soft laugh. Her slender fingers tap idly against Bale's thick tail. Then she lets out a sigh as if bored. I find you rather interesting, demon. It's just a shame your power right now is far too weak. You dare call me weak? Bale's expression darkens to its absolute lowest point. Those casual words have struck something in his pride that cannot be touched. I promise you, the way you are right now, you can only bore me. Tess's face stays perfectly calm. The hand resting on the demon's tail applies the faintest pressure, and that massive, rock-hard tail shatters like foam, crushed without the slightest effort. Bale reels for a moment, then erupts into fury. But deep down he knows this woman is absolutely not an ordinary human. No, she isn't human at all. In the next instant, his eyes blaze with light. He activates his domain without hesitation, intending to reduce this woman to nothing in an instant. But in the very next breath, Tess's hand is already clamped around his throat, That force, vast as a mountain, actually stirs something like fear in Baal. Did I give you permission to open your domain? The lightning that had been gathering in midair is instantly scattered into nothing by some unseen force. Baal can't believe it. The domain he takes such pride in has been completely shattered in a single moment. He stares at the woman in front of him with wide, disbelieving eyes. And it is only now that Tess begins to reveal the truly terrifying depth of her power. It is ancient and pure, carrying the weight of thousands of years of history. The smile on her face disappears entirely. She stares at Baal with a blank, cold expression. At least as you are right now, I am far more powerful than you. So be a good boy and hand back control of this body. Baal's domain shatters completely. He feels his power being suppressed, forcibly pulled back into the body. He bares his teeth and fixes his gaze on Tess, then suddenly bursts into wild laughter. This land is truly fascinating, hiding an existence like you. Mysterious woman, I won't forget you. Today I haven't lost to you. I've lost to this fragile body and my own broken soul. Then the horns on his head crumble to dust, and the mysterious runes on his skin slowly fade away. Remember me well, interesting woman. At last, I take back control of my own body. Tess releases her grip from my throat. I look around at the body scattered everywhere, then slowly raise my head to look at Tess. I have killed with my own hands, but every time it was to survive. Tess reaches out and gently helps me to my feet. This time, she doesn't carry that terrifying, crushing presence from a moment ago. When someone comes for your life, no response is too extreme. But Lucian, you have to understand, this world has its own rules, and the power you hold right now is not yet enough to break them. I felt it clearly just now. Even without control of my own body, I experienced firsthand just how terrifying she really is. Stop making that face like the world owes you everything. You can't control this power yet, but the demon inside you seems very fond of your body. So, made up your mind? Want to come take a look at the bureau? I absolutely won't force you to join. Tess supports me as we make our way out of the basement step by step. I think it over in silence for a long moment, then turn my head slightly toward Tess. Are you just looking for free labor? Don't talk nonsense. We're a legitimate government agency. Full benefits guaranteed. So just over half an hour later, Tess drives with me and Lyra to a bank tower in the city center. We enter through an extremely concealed private passage at the back and step into an elevator. Lyra has already figured out what all of Tess's elaborate effort is really for. She wants Lucian to join the bureau. Inside the elevator, Lyra sees the troubled look on my face and turns to me. Lucian, if you don't want to join, just say so. I'll find a way to help you. I look up and give her a quiet smile. Thank you. Come on now, the Bureau is a legitimate government organization. Can you please stop making it sound like a crime syndicate? Tess gives a helpless smile beside them. Do these two even notice she's standing right there? The elevator descends for several full minutes, which says everything about how deep this underground base goes. The moment the doors slowly slide open, I go completely still. This place is an entirely underground city. Buildings, roads, no different from what's above ground. This is the Bureau's headquarters. Tess walks ahead, leading Lyra and me. Soon she brings us to a spacious registration hall, and when the clerk asks for my other kind classification in a flat, routine tone, I clearly freeze up, at a complete loss. Right, demon, Tess says to the clerk with a smile. The clerk looks up at me for the first time. A demon? Director Tess, you're not pulling my leg, are you? The Bureau has never processed a demon before. Tess laughs. No mistake, I just brought one in myself, didn't I? Sorry to interrupt, I'm not planning on being processed by anyone. I cut in immediately. The clerk gives Tess a bewildered look. Director Tess, where exactly did you talk this one into coming from? Talk into it? That's not how I describe it. Lucian, this is just routine processing. We're absolutely not forcing you to join. And our thorough assessment here will help you understand your own body much better. There's nothing but benefits for you in this, right? I stay on high alert internally until Lyra murmurs to me, go ahead, they don't mean any harm, at least for now. All right, I'll take your word for it this time. And with that, I'm willing to go along with it, at least a little. The clerk rises with a smile and waves me toward a side room. I glance at Tess and Lyra with some hesitation. Go on, it's fine. They're just assessing your threat classification. Threat classification? This is the first time I've heard the term, and I can't help but feel a little curious. I'll explain once you're out. Tess waves me along with a smile. Now go and cooperate. Our staff are very busy people. The moment I step into the room, a vague sense of oppression washes over me. The room is nothing like I imagined. No high-tech equipment, no bright lights. It's dim and oddly heavy. Just as I'm quietly puzzling over this, my eyes fall on a wheelchair at the center of the room. Seated in it is a girl, dressed in a snow-white gown. Her eyes are covered by a strip of pure white cloth, as if she can no longer see the world. Pink hair cascades down like a waterfall, standing out vividly in the dim room. Her features are exquisitely beautiful, like a piece of delicate porcelain no one dares touch. Lady, there's a newly registered otherkind here who needs your assessment. The clerk addresses her with careful courtesy. At the sound of his voice, the girl turns her head slightly and looks toward me with a warm smile, as if the cloth over her eyes makes no difference at all. The warmth in her smile puts me at ease. Please take my hand. I reach out and gently take it. In that single moment of contact, she feels herself drawn by some mysterious force, something pulling her inward. She doesn't resist. She has to go deeper. That is the only way to understand what this force truly is. and that is the purpose she exists here to fulfill. Before her appears an empty theater and a silent stage. The girl finds herself standing at the center of the stage, her feet moving freely now. She turns her head and looks around with quiet curiosity, taking in this deeply unsettling theater. Demons. Her lips part softly to form the word. She notices several demon-like figures lurking in the shadowy seats. Why are there so many demons living inside him? She murmurs, watching them. Fortunately, their power isn't particularly great, though strangely every one of them is saturated with chaos and darkness. Still, no matter. They're only minor demons. She settles on that conclusion inwardly. Then her figure fades from the stage, and the spotlights go out one by one. Then from the darkness of the seats comes a single contemptuous snicker, then a second, then a third. Mockery and laughter surge through the theater all at once, and countless demon eyes open in the dark. They are like children delighted by a prank, laughing wildly at the woman who has already gone, until the abyss swallows everything and the world goes silent once more. The girl gently releases my hand and still smiles at me warmly. I look at her with genuine apology. There seems to be something in my head. I know she saw the same thing I have, and this is perhaps the nature of her ability. The girl shakes her head slowly. You are very special. Your soul is remarkably pure, and yet demons live within it. I have never seen this before. Your threat classification is chaos. With that verdict delivered, she turns away and says nothing more. Understood. Thank you for your work. This classification doesn't seem particularly severe, and the clerk shows no significant reaction, leading me out of the room shortly after. Once we have all left the room, the girl finally lets out a quiet breath of relief. Fear creeps in as she thinks back. If she hadn't pretended not to see those terrifying things, would they have let her leave safely? Her hand is still trembling slightly, the dread still washing over her in waves. What on earth were those things? From the darkness, Tess suddenly steps forward. She smiles at the girl. How about him? What kind of soul could possibly contain that many terrifying demons? Even you speak this highly of him. We really have found something remarkable this time. The girl doesn't share her optimism. He carries demons. The Bureau has never processed a demon before and has no experience handling them. That human won't hold on for long, once the demons take over his body. Don't worry. That kid won't lose to those demons. Tess crouches in front of the girl and gently strokes her hair, signaling her to relax. Afterward, Tess finds me and carefully explains the Bureau's system for classifying other kinds. The lowest classification is disorder, generally spirits and minor creatures hidden within the human world, manageable by ordinary police. The next level up is chaos. If an other kind at this level causes trouble, the Bureau intervenes directly. Above that is calamity. Other kinds at this level are subject to strict control. Without special authorization from the Bureau, they cannot live freely among humans. After that come havoc, ruin, and catastrophe. These three classifications are prohibited from any contact with humans and must exist under tight Bureau surveillance. But Lyra is a rare exception, because Bureau Deputy Director Tess personally stood as her guarantor, vouching that she would never harm society, and that is the only reason she is free to move through the world. The final and most extreme classification is extinction. Since the Bureau's founding, it has appeared only once, but in the full span of human history, it has appeared twice. The first was 1,000 years ago in China, an event that nearly wiped out all of humanity. The second was over 700 years ago in Europe, where the catastrophe killed nearly a third of the world's entire population. When I hear the extinction classification, I pause, because back in Baal's mysterious temple, the system classified Baal as exactly that, extinction, and Lyra is only catastrophe, which means one thing. If I truly obtain all of Baal's power, I may end up stronger than Lyra. Oh, one more thing, this is for you. Tess takes a pendant from a staff member and holds it out to me. It looks like a leash no matter how I look at it, and I don't reach for it, because I can clearly sense something very unusual radiating from it, a force that acts as a powerful restraint against demons. Perhaps because demonic power is already seeping into me, I instinctively recoil from anything that feels like a chain, but Tess pushes it into my hand anyway, and then looks at me with rare seriousness. This is not a leash. Right now, every time you use demonic power, you risk losing your own consciousness. Keep going like this, and sooner or later your body will be taken from you, but this can help you stay aware of yourself while using that power. I take the pendant with a trace of curiosity. How does it do that? Tess doesn't give a direct answer. She just smiles and says I'll find out when the time comes, and that it'll be soon. Under Tess's personal guidance, I tour the Bureau's various departments. Aside from the Classified Intelligence Division, I see everything: engineering, personnel, medical, and more. With every step, I become more convinced that the Bureau genuinely has the full backing of the country. Resources, both human and material, are more than adequate. Now for the last item on the agenda. In the Bureau's spacious cafeteria, Tess sips her hot coffee and looks across the table at Lyra and me. You're guarantor. Whether or not you join the Bureau, you must have one. Unfortunately, I'm already the guarantor for the one sitting next to you, so I'll be his guarantor. Before Tess can finish, Lyra has already spoken. Tess seems to be turning something over in her mind. She looks down and takes a small sip of coffee, but her eyes keep drifting between the two of us. You're living together, aren't you? The question startles me. No, that's not. I start to defend myself with a red face, but then I think about that night I have no memory of. Did nothing really happen? Can I honestly say nothing occurred? Even I don't believe that coming out of my own mouth. Seeing Tess just watching me with a silent smile, I start to feel genuinely anxious, and quickly turn to Lyra beside me. But when I look, Lyra is staring down at the table, completely silent. Her face is completely flushed. Wait, why is Lyra reacting like that? Does that mean? Lyra's head sinks even lower, her face going red all the way to her ears. I have no choice but to set that thought aside for now, but I absolutely have to ask her about this later. What exactly happened between us when I was unconscious? Alright, enough of that. I'll approve it, you'll be his guarantor. But from now on, the two of you must live together. Lucian, you cannot be out of her sight for more than 24 hours otherwise. Tess smiles with pointed meaning. Just as I brace for some kind of threat, she turns to Lyra and says, otherwise, Lyra, you have every right to suspect he's seeing someone else. I spit out the water I was drinking. After that, Tess leads Lyra and me to the Bureau's training center. This is where humans are trained to combat other kinds. It's also here that I learned the Bureau has many other kind staff members of its own, fighting fire with fire, it seems. Moreover, even ordinary humans, after surviving a particularly brutal training regimen, can learn to access domain class power. But the training is extraordinarily grueling, and the death rate is extremely high. So the majority of Bureau staff work in support roles, with relatively few in direct combat departments. The real combat force depends on recruited other kinds. Tess patiently walks me through it. This is the Bureau's training center. Every member undergoes a physical assessment here. Only those who meet the requirements can enter special training. But at this point, I find myself genuinely puzzled. Why would anyone join the Bureau knowing the training could kill them? And why specifically the combat division? Couldn't they do just as much good in an administrative role? Tess seems to read my confusion. She smiles slightly and says nothing. At that moment, the doors to the training room swing open, and a tall man walks in. Zane, perfect timing. This is the newest member of your squad. Come meet him. Tess introduces me to the man walking in. He's tall with a face carved out of pure determination. Unmistakably, he is a no-nonsense career soldier. Lucian, this is Zane, captain of Squad 7. Starting today, you answer to him. Zane, you'd better treat this one well. He's a demon. I'm caught off guard and quickly explain. Sorry, I haven't decided to join the Bureau yet, and the power inside me isn't something I asked for. The man named Zane hears this, and his eyes go cold immediately. Director Tess, I'm not a babysitter. This kid has no business in my squad. One look and you can tell he's never been through anything real. That lands like a punch. My pride takes a direct hit. Come on, you said you needed more people and I found you one. That's true, he hasn't made up his mind yet, but that's your chance to win him over with your charming personality. If he's unwilling to join the Bureau, then the rules apply, no exceptions. We don't do trial periods for other kinds here. Zane's tone leaves zero room for negotiation. This puts Tess in a difficult position because he's not wrong. The Bureau's stance on other kinds is clear: join and submit to strict oversight, or be hunted down. Other kinds, after all, are mostly beings from legend and myth. Short of the truly apex existences of mythology, there is nothing the Bureau won't touch. Lyra's eyes shift to crimson, and she moves silently to stand beside me, her position making her stance perfectly clear. If it comes to enforcing the rules, she'll turn on them without hesitation right here. Tess sighs helplessly. Then Zane's tone shifts. Unless he can fight me. Come on, we just met. Do we really need to fight? I try to smooth things over. Lyra cuts straight in. Fine, let's fight. Being talked down about me doesn't sit well with her. Zane casts a cold glance at Lyra. In just that single glance, he feels a fear unlike anything he's known before. What kind of terrifying power is hidden inside that seemingly small body? Just the faintest trace of pressure she lets out makes Zane's legs tremble involuntarily. Lyra drives it in further with the same flat tone. And 10 of you wouldn't be enough for him. What did you just say? Zane is a man of strong emotions, even knowing the gap between himself and Lyra. Being humiliated like that is more than he can take. In the end, I jump in quickly. Fine, I'll fight you. Tess stifles a yawn and waves a hand. If that's how it's going to be, go ahead. This is a training room after all. Lucian, you can use this as a chance to get familiar with the demonic power. Whether or not you join after this, it can only do you good. Understood, Director Tess. I follow the example of the others around me and give Tess a small nod. This time, Lyra, you're not allowed to step in for him. With that final condition stated, Tess moves to the side with Lyra. Zane strips off his jacket in one clean motion, revealing a powerfully built frame. My stomach drops just looking at him. Going head-to-head with this man in a straight fight, I have no chance. Oh, one more condition. Tess speaks up just as we're about to begin. Zane, you are not permitted to use your domain. Lucian, that rule does not apply to you. Second, wear the pendant I gave you. This is the perfect opportunity to test what it can do. I feel a little uneasy about that, and look toward Tess. Isn't that unfair to Captain Zane? Zane lets out a cold laugh before Tess can respond. Kid, come talk to me about fairness when you can actually push me to use my domain. Fine, deal. I slowly put the pendant around my neck. Seeing I'm ready, Zane grins coldly. Ready? I have a question first, Zane. Why did you join the Bureau? Zane pauses, unsure why I'm asking. What's this? Trying to get friendly so I'll go easy on you? Sorry, I don't show mercy to other kinds. Hope you're ready for that. I just want to know what made you willing to risk your life and go through that brutal training. That seems to hit something deep. His face darkens instantly. Something like you could never understand what a human is willing to sacrifice for the things they want to protect. I'm genuinely confused. What did I say wrong? Why is he suddenly this worked up? Wait, I'm a human too. The words are barely out of my mouth when his fist is already in my face. The speed is absurd, the force behind it overwhelming, almost impossible to avoid. Even pushing my body to its absolute limit to dodge, the punch still catches my left cheek. My body spins and flies backward, crashing hard onto the floor. Tess stifles a yawn and calls over to Zane. I know I say this every time, but Zane, keep it controlled. Apologies, Director Tess. This is the Bureau, and he is an unregistered other kind I can't afford to hold back. Fine, then just wrap it up quickly. Today is supposed to be my day off. Don't worry, Director Tess, I won't take up much of your time. Zane's cold smirk sharpens, and those razor-sharp eyes lock onto me flat on the ground. You're actually trying to break me completely. I push against the floor trying to get up. The sentence barely started when Zane is already on me again, and a kick lands on me without a shred of mercy. I'm sent flying again and hit the floor a second time. Zane laughs and mocks me openly. Ha! An other kind at your level is just pathetic. I'm not even fighting you. I'm just putting you down. Lyra moves to step forward, but Tess raises a hand to stop her. Trust him a little more. Tess then looks over at me as I struggle to pull myself off the ground, and says, What's going on, Lucien? You doing all right? You didn't actually think bare-handed punches were going to take down our squad captain, did you? I know perfectly well. The way I fight must look like child's play to Zane, so there is only one way to win this. I slowly straighten up and take a deep breath. Then, without warning, storm clouds begin to gather inside the vast training hall. They spread rapidly outward, enveloping most of the building within their reach. Bureau staff elsewhere in the building take notice. Who just opened a domain inside headquarters? It's that new one Director Tess brought in. Squad 7's captain is sparring with him, inside the training hall wrapped in thunder. Zane shows no fear. Instead, a grin of pure excitement spreads across his face. An hour later, in a small tavern. Cheers, cheers, welcome to the squad. Zane laughs loudly and slaps me on the back. I'm not much of a drinker, but in an atmosphere like this, I have no choice but to raise my glass. The moment he came around, he insisted on dragging me here for a celebration. Also at the gathering are the other 3 members of Squad 7. Vera, who handles the preliminary intelligence, Bree, who provides long-range support, and Felix, who manages equipment and logistics. All 3 look roughly the same age as me. Bree, with her light golden hair, picks up her glass and comes to sit beside me. She has a striking figure and a pretty face. Lucien, I heard you went head-to-head with the captain? Our captain's instincts are a lot faster than his brain. He thinks with his fists. Don't hold it against him. And I heard you actually knocked our captain out? That's impressive. Little Peach, watch your mouth. Zane is flushed red from drinking, but he still catches every word Bree says, his voice booming across the table. I silently wonder, does he call Bree Peach because she looks cute? This gathering is a welcome party that Squad 7 has put on just for me. Zane has acknowledged my strength, and since the team clearly trusts his judgment, they've accepted me as well. I also learned that the squad is currently in an awkward situation. Seriously, why won't they give us any assignments? Drunk, he pounds the table with a loud complaint. Felix, handling logistics as always, offers a warning disguised as comfort. Captain, don't break the table. Our squad funds are running low, and if you keep breaking things, we'll literally have to sell the squad car. Vera, you too. Stop just eating and say something to him. Vera the scout is a quiet type. She's barely said anything the whole evening. Small and slight with a hat on, she looks a bit like a kid. She keeps glancing at me every now and then, which I find a little puzzling. Our squad situation is a bit unusual. Bree watches the captain's drunken outburst and gives a wry smile. Combat squad members are all fighters, but each squad also has one other kind member. It takes the pressure off in combat and means we don't all get wiped out if things go badly. I look up, puzzled. But doesn't Zane hate other kinds? Bree takes a sip from her glass, and something faintly bitter crosses her eyes. But he can't defy bureau policy, and we did have an other kind member before. This time it's Vera who speaks, her voice so soft it's barely there, like a small cat. But 6 months ago, during a mission, he betrayed us. Betrayed. I can't help but pause slightly at the word. It's not a word I'm unfamiliar with. After all, my ex did a pretty thorough job of that to me not long ago. But I know the betrayal Vera is talking about cuts far deeper than anything I went through. It started as a straightforward mission, a chaos-class other kind detected in an old factory. It is unregistered. Our squad was assigned to investigate, and that other kind team member came with us, our teammate at the time. Bree continues in a flat tone. Everything went smoothly at first. The target was a recently awakened vampire, who knew nothing about the world and hadn't harmed anyone, just shivering in the abandoned factory. At the word vampire, I feel a small jolt of alertness. Bree seems to catch it and waves a hand with a smile. Don't worry, it has nothing to do with your guarantor. That vampire was very weak, a low-rank one. We tried to make contact and calm her down. Things were fine, we were all ready to bring her in peacefully. At this point, Bree's hand tightens around her glass. Her eyes fill with something unresolved and confused. But then our other kind teammate suddenly opened a domain and attacked the captain and Vera from behind. Then he took the vampire and ran. We still don't know where they are. An other kind defection is an extremely serious incident. All the blame was put on the captain. Since then, we haven't been assigned a single real mission, just helping local police with minor cases, some not even other kind related. And that defecting other kind has never shown up in our sights again. But the captain has never stopped looking, and since then, he's refused to allow any other kind into the squad. So Lucien, if during future operations the captain says or does something that crosses a line, don't take it personally. He's had it hard. That's not necessary. Zane, who should be completely drunk, looks straight at me. This is the Bureau, a job where every day is life or death. No room for that kind of sentiment. This isn't a support group. Everyone's got a past. Then he looks back at me and says plainly, I underestimated you earlier because you looked like a kid. I apologize for that. If we ever have a disagreement going forward. He balls up his big fist and shakes it in front of my face, then laughs openly. We're both men, we settle things like this. I can't help but laugh too, and half joke back at him. Sure, Captain Zane, we never did finish earlier. His grin freezes and he waves it off quickly. Get out of here, I can't beat you right now and I'm your captain. Show some respect. After the welcome party wraps up, Bree and Vera leave together. I help Felix get the completely hammered captain into the car. Lucien, do you mind coming with me to drop the captain off? Then I'll drive you home. I nod. I have a feeling he wants to say something to me, otherwise he wouldn't have asked me along. Sure enough, the car has barely started moving when Felix turns to me. You're probably wondering why the captain hates other kinds so much. I am a little curious about that. Felix keeps his eyes on the road, a slight grimace on his face. Our captain used to be the city police chief. That genuinely surprises me. I didn't expect that. I heard all this secondhand. I hadn't joined the squad yet back then. Felix scratches his head a little awkwardly. I remind him, both hands on the wheel. Felix continues, don't let the current captain fool you. He used to have a wife and a daughter. His daughter even graduated top of her class and became a police officer. That makes it even harder for me to picture. If Zane had that kind of life, a happy family, why would he throw himself into a combat unit? But I already sense the answer is coming. Felix glances at Zane in the rearview mirror, fast asleep and snoring. He goes on. 5 years ago, before Zane joined the bureau, Tianhai City was shaken by a series of horrifying disappearances, all young female university students. The police took it extremely seriously, and the captain barely slept, working the case night and day. And in the end he did find a lead. It pointed to a taxi driver named Shane. I say nothing, sitting quietly in the passenger seat and listening to Felix recount what happened. Just as the captain was about to close in, a phone call warned him to stop, that someone else would take care of it. The captain didn't like it, but he held himself back and ordered the entire department to stand down. Only one person refused to comply. His daughter, a newly arrived trainee police at the time. The captain and his daughter had a huge argument over it, and they parted on terrible terms. But the very next morning, the captain received devastating news. His daughter was dead, found in an abandoned warehouse, the exact same location they had planned to move on. After that, the captain completely fell apart. He went after Shane more than once with a gun, and in the end lost his position over it. But here's the strangest part. Every one of the missing girls came back overnight. All of them, like they'd been wiped clean, remembering nothing. Felix turns to look at me. You can probably guess who handled it. I don't hesitate. The Bureau. Exactly. The Bureau stepped in, found the missing girls, but they had no evidence linking it directly to Shane. In the second month after the captain lost his job, the Bureau came to him. They told him his daughter was killed by another kind, but they couldn't prove it was Shane. By now I understand the answer to the question I asked Zane earlier. He joined because he wants to avenge his child with his own hands. Lucien, but don't think of the captain too narrowly. Revenge is part of it, sure. But once he knew those creatures were real, he felt that as a former officer, he had no choice but to take on the responsibility of protecting people. So he threw himself into the Bureau and pushed himself until he could use a domain. And at that moment, Zane slowly opens his eyes in the back seat, a grief in them I've never seen before. Meanwhile, at the top floor of the Holt Group Tower in Tianhai City, Victor sits at his desk chain-smoking, waiting for a result. The office door knocks soon after. A bodyguard enters, visibly uneasy. Mr. Victor, we found nothing. Jason and the bodyguards have vanished completely, not a single trace. Victor lets out a heavy sigh. Jason had been his trusted right hand for years, handling all manner of things that couldn't be done in the open. The reason Victor valued him so highly was that Jason was meticulous and completely loyal, and yet this time, all he asked was for Jason to look into one orphan, and now Jason is simply gone. What about that organization? The one that pulled Lucien's information. Go to them. Track down where Jason went. Spend whatever it takes. Jason served me for a long time. I want him found, alive or dead. The bodyguard hesitates for a moment, then slowly reports. Mr. Victor, that organization has been wiped out. Victor shoots to his feet in disbelief. That organization had deep roots in the underground. It had survived multiple crackdowns without a scratch. How could it just be wiped out overnight? As sharp as Victor is, it hits him immediately. He may have crossed someone far beyond his reach. After all, each incident on its own means nothing, but connected together, the picture is deeply wrong. A cold sweat breaks across his back. Over 10 people dead, perfectly covered up as a car accident. A well-established underground intelligence group pulls a file and is gone the next day. And Jason, who has never once failed, goes completely dark because of one orphan. The bodyguard sees Victor's face go pale and immediately turns toward the door. Mr. Victor, I'll contact someone else to look into this right away. Victor raises a hand sharply. Stop! Drop it! The bodyguard thinks he's misheard and turns back. Mr. Victor, you're not looking for Jason anymore? No more looking! And not just Jason, don't go near anything connected to Lucien either. Everything related to him from this moment on, don't touch a single thing. Understood? The bodyguard hesitates, then nods immediately. Just then, another bodyguard rushes in with an excited look. Mr. Victor, good news! Great news! Still rattled from a moment ago, Victor softened slightly at the words. What good news? Did we win the Dongshan Park bid? No, the underground bounty, 50 million, and someone's taken the contract. Victor's eyes go wide, dread flooding in. What bounty? What 50 million? The hit on Lucien, 5 million didn't get any takers, but 50 million did, a female assassin from overseas. Who put out the bounty? Why don't I know about this? Victor's voice is nearly a roar, and the bodyguard flinches. Mr. Victor, your wife said you approved it. Victor feels the blood drain from his face. Something this serious and none of you came to confirm with me? Go cancel the bounty now, pull the contract back. That stupid woman. He makes up his mind right then. Once he's done with this, he's throwing her into the sea to feed the fish. Roman and his mother are nothing but trouble. He slams a fist down on the desk in fury. The bodyguard scrambles out of the room in a panic, and at that moment, Victor's phone rings. He sees it's an unknown number, and frowns, because almost no one has this number. But he answers anyway with a cold and clipped tone. Who is this? Just confirming, the target's name is Lucian, is that correct? A cold young woman's voice comes through the line. Something clicks in Victor's mind. You're the assassin? I've taken the 50 million contract. The voice sends a chill down his spine. 50 million means nothing to him. But this assassin is a complete unknown, and everything surrounding Lucian lately has been far too strange. Victor has no appetite left for risk. I'm canceling the contract. I'm afraid that's not how this works. The contract has been accepted. If you choose to pull it according to the rules, I will come for you instead. I took this mission because I can do it. Have the 50 million ready otherwise. The line goes dead. Cold sweat forms on Victor's forehead. Her meaning couldn't have been clearer. If he pulls out unilaterally, he becomes the target. He falls back onto the sofa and sits in silent thought. A dark feeling settles in. This time, his stupid son has stirred up something that may be far beyond any of them. On my end, sitting on the sofa, I suddenly feel a bone-deep chill. That's strange. Even in the dead of winter, we're indoors. Is the heating broken? I get up to check it, and knock on the bedroom door while I'm at it. Lyra's disgruntled voice comes through. Let me sleep a bit longer. This is the arrangement Lyra and I have. Well, more like one I unilaterally enforced. I sleep on the sofa, and Lyra sleeps in the room. Even though Lyra said she doesn't mind sharing the bed, I still feel it wouldn't be right. As for whether anything actually happened between us, I never did manage to ask. It's just too hard to bring up. I put together breakfast properly, remind the still sleeping Lyra not to miss it, and head out. I've gotten used to Lyra skipping class regularly, which is probably one of the reasons her reputation at school isn't great. Then again, she's a vampire. Sleeping through the day and moving at night seems pretty reasonable, doesn't it? I step outside and stop in surprise. It's snowing in Tianhai City. No wonder the temperature drops so sharply. This city hasn't seen snow in 5 years. I pull my coat tight around me and make my way to school from the bus stop. Whether it's my imagination or not, the cold feels noticeably worse once I'm on campus, as if the school itself is the source of it. The forecast didn't say it'd be this cold. It's winter, sure, but this is extreme. We're in a southern city. I hear students talking about it the whole way in, but the topic everyone seems most worked up about is a transfer student. You have to see her. The new transfer student is stunning. You'd never guess how tall she is. Those legs are something else. Apparently she's an international student from the north, absolutely beautiful. None of this particularly catches my attention. Foreign exchange and international students at university, nothing unusual there. But in a classroom not far away, by the window, a tall girl with golden hair rests her chin in her hand and stares out. Miss Yara, are you settling in all right in our country? Is it very different from your home country? Wow, your skin is so well kept. Do you have a boyfriend? A crowd of students swarms around her with questions. The golden-haired girl ignores all of them, the warmth around her completely lost on her, her expression remaining cold, until her gaze lands on me passing below, and that expressionless face suddenly breaks into an unsettling smile. Found you at last. At noon during the break, Lyra calls me. Have you eaten breakfast yet? She still sounds drowsy, the soft rustle of blankets in the background. I have. It's pretty cold today. Let me take you shopping this weekend. You wear the same things over and over, and with your looks you deserve clothes that actually fit you properly. A soft laugh comes through the line. Then she seems to think of something. You said it's cold today? Yeah. You're still not fully awake, are you? Go look out the window. It's snowing. Lyra pulls the curtain back and sees it for herself. Her voice shifts, carrying a subtle edge. Lucian, are you still going to your part-time job tonight? Yeah, what's wrong? Don't go for a while. Come home early in the evenings. I'm a little puzzled, but I can hear how serious she is. If I don't go, where's the rent money coming from? I'll figure something out. Just come home early after class, or should I come pick you up? You're my guarantor, not my babysitter. I laugh and reassure her. Promise her nothing's wrong and hang up. As for the part-time job at night, there's no way I'm skipping it. There's one more person living here now, and even though Lyra has started working, I can't rely on her alone. So after class I go to the supermarket as usual, only to be turned away at the door. Lucian, you don't need to come in anymore. I'm completely confused. I haven't done anything wrong. Why am I suddenly being let go? I walk back in, determined to get an answer. What did I do wrong? The owner seems reluctant to say it, and only lowers his voice, when he's sure no one else is nearby. You got on the wrong side of someone. Someone's making things difficult for you. I doubt you'll find work anywhere. It all clicks at once. Victor, without a doubt. He can't come after me directly, so he's using his influence to cut off every path I have. Even if I graduate, I might not find work at all. With nothing else to do, I head home. Walking alone through the falling snow, Amber crosses my mind again. She was once the light I held onto, and now, thinking of her, I feel nothing but a deep, hollow sadness. Passing the corner park alone, I think of the first time I met Lyra, that stormy night. If I hadn't reached out to her, hadn't brought her home, would I still be drowning in the pain of being betrayed? Something pulls me into the park without quite meaning to. I sit on the same swing she once sat on. So much has changed in just half a month. I mutter to myself quietly for a while, then take off my gloves and stare at my palms. These hands brought devastation not long ago. Loss of control or not, I can still feel a faint trace of warmth from the blood in them that shouldn't be there. Enough. I should just go home. I've barely put my gloves back on when, without any warning, I realize someone is sitting on the swing beside me. A silver-haired girl, tall and slender, draped in a cloak, her face breathtakingly beautiful. She isn't looking at me, as if I'm not there at all. I don't think much of it and turn to leave. The girl watches my back and suddenly speaks. What exactly is so special about you? I stop, slowly turn my head, and find her looking at me with a strange smile. What did you say? I ask, genuinely puzzled. What is it about you that caught my master's attention? She rises slowly, steps close, leans in slightly, and inhales carefully. So you're the same kind. Before I can say anything, she opens her mouth, two sharp fangs coming into view. The situation isn't looking good. This woman has a dark, predatory energy, and she's a vampire. Completely different from Lara, she is aggressive all over, and seems to hold hostility toward me. What terrible luck. Is this just a bad year for me? Why does this keep happening to me? I don't have time to think it through. I wrench free from her grip, and sprint for the street. Snow is falling in thick sheets, night is closed in, and there isn't a soul in sight. My shoulder already aches. She's a vampire just like Lara, so why does her attack feel like she wants to tear me apart? Where do you think you're going? Her voice drops from directly above me, close as a whisper. I snap my head up, and she's perched lightly on a lamppost, eyes fixed on me, before suddenly appearing right in front of me, that unnerving cold smile still on her lips. Then she seizes me and slams me hard into the snow. Let me taste you again. Her lips are already stained red. Whatever she's already tasted has only driven her further. She's more crazy than before. Her hand locks around my throat. She licks her lips, the smile deepening. I'm being choked, barely able to breathe. I desperately reach for my bag, which holds a self-defense weapon issued by the Bureau, but the moment my fingertips graze the edge of the bag, she stamps it into the snow with vicious force. Her sharp, rigid wings drive straight through the center of my palm. 50 million. Your head is quite valuable, and your blood tastes extraordinary. I don't know what's inside you, but it's utterly captivating. If you love blood so much, why not just raid a hospital blood bank? The corner of her mouth curves into a twisted smile, and the hand around my throat keeps tightening. Her eyes are locked on me, and just as she's about to wrench my head off, I snap into clarity. I have to fight back right now. I'm just beginning to move, when the girl senses it and laughs. If you open your domain here, every human in range is going to suffer for it. Only now do I realize, at some point, a crowd of onlookers has gathered around us, all recording with their phones. Ha ha! First time I've ever seen such a kind-hearted demon. Her smile twists further into something unhinged, her eyes cold and fixed on me, like she's already counting her victory. Taking advantage of my hesitation, she drives her hand into my chest without warning. An instant of searing pain, it feels like she's crushing my heart in her fist. You're a demon. Why do you even have a heart? How revolting. I try desperately to struggle free and get up, but my body won't move at all. All I can do is watch as she keeps tormenting me. Pinning someone down in public like this, where's your dignity? Talking is the only weapon I have right now. This woman genuinely wants me dead, but I can't even lift my hand and new wounds keep appearing on my body. Finally, she leans in close and whispers in my ear, I'm getting a little bored of you. 50 million is still a solid payday. It's enough for me to live well for a good while. She moves to deliver the final blow. And in that instant, a violent storm of wind and snow erupts. Every phone in the hands of the onlookers freezes solid in an instant. The sudden storm brings the girl's frenzied movements to a halt. She can feel it clearly. She is inside someone's domain. As for who opened it, she slowly turns her body toward the figure emerging from the heart of the storm. Who is that? The silver-haired girl asks in a low voice. But the moment that figure comes into focus, her pupils blow wide. How are you here? It's no longer just a question. It's pure shock and fear. She doesn't even finish the sentence before the newcomer's hand slams her face back, like a silent demand for answers. The figure stands like an immovable mountain, and with one hand drags the silver-haired girl clean off me. Why? Why are you here? The silver-haired girl gasps, shock and confusion shooting from her eyes like arrows. I finally get the chance to breathe, and struggle painfully to prop myself up. I look up and meet the eyes of the person in front of me. Before me stands a tall girl, at least 5'9" by the look of it, and she is looking down at me from above. Despite the oversized coat she's wearing, it does nothing to hide her impressive figure. She hasn't said a word the whole time, and pays no attention to the terrified vampire, just stares at me, unblinking, a faint smile on her face. I look at her and ask quietly, "Who are you?" But she only raises one finger and makes a silencing gesture at me. Her eyes shimmer with a strange light, the way she looks at me burning with heat, like she's looking at something irresistibly appetizing. Then I hear the screech of a car braking. The girl seems to notice too. She turns toward the sound, then looks back at me one more time. At last she leaves me with one quiet line. "I've got my eye on you, demon." Then she turns and disappears into the storm. "Lucian, where are you?" It's Zane. His towering figure emerges shortly after. "What on earth is going on?" Zane pushes through the storm toward me, and when he sees the state I'm in, demonic power activated, battered all over, he shouts with barely contained anger. What happened? I ran into an other kind, got attacked out of nowhere, and then another other kind pulled me out of it. I glanced toward where the silver-haired girl was. It is already empty. Who saved you? Was it Lyra? No, I don't know who she was. We'll deal with that later. We need to move now. There's a domain active here. Zane shoves me into the car, and we get out of there fast. He grabs the vehicle radio and calls out, Other kind has opened a domain in the city. Send backup immediately. But the storm dies down quickly. Beyond the onlookers' destroyed phones and wiped memories, no real damage is done. Felix is at the wheel. They get me out of there quickly, heading straight for the bureau. Inside the bureau's secure area, Zane takes me into an interrogation room. After a brief round of questions, he lets me go. Lyra is the one who comes to collect me. She's still wearing my clothes. With a baseball cap on, she must have come straight from the barbecue stall. When I tell her the one who attacked me was a silver-haired vampire, her expression turns cold and dark instantly. On the way home, I add offhandedly, the one who saved me seemed to be another kind too, but the wind picked up so suddenly, and the snow was coming down so hard, I couldn't make out who she was at all. Lyra says nothing in response, lost in her own thoughts. Deep in the night, she slips out while I'm asleep. The storm is perfect cover. Even with her wings spread wide in the night sky, no one can see her. She reaches the top of the TV tower. She and I once looked out from up here together, but someone else is sitting here now. The girl who saved me last night. Lyra looks at her back and slowly says a name. Yara. The girl named Yara doesn't respond, just hums to herself quietly. Her face is blank as she gazes down at the bustling city below. Only when Lyra comes to stand beside her does she slowly stop humming. It's been a while. Meanwhile, in my sleep, I find myself back in the theater. Countless demons are calling my name. I'm just reaching up to cover my ears when my phone alarm tears me back to reality. The ringing keeps going, and I fumble for the phone in a daze. The screen shows Tess. She must be calling about last night. How are you? Lucian, did you get enough rest? Your injury should be healing up, right? I glance at the time. It's only 6 in the morning. I look over at the bedroom. It's empty. Did Lyra not come back last night? Yeah, the wounds are mostly healed, I feel. I'm about to push myself up when my hand presses down on something beside me, something soft. I look down in confusion. Lyra is sleeping right next to me. Lucian, what's going on? Tess asks on the other end, puzzled. The small disturbance stirs Lyra. She opens her eyes slightly, then immediately rolls to face me, wraps her arms around mine, and goes right back to sleep. Are you in the bathroom? Should I call back? Tess's voice carries a touch of impatience. No, I just haven't fully woken up yet. I force my pulse back down and make a firm mental note to have a talk with Lyra later, appearing out of nowhere like this is going to give me a heart attack. I eventually manage to free my arm, shuffle to the doorway in my slippers, and continue the call. All right, go ahead. Lucian, I didn't take you for such a good listener. Director Tess, I'm sure you have something important to say. Tess drops the teasing and shifts to something more serious. I read your statement from last night. The one who attacked you is an unregistered vampire. We'll keep tracking her. So I ask the next question. And the one who saved me? Her name is Yara. Her alias is North Wind. She falls outside the Bureau's jurisdiction. Oh, she has some history with Lyra. If you can help it, so try not to get involved with her going forward. I can only shake my head with a wry smile. She did save my life, but that and everything else are separate matters. If she and Lyra ever come to blows, I can't just stand back and watch. And honestly, of everything that's happened to me lately, which part did I actually choose other than taking Lyra home that first night? As for what history they have between them, I don't ask, and Tess doesn't bring it up again. I heard you've been working part-time, Tess mentions casually. I was, but not anymore. I got fired. Just thinking about it deflates me. I was hoping to build up some savings. Then it works out. Squad 7 is complete now, and real assignments are coming soon. You won't have time to work a side job anyway. I feel a little annoyed when I hear that. I'm barely even a volunteer. And somehow it's starting to feel like I signed away my life. Director Tess, I've said this more than once. I haven't decided to join yet. How are you already scheduling me for work? And I still have rent to figure out. Just thinking about rent irritates me. I'm flat broke and it's still due every month. Then a notification pops up on my phone. 30,000 just deposited into my account. I stare at it blankly. What is happening? Where did 30,000 come from? Rent is a legitimate concern. You're still a student after all. Consider this a personal living stipend from me. Once you officially join the Bureau, the pay will be around the same. It should have just arrived. Check your phone. Wait, the monthly salary is 30,000? That's just the base salary, doesn't include benefits. And there are mission bonuses on top of that, nothing excessive, roughly another 30,000 a month or so. A windfall from the sky. I'm stunned into silence for a long moment. A base salary of 30,000 a month? What kind of job is this? Of course, if you'd rather not accept my support, I could. No. Director Tess, I am absolutely happy to accept. I haven't officially joined yet, but I'm glad to help however I can. And just like that, lured in by money, I become a Bureau trainee. About an hour later, Lyra and I arrive at the Bureau. Today, Squad 7 receives its first assignment. In the Squad 7 briefing room, Zane and Bree are already there, and Felix and Vera have arrived as well. Seeing me arrive on time, Felix gets ready to start. All right, all squad members are present. Miss Lyra, will you be joining the operation as well? Felix is in charge of mission briefings. He has no issues with Lyra personally. He's just naturally introverted and a little tense. And with Lyra being catastrophe class, it's hard not to feel a little on edge around her. Lyra shakes her head gently. She seems as cold with everyone, except when it comes to me. I'm Lucian's guarantor. My job was to get him here safely. He's in Squad 7's hands now. I'll be on my way. As Lyra walks toward the door, the other members quietly breathe a collective sigh of relief. She is a catastrophe class other kind, after all. The vampire Lyra. That name carries the weight of death itself within the Bureau. Under the supervision of someone that terrifying, everyone assumes my life must be miserable. When she reaches the doorway, Lyra suddenly looks back, and every nerve in the room pulls taut again, but she only looks at me quietly, and says in the softest voice, "I'll bring some grilled meat home tonight. The boss said I can have the leftovers." There's a small trace of anticipation in her voice, as if she's waiting for me to praise her. Of course I don't let her down. I walk over with a smile and ruffle her hair. "Don't go to the trouble, I got paid today. I'll take you out for a nice dinner tonight. And this weekend let's get you some new clothes." Lyra lowers her head, a faint blush spreading across her face. I still find it a little hard to believe. The image of her working at a barbecue stall. Apparently it was Tess who got her the job, which means the owner of that stall is probably not an ordinary person either. After Lyra pulls the door shut and leaves, the other members still haven't closed their mouths. Even the expressionless Vera looks stunned, as if questioning whether she imagined it. "Oh my, that was Lyra. You two? Lucian, what exactly is going on with you?" Zane can barely get the words out. He assumed it was a straightforward guarantor arrangement, but there's clearly nothing straightforward about it. "Lucian, what exactly is going on between you and Lyra?" Bree slides over with barely concealed excitement. "It's unbelievable. Lyra, the vampire who strikes fear into everyone, being that gentle with someone." I don't know whether to laugh or sigh. Lyra genuinely doesn't care at all about her reputation. Written off as a delinquent at university, and apparently not much better regarded here in the tightly run bureau. After a light round of gossip, the room finally settles into business. Felix pulls up the intelligence on the screen and begins the briefing in earnest. "This mission came in as a request from the Public Security Bureau. Lucian, since this is your first operation, I'll give some context first. Most cases the Bureau takes on are other kind related. Special incidents that human agencies can't handle get passed on to us." I listen with complete focus. I even take notes. Felix keeps nodding. Apparently in all his time giving briefings, no one has ever shown him this kind of respect. Zane and the others listen attentively, but they've never given him this. This assignment began as what appeared to be a routine missing persons case. But last winter, a female office worker in Tianhai City vanished on her way home from work, initially suspected to be an abduction. A clean, clear photo appears on the screen. Lena, 24 years old, last September, waiting for her bus after work, vanished without warning, in plain sight of others. She is still missing. The following month, Cindy, 25, a bank employee. While out with friends, she stepped into a restroom and simply ceased to exist. Then Maya disappeared as well. As of now, 15 women are missing. The most recent was 2 months ago. Tina, a third-year university student. The common thread is every disappearance was completely without warning. My brow furrows deeper and deeper as I listen. Something about this feels familiar. A string of missing women. I snap my head toward Zane. The humor is gone from his eyes, replaced by red-rimmed intensity, locked onto the screen. "That's right." Felix turns to me. "It's almost identical to the case from 5 years ago. Tianhai City police are completely at a loss, no evidence left at any scene, nothing to follow. So last month, after assessment, the Bureau took over. After preliminary investigation, we've narrowed our focus to a specific type of other kind. They're called abductor apes, a native creature type, first documented in the ancient text records of the divine. In appearance, they resemble apes, and they specifically abduct women in secret to reproduce. 3 more photos appear, 3 men who look perfectly ordinary, all around 40, all slightly balding. The first abductor ape goes by Mike. First filed 50 years ago, currently works as a minor, minimal contact with women. The second, alias Bob, documented 30 years ago. Currently he is a sailor, at sea most of the year, so he can largely be ruled out as well. And then there's the third, Shane. He is first registered 7 years ago, currently driving a taxi in Tianhai City. He was one of the prime suspects in the case 5 years ago, and he's the most likely suspect in this case too. Looking at Shane's creepy photo, a chill runs through me. Are those women still alive? Where are they being kept? What has he done to them? Every time I think about it, a cold wave moves down my spine. Even in the photo, his eyes seem cold and wrong. Outside the main entrance of Tianhai City First Hospital, in the early evening, Amber has been thrown out again. She'd heard Roman was awake and assumed he'd reach out to her immediately. But she waited, and nothing came. With no other option, she called him herself. The newly awakened Roman sounded weak, and she felt a pang of concern. So she dressed carefully and made her way back to the hospital. Now that he's conscious, surely the bodyguards won't turn her away again. But the moment Roman lays eyes on her, she feels as if she has fallen into freezing water. "Get away from me, I don't want to see your face." "Roman, what did I do wrong? Can't you hear me? I said get out." Roman grabs something with his one remaining working hand and hurls it at her. Amber stumbles out of the hospital and drifts aimlessly through the streets. The winter snow has stopped, and foot traffic is slowly picking back up. But Amber feels like she's walking through endless darkness. She can't make sense of how things have come to this. All she feels is exhaustion. She just wants to go home and sleep. So she heads back to the villa Roman bought for her. But standing at the front gate, neither her fingerprint nor her face can unlock the door, and she triggers a blaring alarm. Within 2 minutes, security personnel arrive, and sharply demand to know what she's doing there. "I live here." Amber pulls out her ID and does her best to prove who she is. After checking, security tells her coldly, "I'm sorry, your name is not on the property deed, And just a short while ago, Mr. Roman removed your records from the security system. What? He bought this for me. I furnished half of it with my own savings. All my things are in there. That's not our concern. Please leave immediately. Amber is overwhelmed with helpless indignation. Not only is she homeless, she can't even get her own belongings back. But if she's honest with herself, was it ever really her home? She picks herself up, disheveled and deflated. She decides to find a hotel for the night. In the past, she would have researched everything a month in advance, even for a family trip. She would have haggled over $10 with the guest house owner without blinking. But now, she has changed. She doesn't even glance at the price and walks straight into a 5-star hotel. She's been moving through the world as if all of it is owed to her, completely blind to how far she's fallen. She books the penthouse suite, and has barely laid down when the door swings open. I apologize for the interruption. The card you used has been frozen. That's impossible. She stares at the front desk staff in disbelief, then pulls out another. This one? Also frozen. Give me a moment. She goes through her wallet card by card, trying each one, and without exception, every single one is frozen. It hits her all at once. Every card Roman gave her, every cent in those accounts, none of it was ever hers. After being escorted out by hotel security, she collapses onto the ground in defeat. Where is she supposed to go tonight? She has just over $1,000 left on her personal account. Barely enough for a budget inn, but she can't stomach the thought. She is starving, so she thinks about eating first. She stands outside an upscale restaurant for a long time, but in the end, she can't bring herself to go in. That $1,000 is her last card to play, one meal in there, and she'd have nothing. She drifts on aimlessly until the smell of grilled meat stops her in her tracks. She can't remember the last time she ate at a street stall. She grits her teeth and walks over. She's just sitting down at an outdoor table and opening the menu. Suddenly, a familiar voice finds its way to her ears. You don't need to pick me up, I can get home myself. I'm worried you'll overthink things and end up sitting in the park crying again. Amber turns toward the voice and sees a familiar silhouette, the back of the person she once valued most. Her instinct is to call my name, but she sees me talking easily and naturally with a girl who is slender with silver white hair in an oversized hoodie and jeans. She looks more closely at the girl's face and is stunned to realize it's Lyra. She works here? The girl who just handed her the menu was Lyra all along. Lyra must have pretended not to recognize her on purpose and then started talking to Lucian right in front of her. Is Lyra rubbing it in her face? Amber suddenly feels how ridiculous this is. A man she walked away from, how could she possibly still care? But now that it's actually come to this, she still feels a little upset inside. Watching me talk and laugh easily with Lyra, even casually reaching over to straighten her crooked cap without a second thought, Amber's temper ignites. How can he be that comfortable with someone else? She clears her throat, rises, tucks a strand of hair behind her ear, and calls out to me with feigned surprise. What a coincidence! But I don't react at all, don't even turn around. Didn't he hear? That's impossible, even Lyra saw her. Lyra catches Amber's eye and quietly gives me a small signal. I pause slightly and look back. And there she is, visibly awkward. Did you call me just now? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. Why didn't you just say my name? What kind of answer is that? Amber feels deeply displeased. So unless she says his name, he can't even recognize her voice anymore? He's doing this on purpose. He's absolutely doing this on purpose. She swallows the fire in her chest and speaks to me with forced lightness. Lucian, would you like to come sit with me? No thanks, I'm just here to walk her home after her shift. Enjoy your meal. I offer the briefest acknowledgement and turn back to Lyra. Amber goes completely still. She knows this manner, she's seen it before. Growing up in an orphanage had made me perceptive and careful. I could maintain a polished distance with anyone. Never offensive, never too warm. But I never used it on her. With her I had always been different. But in that single moment just now she felt it. She is just another stranger to me. So she turns all of that fury toward Lyra, convinced it's Lyra's fault for taking me from her. She's so consumed with anger that she's completely forgotten she was the one who betrayed him first. She directs every bit of that anger at Lyra, but even in a plain outfit with a mask on, Lyra outshines her completely. Amber storms forward in a rage. Lucian, is this really the kind of person you'd stoop to just to spite me? I roll my eyes with my back to her. Miss Amber, please show some respect for my friend. Lucian, how dare you talk to me like that? Who do you think you are? The fact that I'm even acknowledging you is me doing you a favor. Miss Amber, as you yourself once said, we're not from the same world. Don't bother getting close to me anymore. Hearing this, Amber becomes even more convinced I'm doing this just to get at her. She lets out a contemptuous sniff. Lucian, even if I ended things with you, did you have to sink this low? Do I really need to remind you what kind of woman she is? I look at her with cold eyes and say it slowly, one word at a time. Amber, don't push it. Looking at her polished face, Roman crosses my mind, not out of jealousy, but because the Amber standing in front of me is not the one I knew. How can you treat me like this? Lucian, I'll have you know, I was willing to end things civilly and stay friends. But since it's come to this, let's cut all ties completely. This is her go-to move. No matter what happened before, whenever she said she'd never speak to me again, I would always swallow my pride and go after her. She always thought I couldn't live without her, not realizing that everything I did was out of love. But that love is long gone now. Hearing that threat, I pull out my phone with a cold smile and delete her contact right in front of her. Now we're even. Don't come looking for me again. I'm the one coming after you? Amber trembles with rage. She can't understand how I've become this person, and turns that furious gaze on Lyra, only to find Lyra hasn't spared her a single glance. Don't think this is over, Lucian, you will regret this. Even if you come crawling back on your knees someday, I won't even look at you. She grabs her bag and storms off and hasn't gotten far before she hears the conversation behind her. If she comes back for barbecue, should we give her a discount? Letting her eat here at all would be generous. Amber is practically shaking with fury. She takes off in her heels, no longer sure if she's running from me or from herself. She only knows that after a long time walking, she turns into a deserted alley. She kicks off her heels in exhaustion, rubbing her aching feet. Walking this far in heels, the skin on the soles of her feet has been worn raw. All she wants now is to find somewhere to rest. But just as she's about to leave the alley, two drunk men come stumbling toward her. Another disappearance has occurred. The next morning, upon receiving the report, Squad 7 rushes to the scene. Our cover identity is Special Investigator. The Bureau is a classified organization. It must never be revealed to the police or the public. This is my first field deployment, and the state of the scene makes my stomach turn. But when I make out the handbag on the ground, my brow knots instantly. What's wrong? Feeling sick? First-timers always react this way. Zane walks over and claps my shoulder. I quietly crouch down and pick up the handbag from the ground. The missing person this time is Amber. Half an hour later, the scene is processed. Squad 7 gathers in the vehicle. Based on the evidence collected, the four of us are heading for the old district. There's a run-down apartment block there, a remnant left behind by urban renewal, long since claimed by gangs. Lucian, are you feeling better? Bree saw me hunched against the wall earlier, and the concern in her eyes is genuine. I'm fine, just not used to scenes like that. That's not entirely true. After all, I saw death in the orphanage as a child, so I'm no stranger to it. But there's no need to drag that out, it's all buried history. Having seen death doesn't make me numb to it. Even coming out of that hell, I still wanted nothing more than an ordinary, peaceful life. That's why I once treated Amber as the only light in my life. She was the one who pulled me out of that abyss. But life had other plans. Things are different now. That's strange, your file says you have 10 deaths to your name, and from the photos at that scene it was far worse than what we just saw. So why are you getting sick now? It's Vera, and her words carry an edge, pointed, almost accusatory. The 10 deaths she's referring to are Roman's men. That tab belongs to Bale, not me. I don't bother explaining. Just a wry smile. Zane cuts in immediately. Watch your words. Vera, the file makes it clear, Lucian's power was out of control at the time. Vera's next words dropped the temperature in the car to 0. What if it happens again? I'm not comfortable trusting my back to him. Enough, Vera. Felix tries to smooth it over the intercom. Lucian has a guarantor, and besides, he's not even a full member yet. He's just here to help. I'm not interested. Vera cuts him off coldly. I'm caught in the middle with no idea what to say. It's Felix's comment that finally prompts me to speak up. Can I ask a question? Lyra is also another kind. Does she really qualify as a guarantor? Zane answers for me. Strictly speaking, absolutely not, but Lyra is a special case. She doesn't fall under the Bureau's jurisdiction. You've probably noticed her appearance. She isn't from our country, but as a controllable catastrophe class other kind, she's someone the Bureau's upper ranks would give anything to bring on board. That clears it up for me. And I hadn't brought up the guarantor to reassure anyone. It was a reminder, directed at Vera. The Bureau would abandon the entire squad before it gave up on recruiting me, simply because my guarantor is a catastrophe class other kind. Vera gives a cold snort and goes back to her phone. The car arrives at the destination soon after. I look out through the window at a completely different world. No skyscrapers, no busy streets, just squat, crumbling buildings and worn-down apartments. Thugs loiter in the corners, eyeing us with suspicion like they're guarding against an intrusion. Zane pulls up in front of the old apartment block and turns to me with a serious expression. When we're in there, keep quiet, stay low profile, especially when dealing with civilians. Don't draw attention, got it? Seeing my firm nod, he draws his sidearm and holds it out to me. But never show weakness. He pushes the door open and steps out. We've barely gotten out of the car when a group of thugs closes in around us. Their leader chews gum and looks us over with open contempt. What turf are you from? What do you want? Zane flashes the fake credentials. Official investigation. We're not here to clean house. The leader may be nonchalant, but he clearly knows what that document means. Oh, provincial level? He shows no fear, studies the ID at length, then his eyes slide over to Bree. Well, look at that, government girls are something else. He reaches out to check their credentials, but Zane blocks him. That's enough. The thug waves it off without a care. Go do your business. Keep your eyes open. Not even the heavens can protect you if you step wrong in here. The elevator in the old building is cramped and run down, filled with a sharp, acrid stench, as if someone has been using it as a bathroom on a regular basis. Bree clamps her hand over her nose and mouth the moment she steps in, brow knotted tight. Vera looks completely unbothered, as if this kind of environment is nothing new to her. The elevator stops on the 5th floor. Zane walks straight to room 58 and knocks hard. A hoarse voice comes from inside. Who's there? I'll have the money next week, I swear. Please stop coming to collect. Shane, open up. We're not here for money. Zane's voice is flat and cold. Shane opens the door and makes a startled sound. Why is it you? He tries to slam it shut in a panic, but Zane kicks it open and sends him sprawling. Shane scrambles back to his feet, glaring with fury. You again? Why is it always you? I didn't do anything to your daughter. Why won't you let it go? Zane shoves the credentials in his face. I'm with the Bureau now. We're here on official investigation business. At the words, Arcane Oversight Bureau, Shane deflates completely. Chief Zane, I've explained this 100 times. Your daughter's death had nothing to do with me, and I know nothing about any missing persons cases. You already took one of my legs. When is enough going to be enough? I haven't been chief of anything for a long time. I'm Squad 7's captain now. Do you understand what that means? Zane slaps the credentials against his face again. I can see it clearly. The depth of hate Zane carries for Shane has no bottom. But even now, even here, he's keeping it reined in. Otherwise, Shane would already be picking his teeth off the floor. Understood, Captain Zane. Good. I was starting to wonder if other kinds like you still knew how to communicate with humans. Zane drops himself into a chair like he owns the place. Bree and Vera have finished their sweep of the room by now and return to the living area. Both shake their heads at Zane. Zane gives Bree a look, and she steps forward immediately, producing the photos of the missing victims. Have you seen any of these women? I'm sorry, I genuinely haven't seen them. Has something happened? Shane glances at the photos without a flicker of reaction. They've all gone missing. The method is highly unusual, not something a human could pull off. Bree puts deliberate weight on the second half, clearly meant for him specifically. I swear, officers, I've never seen them. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm asking you to look into this properly. Stop the theatrics. Zane backhands him. The force of it makes even me wince. Shane blinks from the impact. Captain Zane, I know what happened to your daughter and I'm sorry, but you can't just pin everything on me. First, I'm being framed. Zane crouches down and stares at him with cold eyes, then lets out a low, humorless laugh. Fine. Today is official business. The old score stays on hold for now. He stands, brushes off his jacket, and leads us toward the exit. Thank you for your mercy. Thank you, officers. I'll keep my head down. I swear I won't cause any trouble for anyone. Throughout the whole exchange, I stay silent, watching Shane carefully, and observing how the squad operates. The coordination is remarkable. No one needs to be told twice, each person slotting into their role with precision. We leave Shane's place and head downstairs, only to find trouble waiting at the bottom. The thugs have gathered around the building. Well, that was quick, officers. The leader waves his hand and his crew encircles our vehicle instantly. What exactly is this supposed to be? Zane turns to face him. Zane's nearly 6'3" and built like a wall. The thug in front of him looks like a twig, but the group doesn't back down. Numbers give them confidence, and their arrogance shows. My mistake earlier, I didn't recognize you. If it isn't Chief Zane from the Public Security Bureau, my apologies for not placing you sooner. Back in the day, over a dozen of my boys went down because of you. You were something else, utterly merciless. Zane smiles coldly. What do you want? How about this? Let me host tonight, and we put this bad blood to rest over drinks. Honor us with your company. No time tonight. Another day, my treat. We'll drink properly. Zane smiles and moves to walk past, but a thug steps in front of him hard. What, you think you're better than us? Too good to show some respect? Fine then. Leave those two girls behind. The boys will take good care of them. Consider it an apology for my brothers you put away back then. The thug finishes with a lewd laugh, and the others around him start jeering. Zane sees that look and his eyes go dark. He grabs the nearest thug by the throat in one motion, and slams him against the car window. The others erupt at the sight. Zane's instructions flash through my mind, so the moment the crowd moves to rush us, I draw the gun from my holster without hesitation. The barrel pressed against the leader's head. I sweep a look of total contempt over the crowd. They outnumber us badly, but I'm holding something real, and nobody wants to be the first to die. They can only watch as we get in the car. I don't holster the gun until the engine is already running. The car peels away, leaving a crowd of furious men standing in the dust. Once we're far enough away, Zane bursts out laughing. He slaps my shoulder hard. Ha! You've got real guts. I knew I wasn't wrong about you. What made you draw, even if you didn't take the safety off? I cough from the force of it. Captain, wasn't that your signal for me to do something? I was signaling you to start the car so we could get out of there. I'm left speechless. So I completely misread the signal. But judging by the outcome, Squad 7 seems satisfied with how things went. Even Vera, of all people, offers something. Not bad. Clean enough. I assumed we were heading back to headquarters, but Zane loops around and parks at the entrance on the other side of the old district. It's already 7 in the evening. Winter darkness comes fast. Zane and I lean against the car outside. He pulls a piece of chocolate from his pocket and pops it into his mouth with contentment, then holds the rest out to me. Want one? Good for fatigue. I wave it off. Come on, stop playing tough with me, saving the good behavior for the girls. I can't decide whether to laugh or groan. I quickly redirect him, and bring the conversation back to what matters. How suspicious do you think Shane is? Zane turns it back on me. Did you spot anything? It's hard to say. He looks straightforward enough, but we can't judge a book by its cover. But there was nothing in the apartment. Fair enough. Silence settles between us. Zane crouches by the worn wall and eats his chocolate piece by piece. Then I notice he's looking at something. I lean closer. It's a small, delicate locket. The cover is flipped open, and inside is a photograph. Zane suddenly turns to me. She's pretty, isn't she? It's my daughter. He holds it out with unmistakable pride. She's beautiful. The girl in the photo is tall with fine features, and there's a composed, righteous quality in her expression. Of course she is. Could a daughter of mine be anything less? He breaks off mid-sentence and takes a big bite of chocolate. If she'd been able to keep wearing that uniform, she'd have made chief someday. A great one. But I know. The girl in that photo will never have the chance. Her life stopped 5 years ago. I slowly crouch down beside him. Is this why you joined the Bureau? Zane doesn't answer. He just stares at the locket, fixed on that bright smiling face. After a long silence, what he says doesn't quite answer the question. When it happened, her mother couldn't take it. She divorced me. Those were the darkest days of my life. I went to Shane's place every day with my service weapon. and the department warned me more times than I can count. The last time, I couldn't hold back, I put a round through his leg. A uniform I'd worn most of my life, stripped off just like that. A few months later, Tess showed up at my door. First thing she said was an apology for failing to bring the real perpetrator to justice. My head was nothing but hate at the time. I threw her out. The image of the composed and commanding Tess being physically thrown out nearly makes me laugh out loud, but I feel the weight of the moment and hold it in. She came back 3 more times. I threw her out 3 more times. The 4th visit she just kicked the door in. She doesn't look like much, but 1 kick and my security door was gone. You know what she said when she walked in? 3 visits should be enough for anyone, surely that's sufficient sincerity. Then she dragged me back to headquarters, walked me through everything the bureau does, and asked if I wanted in. What she did was a serious violation of the rules. Since I hadn't agreed to join, I had no business being in headquarters. But Tess is a good person. She's the one who pulled me out. Zane closes the locket and stands up. A kid with a future like yours shouldn't be stepping into a world where you're more likely to die than survive. I stand too, and I'm just about to ask something else, when a heavy car door shuts behind me. I turn to find Bree has shed the attention-grabbing suit and changed into a black athletic outfit, a large guitar case on her back, a dark knit cap pulled over her head. I almost didn't recognize her. Vera beside her is dressed the same way. She says nothing and just raises her wrist and taps her watch. 7:35, we move. Zane gives a small nod. I watch them and can't help asking, where are they going? Everyone has their role. Zane's answer says nothing at all. Right then my phone buzzes. I check. It's Amber's mother. Hello, Auntie. Lucian, I need to ask you something urgently. What's happened to Amber? Her voice over the phone is frantic. She's clearly already heard the news that Amber is missing. Auntie, please stay calm. The police are doing everything they can. Amber is going to be all right. The voice on the other end sounds like she's on the verge of tears. Lucian, please, you have to bring Amber back. You two were so close, I'm begging you, please. She clearly doesn't know that Amber and I have long since gone our separate ways. I will bring her back. I know I shouldn't be making that promise. I'm new to all of this, and finding someone is not exactly within my abilities yet, but I can't stand to watch her fall apart. Whatever Amber has done to me, her parents gave me everything when I had nothing. When the orphanage collapsed, they took me in, and to me, they are as close to parents as I've ever known. After a few reassuring words, I finally hang up, but the weight in my chest has grown heavier. If it were me, I'd never make a promise like that so easily. Zane shakes his head with a smile. Who is she to you? Don't tell me she's the ex. He draws out the last few words deliberately, watching me with knowing eyes. He claps a hand on my shoulder. Don't worry, I won't breathe a word of this to Lyra. I look at him, genuinely puzzled. What does this have to do with Lyra? You really don't understand women. Someone staying up half the night working a case involving their ex. You think Lyra wouldn't have something to say about that? Captain Zane, Lyra and I haven't actually made anything official. After all, even now, neither of us has ever actually confessed any feelings of affection to each other. These things find their way naturally. You're still young, you'll understand eventually. But don't always wait for her to speak first. Sometimes a man has to take the initiative. About half an hour later, Bree's voice comes through the radio. Captain, this whole group seems to have coordinated. They've all piled into vehicles and are heading for the abandoned factory on the old street. Abandoned factory? Something drops in my chest. Could it be the same old factory where Zane's daughter was found? Little Peach, how's your line of sight? Zane sits up in the back seat and speaks into the comms. Crystal clear. The buildings around here are complicated. Finding a decent position wasn't easy. Zane pops 2 more pieces of chocolate. Stay sharp. Don't blow your cover. Bree grips the radio and continues her report. All vehicles stopped outside the old warehouse. They're getting out and moving inside. Bree, hold your position. Keep eyes on them. Vera, report. Tailing the targets. I'm inside the warehouse now, currently maintaining covert surveillance. The seconds tick by, steady and slow. The channel falls into dead silence. My heart is hammering. It's already past 1 in the morning, but I'm wired. Not a trace of sleep in me. In the middle of the wait. A message from Lyra comes through. The first message is blank. Just a little cat begging for attention, when I'm still staring at it in confusion. The second message arrives. Sorry. First time texting anyone. Slipped and sent it by mistake. For someone who supposedly lived 100 years as a vampire, her grasp of everyday life is absolutely zero. But thanks to her little moment, the tension in me eases just a fraction. The relief barely settles. When Vera's voice cuts through. Missing persons located. Targets confirmed inside the abandoned warehouse. The suspects are attempting to move the hostages. A surge of excitement rises in me. Not just because the victims have been found, but because the culprits are those thugs. Shane has nothing to do with this. Honestly, seeing him in that state earlier, I had felt a twinge of sympathy. Let's move. I'm barely containing myself. But Zane just keeps smoking in silence, looking like he's working through something complicated. Then he slowly turns his head toward me. Director Tess has filled me in. You used to be an ordinary person, so tell me honestly, how do you actually see other kinds? I look at him, genuinely confused about why he's asking this now. Depends on the situation. The vampire who attacked me, that was pure malice, but Shane seems like he's trying to keep a low profile. Zane's mouth curves into a faint smile. I hope you keep that perspective. Treat the world with fairness, no matter who stands in front of you, no matter where you stand. He turns the key the moment the words leave his mouth. But the moment the engine roars, Zane doubles over and grabs his stomach. Oh no, my stomach is killing me. It must have been the restaurant at dinner. I stare at him in disbelief. How does this happen right now? But Captain Zane, we ate at the same table. My stomach just can't handle it. I can't hold it. I need to find somewhere to go right now. You head over and back up Bree and the others first. My jaw nearly hits the floor. What? Just me going in alone? What are you worried about? You're not exactly ordinary, a few regular people aren't going to slow you down. Besides, Bree and Vera are more than capable. Just don't drag them down and you'll be fine, I guess. My head is a complete mess, this whole situation is absurd, and I don't even have a driver's license. Zane shoves the passenger door open and kicks me clean out of the car. Stop whining, were you expecting a scenic drive? Move it. Confused as I am, I have no choice but to break into a full sprint toward the abandoned factory. Watching me disappear into the dark, the pained expression on Zane's face vanishes instantly. He steps out of the car and pops a piece of chocolate, then turns and pulls a long, narrow package from the trunk. He hums some nameless tune under his breath as he walks slowly toward the rundown apartment block. Just as I'm nearly at the old factory, Felix's urgent voice comes through the earpiece. What's happening? The drone over the apartment. Why did it go down? And stranger still, who cut my surveillance feed? Something in his frantic tone sets off a quiet alarm in me. Where is everyone? Report your current status now. Felix is beside himself on the communication channel. Urgent situation. Felix, we're already in contact with the targets. How long until backup arrives? Vera's reply is short. The sounds of a fierce fight bleeding through the background. She's clearly already engaged. The captain dropped out halfway with a stomach issue. I'm running on foot to reinforce the factory. In that instant, I hear Felix draw a sharp breath. Lucian, turn around right now. Get back to the captain's position immediately. I slow involuntarily, anxiety tightening in my chest. What's happened? Vera squeezes in a few words between blows. Lucian, listen, the captain deliberately sent you away. He's planning to settle his score alone. Felix yells at the top of his lungs from the other end. We cannot let the captain go in alone. Director Tess just sent through an urgent alert. Shane, the creature we're dealing with, has had his threat rating suddenly elevated to extreme danger. The captain cannot take him on alone. Director Tess's orders are to prioritize rescuing the hostages. Shane will be handled by a specialized unit from above. Lucian, you have to drag the captain back. I stop talking and stop asking. The cold glint in Shane's eyes as he left flashes through my mind, and my heart starts hammering in my chest. A deep, dark dread settles over me. Meanwhile, on the 5th floor, outside Shane's door, Zane stubs out the last of his cigarette, takes a long, slow breath, and knocks heavily on the door. Coming! Shane calls from inside. Who's knocking at this hour? Shane opens the door, takes one look, and freezes completely. Captain Zane, why have you come back? Zane's lips curl into a cold smile. There are a few details I need to go over. Of course, Captain Zane, anything you need. Shane politely offers him a cup of hot tea. Zane takes a seat and sips before striking. Drop the act, Shane. No one else is here. The incident 5 years ago was your doing, and the current disappearances, every single one of them, you're behind it all. Shane's body visibly shudders at those words, and he forces out a dry, hollow laugh. Captain Zane, why do you keep holding on to the past? I genuinely haven't done anything wrong. Zane cuts him off sharply. Perfume. 5 years ago, that was your one slip, and now you've fallen into the exact same trap. Not just on your clothes, this whole squalid room reeks of at least 5 different women's perfumes, and none of them are anything an ordinary woman could afford. Shane stares, mouth open, unable to produce a single word. As it happens, my ex-wife was a perfumer. Every scent in the world is burned into my nose, and it was that very smell that first made me suspect you back then. I could never figure out why you didn't clean the scent after each time. It wasn't until I joined the bureau that it finally made sense. As he speaks, Zane draws a long black blade. Ha 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 ha. Shane lets out a chilling laugh, arms hanging at his sides. Because our kind is born without a sense of smell. When he snaps his head up, his eyes are blazing with a dark, unhinged light. He has clearly dropped the act. Zane's mind goes miraculously still. 5 full years. This debt is finally due. Ha ha! You're a relentless mad dog, Captain Zane. 5 years is nothing to our kind, and yet somehow you've caught my tail twice in such a short time. My only regret is not finishing you off the first time. The words are barely out of his mouth when Zane's blade comes down like a thunderbolt. Shane has no way to dodge. He crumples to the floor in an instant. Zane stares down at Shane's motionless body with cold eyes. Just as he turns to leave, a suffocating, crushing pressure begins to devour the entire building, and a chilling laugh rises up behind him. Why the rush, Captain Zane? You came all this way, why not stay a while? The Shane who should be dead rises in a twisted, distorted form, a cruel sneer splitting his face. Zane turns and locks eyes with the monster, letting out a contemptuous snort. Filthy thing, same as always. In an instant, a void-black darkness spills outward and swallows the entire building into a bottomless shadow prison. At the same moment, I arrive back at the apartment gasping for breath. The car is still parked downstairs, but Zane is gone. I suck in a breath and sprint up to the 5th floor, kicking Shane's door open. But the room is completely undisturbed. No sign of Shane and no sign of Zane. Everything is clean. Not a trace of any confrontation. Felix has a sudden realization and yells at me through the comms. The captain must have opened a domain. He's pulled the entire building out of normal space. Can you speak in plain terms? I'm completely lost. Bureau jargon might as well be a foreign language to me. Bree cuts into the channel at just the right moment. Lucian, listen to me. Search the surrounding area for objects that look like seal flags. There should be 5 of them spread out. Pull all 5 and you'll break the lockdown seal field. I'll try! I tear through the area in a frantic sweep, looking for any trace of the seal flags. But I'm running in circles like a headless chicken, and I can't find a single one. It doesn't take much to figure out that Zane set this up specifically to face Shane alone, and he's made sure no one can interfere. He knew perfectly well this was official business, but he used it as cover for a personal vendetta. If he hadn't, he would have reported Shane's slip-ups to headquarters long ago. But he stayed quiet, because he was afraid. Deeply, desperately afraid. What if it ended the same way as before, all effort, no result? He wasn't sure he could survive a second collapse of everything he believed in. Just as I'm pacing the empty room like a man on fire, Felix's voice cuts back in urgently. Lucien, the engineering rapid response unit has been approved. The main force can deploy any moment. There's no time. I don't know where this feeling is coming from, but every instinct I have is screaming at me. By the time the response unit slowly punches through the seal field, it'll be too late. When I first lost control and opened a domain, Lyra used her power to suppress mine. I murmured to myself while furiously trying to rouse the force sleeping inside me. Lucien, have you lost your mind? Do not act before the main force arrives. Vera's warning cuts through, and then it's swallowed whole by the thunderous sounds of combat and screaming behind her. I'm not even an official member. I open my eyes slowly, a flash of dark gold passing through my pupils. Interns are expendable anyway. If something goes wrong, they just make a good scapegoat. Felix hears the edge in my voice, and panics completely on the other end. He's just as worried about Zane, but I'm still a newcomer. And if I go down at a moment like this, Squad 7 will have no way to answer for it. Lucien, hold your position. Don't do anything reckless. But I'm done listening. I close my eyes and ignite the forbidden force within. Domain. Full activation. Thunder convergence. In an instant, every light source within a full kilometer flares like dying candles and lets out a sharp shriek, as if some vast invisible mouth is greedily draining every loose current in the air. Felix is still screaming in my earpiece, but I've shut the world out, desperately reaching back through memory for the sensation of my domain being forcibly torn open that first time. But back then my mind was already gone. Bale had nearly taken over completely. Trying to replicate what Lyra did is like trying to reach the sky. Wild lightning courses over my skin again and again, but I'm like a gun with no sights. Every forced attempt fails, and the sharp, tearing pain in my chest keeps coming. A burst of static crackles in my ear, and I nearly tear the earpiece out, assuming it's Felix again. But then a clear female voice cuts through. Focus your mind. Clear all distractions. Use domain to break domain. Do not meet it head-on. Never release your power freely. Compress it to a single point. The voice is deep and still. Not Felix, not Bree, then definitely not the hot-tempered Vera. I stand frozen. Director Tess? The next moment, I clear my mind completely, close my eyes, and turn her words over carefully. A domain is simply the physical manifestation of power. That creature's innate ability is particularly vile. It lets him weave a concealment seal field with no gaps whatsoever. If you want to force his domain open, you have exactly two options. Overwhelm it the way Lyra once did. Crush it with a more brutal domain, or compress your domain power to its absolute limit and use it as a blade to pierce straight through. From the sound of things, Tess has already seized command from Felix. Bree, Vera, listen up. Stay locked onto your targets and keep them pinned. The hostages in the old warehouse must not be lost. As for you, Lucien, go all out. Follow your instincts. With that, I let go of every hesitation. I pull back what's left of the broken domain and forge it again from scratch. But this time, the approach is completely different. I drive the wild lightning inward, pressing it tighter and tighter until it condenses into a dangerously concentrated sphere in my palm. A cold flash of light crosses my eyes. Thunder convergence. In the space of a lightning flash, a ferocious thunder dragon tears through the night sky, and the rolling thunder explodes with a roar. The residents below erupt in an uproar. What is going on in the middle of the night? First the power goes out, then thunder. Can't a person get any sleep? When the lightning fades, I look carefully. A violent spatial rift has been torn open in midair right in front of me. From the deep, deathly silence of that dimensional abyss comes Zane's unmistakable stubborn grunt. Then a skin-crawling, inhuman shriek cuts it off violently, the sound of a dying beast from the abyss, saturated with bone-chilling cold and overwhelming malice. You pathetic insect, you're begging for death. I showed you mercy back then and let you live, and now you come crawling back to hand me your head. You're just as foolish as that dead daughter of yours. Through the rift, I catch a glimpse of another world. Shane's body has swelled to a grotesque scale, like a prehistoric great ape standing tall, a titan of annihilation freed from its chains. And facing this colossus is Zane, gripping a black blade in both hands, his body on the verge of collapse, but his spine standing. The brutal wounds crisscrossing his body speak silently of what a brutal fight this has already been. Ha ha ha. The creature's grotesque, ridge-scarred face slowly pulls into a nauseating shape, the corners of his mouth curling into a grin that turns the stomach. Captain Zane, you've got hard bones. What exactly is keeping this inferior, frail little body of yours going? The unbearable grief of losing your daughter, or the laughable excuse you call justice? Faced with Shane's attempt to cut to the heart, Zane only raises an eyebrow with contempt, draws a deep breath, and forces his unsteady legs to hold. The blade's tip points at the creature's throat like a viper's tongue. His weathered face holds nothing but cold, killing intent and a fury that could burn the world down. None of your business! You sit there parroting human words. Do you even deserve to speak them? You're nothing but a gutter rat ruled by appetite, preying on the weak because that's all you're capable of. Zane's tongue is as vicious as ever, every word dipped in poison. And yet it only makes Shane see more clearly the fear Zane is burying deep inside. Hehehe, I can read your fear. Down to your bones you dread me. I've been the bloodthirsty nightmare you can't shake for 5 long years. With a face like yours, maybe look in a mirror before deciding how important you are. Just as Zane is ready to keep going, the air around them dies into an absolute frozen stillness. A lethal sense of danger fires through every nerve. Before his mind can even form an escape command, the shadow massive as a hillside erupts into impossible speed. Shane launches like a heavy artillery shell, carrying the crushing force of something that destroys everything in its path, and hurls himself at Zane with the weight of a collapsing mountain. The killing pressure seals Zane in completely, every inch of his skin screaming with despair. That arm, thick as reinforced concrete, comes down like a world-ending iron hammer, tearing a breathless vacuum in its wake. As those massive claws tear through his last blind spot, Zane knows there is nowhere left to go. Just as he is about to be ground into a smear of red by that raging monster, a savage thunder dragon tears out of nowhere and slams into the creature's supposedly immovable flank. "You idiot, who told you to come here and get yourself killed? Didn't I order you to hold at the warehouse?" Zane grits his teeth and forces his upper body up, and the sight of me wrapped in raging lightning nearly makes him very angry. "I'm just a temp. Following your orders is a courtesy. Acting on my own is my right. Director Tess approved it herself." In the space of that argument, the dust hasn't even settled when the terrifying shadow surges back. "Ha ha 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 ha. I thought it was just some blind little rat, but it turns out to be a living, breathing demon. I've never tasted demon before. You'll make a fine little snack. Eat recklessly enough and sooner or later you'll crack every tooth you have." I explode off my feet, charging straight at the creature head-on. With thunder amplifying me, my speed is overwhelming. I raise my right hand and drive a beam of highly compressed lightning ruthlessly through the creature's massive lower body. Blinding currents wrap around the beast in an instant, the enormous fist raised above freezing mid-swing, the massive body convulsing violently under the brutal high-voltage current. "Have another move!" I roar and push the thunder output higher and higher, endless currents surging through the spatial rift I forced open. "That's it! Well done!" Zane spots the creature's weak point instantly, his fighting spirit flaring as he strains to crawl toward his fallen blade. "Leave me a chance to kick it while it's down." He staggers to his feet and raises the blade to finish it, but he barely takes 2 steps before the creature unleashes a piercing, earth-shaking roar and shatters the lightning cage through sheer brute force. The terrifying shockwave that follows sweeps through like a hurricane and sends Zane and me both flying. Having paid a serious price, the creature no longer charges recklessly. It drops to all fours and leaps backward to put distance between us, mountain-like muscles rising high, and deep in those vast murky pupils, a chilling crimson begins to bloom, seductive as hellfire. What's it building up to? The alarm bells in my head are deafening, and I have no answer. I know nothing about this ancient creature's killing instincts, so I look to Zane for guidance. "Don't you dare look away. Eyes on it. Keep your eyes on it," Zane yells with raw urgency. But the warning comes half a beat too late by the time my eyes snap back. The creature's massive body has simply vanished. Tess's warning suddenly surfaces in my mind. This creature's innate ability is absolute concealment, and now that it has consumed some unknown power, its stealth will be even more unpredictable. I barely have time to react. A devastating force slams into my side, the creature materializing from nothing, carrying killing intent that fills the air, and it swats me through the air like a torn sack. I feel like every organ inside me has just been shaken to pieces. Fortunately, at the very last moment I managed to gather lightning around myself as a shield, and barely absorb enough of the impact before hitting the ground. I grit through the pain and try to call up lightning to strike back, but the creature vanishes like a ghost once more. How am I supposed to break through this? I stare into the surrounding darkness like a cornered animal, trying to catch even the faintest ripple in the space around me. Then another blow from above. I'm still blind to it, and I'm driven flat into the scorched earth. I shake my ringing head. An uncontrollable violence is eating through my reason. I can feel it clearly. Bale, living inside me, sitting on his throne, chin resting in his hand, watching my suffering with great amusement. I clench my jaw and start to push myself up, when a powerful kick catches me in the back and sends me flying again. The creature won't give me even half a second. Then it launches into the air and heads straight for the spatial rift maintaining my domain. "No!" Zane cries out in alarm. But there's nothing to be done. The creature hangs before the rift, opens its massive jaws and bites down, swallowing the lightning-filled rift whole. The energy channel connecting to the real world is completely severed, and the surging lightning within me runs dry in an instant. I roll my aching neck and let out a long sigh. I knew going in that with my half-developed ability, I'd be getting ground into the dirt by this thing, but I'm still not ready to accept it. The comms channel has gone dead quiet. No cavalry is coming to save us now, so I look at the creature charging toward me and raise my middle finger. "Come on then, let's hurt each other." Just as the creature is about to swallow me whole, a black blade falls like a meteor, and drives itself domineeringly into the ground between me and the creature. The moment the blade sinks into the surface, it erupts in a brilliant burst of dark gold light. "You little punk, I'm the captain. Who do you think you are? Get in line if you want to play the hero." Zane limps to a stop in front of me. He draws a long breath and barely manages to straighten up. "Save your strength." Looking at Zane, who's hurt worse than I am, I can't help but let out a helpless sigh. It really doesn't look like we're getting out of this one. After all, my remaining power isn't enough to open another rift. Of course, there is one other option, hand control over to Bale. "Don't give up this fast, kid, and don't lean too hard on the power inside you." What's wrong with it? As long as I survive, worst case I stop being human. Zane can only laugh helplessly at that. Stop being human, not bad as words go, but that person absolutely cannot be you. He takes the locket from around his neck with one hand, slowly turns it over, and presses his thumb gently against the back panel to open it. I stare in shock. Concealed in a hidden compartment inside the locket is a red crystal fragment. Lucien, let me lay everything out for you today. He stares at the red crystal, a deep helplessness moving through his eyes. I told you before that after joining the Bureau and going through their training, I gradually changed my original intentions. That was all a lie. He carefully extracts the fragment. Not a single day did I forget, not one. That creature, my daughter, the Bureau, every other kind in this world. The hatred inside me has never diminished. If anything, it only grows deeper with time. The creature tilts its head in confusion at first, then seems to sense something wrong, its face filling with disbelief. What exactly are you trying to say? My brow knots tight. I watch him intently. Something about his behavior makes me deeply uneasy. The strange energy radiating from that red fragment makes me feel like the air is being pressed out of me. What I want to tell you is, don't ever take me as your model. Whether you join the Bureau or not, don't use me as your standard. I should have died 5 years ago, the moment my daughter was taken from me. What's been walking around these past 5 years is nothing more than a soul consumed by the need for vengeance. He looks at me with complete seriousness, and slowly presses the fragment toward his chest. Lucien, I want you to watch. What are you doing? I'm completely confused, but then he lets out a quiet, cold laugh. The other kind aren't the only ones who can be granted power. Lucien, remember this. What I'm about to do has nothing to do with the Bureau, and nothing to do with you and me. This is for my daughter. The moment the fragment touches his chest, it blazes with a blinding red light and sinks instantly into his flesh. The realization hits me. You're turning yourself into a creature. Get that thing out now. But within just a few seconds, a flower of red crystal blooms rapidly across his chest. Haha, seems like it's fighting me. Just how much does this thing despise humans? It gave power to that creature willingly enough, and yet for a human it resists like this. Then he looks at me with his final words. Remember this, Lucien. Don't rely too heavily on the power inside you. You must take their power and... With a sharp crack, he crushes the crystal on his chest, and the Bureau's badge along with it. Make it yours, just like I'm doing now. In an instant, a terrifying force erupts from within him. The body that was still an ordinary human's begins an astonishing transformation. His body swells at visible speed, as if boundless potential is bursting from every seam. Veins rage beneath the skin as if trying to break free of everything, and his hair begins growing at a furious pace. In moments he has become a towering giant, awe-inspiring, impossible to look at directly, every movement radiating terrifying pressure. Human, how dare you touch that power? Hand over your fragment. I want to become even more powerful. The creature hurls itself at him like something unhinged. Zane barely raises a hand. The blade in the ground trembles slightly, then rips free and flies into his grip. The moment he touches the hilt, a vast energy surges through the space around him. He slowly raises his enormous head and meets the creature's gaze, then opens his mouth and forces out in a voice that grates and distorts. Domain, activate, Spirit General, Demon Seal. Immediately after, a colossal golden phantom rises behind Zane, clad in brilliant golden armor. As Zane moves, the golden Spirit General mirrors him exactly, raising its massive blade in unison. No, wait, Captain Zane, you're one of us now. We're the same kind. We don't have to do this. The creature seems to suddenly grasp that the person in front of it has surpassed it completely. Its only thought now is survival, and it pleads without any dignity left. Kill. Zane's massive body swings the blade with one hand, the golden Spirit General doing exactly the same, the two achieving perfect synchrony in an instant. As they bring down a world-ending strike together, the blade carries a howling gale as it cleaves toward its target. The creature that was just moments ago begging for its life takes the full force of that terrible blow head-on, and its enormous body crashes to the ground. As the creature's total defeat sets in, the chaotic space around us begins to collapse. The phantom behind Zane fades with it. My pupils contract sharply. Everything that just happened was brief, and it has left a storm inside me that won't settle. Before I can recover, the black blade drives itself into the ground at my feet. I look down at it, then look up, and see that Zane's transformation is still continuing. I know he's nearly at his limit, almost completely losing his hold on the power. His massive body is trembling now, and even the act of speaking drains what little reason he has left. A human can never truly become another kind. I understand what he means in an instant. He wants me to give him his final end. I let out a long breath, grip the handle, and drag the blade step by step toward him, and it lets out a low, resonant hum, as if weeping for its master, as if seeing its master off. At last, I stand before him. I grip the sharp blade with both hands, looking up at the completely transformed man above me. I gather the very last trace of power still in me, and channel it entirely into the cold blade. You really are a failure of a captain. I slowly raise the blade. At this moment, Zane's body is still standing. His hatred for the creatures, his resentment toward the Bureau, his loathing of all entities, and his guilt toward his daughter and his former wife. In this moment, they all twist together without distinction, kneaded into something deeply, utterly unhinged. And the last thread of reason holding it all back can no longer hold. His claws reach slowly toward me. The human before him looks so small. One slight squeeze and, you have failed your daughter. You have failed everything the Bureau invested in you. You have failed Bree. You have failed Vera. And above all, you have failed Felix. You are an extraordinarily selfish man. Just as those black claws are about to reach me, the gleaming blade passes through his body. You were too proud, and far too certain you knew best. As Zane's massive body falls, I draw a deep breath and try to calm the emotions inside me, but the tears slip from the corners of my eyes anyway. No one had the right to tell you to let go of your hatred. Not Tess, not the Bureau, and certainly not the world. Is it shameful to carry hatred? Not at all. What's truly shameful is that you didn't trust the people around you, the ones you raised yourself. I slowly lower myself to the ground beside him. Bree, Vera, Felix, they all treated you like a father. They trusted you with their backs and their lives. But you, did you ever truly trust them? You had better options available to you. Zane's breathing grows faint, the red glowing crystal on his chest dimming piece by piece until it goes dark. Whatever happened, Captain, it's all over now. Your life, whether it felt suffocating, whether it felt humiliating, or whether it finally felt like release, it has come to a complete end. My hand releases the blade, then grips it again, and I swing it swiftly, horizontally. This stroke shatters the failing crystal on his chest into pieces. Go well, Captain. Half an hour later, the Bureau's support force arrives at the scene. Under Vera's precise guidance, everyone pushes deep into the abandoned warehouse's storage area and forces the storage room door open. Broken sobbing and cries of shock seep out from the dark room inside. Along with those sounds comes a nauseating smell that makes everyone present clench their brows. Vera covers her nose and stares silently into the depths of the warehouse. When the dim light reaches the hidden room, everyone present goes completely still. They see a group of girls huddled in the corners, pitiful and small. All but one have torn clothing, their bodies marked with wounds of every size. I walk into that room thick with evil, each step heavy. The girls sense someone entering, some tremble with fear. Some press their eyes shut, lips still moving in quiet prayer, and others stare with hollow, vacant eyes, blankly lifting their faces toward me. But one of them recognizes me, and throws herself at me without hesitation. She holds me tight and bursts into tears. Oh, thank God, Lucian, you came. You actually came to save me. I look down at Amber's crying face and find myself with nothing to say. My eyes move slowly over the other girls, some terrified, some hollow, until I speak softly to them all. We're here to bring you out. You're safe now. The moment they hear those words, I can feel. Something rekindles in their eyes. It's the light of hope. Felix arrives at the scene and comes to stand beside me, holding out the locket, which is Zane's last possession. I'm sorry. I say it quietly, partly to Felix, partly to myself. Felix lowers his head with quiet grief. When he went, was he in pain? I think of Zane in that transformed state, body trembling as his will crumbled. I don't know if that counts as pain. I lower my head and answer in a quiet voice. I think, probably, yes. Felix tilts his head back and looks up at the dark sky, letting out a long, slow breath, as if trying to hold back tears. He quickly shifts the subject away from that grim topic. When Captain Zane found me back then, I was in a terrible place too. I lost my dad when I was young, and my mom walked out on me too. To me, he was like a real father. And this mission counts as a success, not a trace of blame in his voice. I murmured to myself, can this really be called a success? We did catch the one responsible. We stopped more girls from being taken. We cleared out a threat the police couldn't handle. In that sense, yes, it is a success. But the wounds these girls carry inside won't heal easily. That shadow will follow them for the rest of their lives. And the two who didn't make it are never coming back. And Captain Zane, he's gone too. Forever. You can't find any peace with it, can you? Felix seems to read my mind. He gives my shoulder a firm pat. Then carry the pain. Remember him forever. Keep him inside you. This is the weight we're meant to bear. Only then can we stay clear-headed at all times and prove that we're different from the creatures we fight. This isn't something we're owed. It's a difficult choice we make willingly. Me, Bree, Vera, the captain too. All of us. How can any of you be so sure the path you chose is absolutely right? As I speak, I hold out the blade and locket toward Felix. Felix sniffs quietly, pulls his jacket tighter around himself, looks at the items, manages a small smile, and in the end takes only the locket, leaving the blade in my hands. Lucian, life doesn't really give you that many choices. He waves and heads toward the car. The moment he opens the door, he turns back and looks at me deeply. Whatever else, you were the one who gave the captain his final send-off. On behalf of everyone, thank you. I say nothing, just bow my head and stare at the blade in my hands, and let out a long breath. When I look up again, I see Amber. She's unharmed, but still clearly shaken. She's looking around, as if searching for someone. I know she's looking for me, but I have no intention of letting her find me. Then I see two familiar middle-aged faces running toward Amber with tears streaming down their faces. Amber collapses into their arms, and they all cry together. I know there's no reason to go to her, so I turn and get back in the car. Bree and Vera are in the back seat. The car is completely silent. Bree's eyes are a little red. When I first met the captain, I thought he was odd. My best friend had been attacked by a creature. I was in serious danger myself, and the captain showed up just in time. He even tried to look cool in front of me, and ended up being chased around the building by the creature. Bree's voice catches as she remembers. He'd only just become a combat member back then, still couldn't fully control his power, but he fought with everything he had to keep me safe. Vera says nothing, but her mind goes back 3 years. She'd been hunted across the city by a mysterious organization, Digging through trash on the streets for food, she'd been spotted by a creature, and the captain had stepped in and saved her. He brought her home looking like a beggar, and made her a full meal, and bought her new clothes. Remembering all of this, Vera feels her nose begin to sting with emotion. To everyone in Squad 7, Zane was never particularly serious on a normal day, but in every moment that truly mattered, he always put himself at the front. To them, he was genuinely as dependable as a father. The car falls back into silence. "All right, mission complete. Everyone worked hard tonight," Felix suddenly shouts, making everyone in the car jump. "What is wrong with you?" Vera complains sharply. "Ha ha ha. I just suddenly thought if the captain were still sitting here, he'd absolutely be the one bellowing that. So stop the crying, the captain would tease us for it." "Felix, are you ready to step into the captain's role? The captain never trusted us to the very end. He went in alone, which basically means he looked down on us. I swear, I'm going to surpass him." Vera snorts. "Surpass him? He was only a Chaos class combatant. That's the height of your ambition?" Maybe it was Felix's outburst, but somehow it pulls everyone back from the edge of grief just for a moment. The loss of the dead always brings pain, but pain cannot follow forever. Not when they carry missions on their shoulders, and duties and honor still waiting to be fulfilled. I turn without a word and look out the car window at the city's glittering lights. Behind all that noise and brightness, there are always people walking into the dark, quietly carrying the weight of what the world doesn't want to see, without complaint, without counting the cost of their lives, because they made their choice long ago, and they carry it as their own fate. But just like Felix said, life doesn't really give you that many choices. Afterward, we return to the bureau to report. When Tess hears the news of Zane's death, her usually gentle expression turns grave. After comforting the rest of Squad 7, she keeps me alone in her office. "I'm sorry, there was a failure in the bureau's intelligence this time." I shake my head. Then I step forward and set the black blade on her desk. This was the captain's blade. Tess looks at it closely, then reaches out and lifts it, running a hand along the cold sheath. "Spirit General, Demon Seal. This is the blade I gave him all those years ago. And it was this blade that saw him off in the end?" "Yes, by my hand." Tess sets the blade down gently and walks to the window. "You don't need to take on any assignments for now. I will bear full responsibility for what happened tonight. Any decisions regarding your future will also be put on hold for now. If you want, I can make sure you disappear from the records entirely. At the very least, I'm willing to believe you won't be a threat to humanity." She stares out at the sprawling underground city beyond the window, the Bureau's home. In a war waged against entities without end, sacrifice is an unavoidable cost. But Tess doesn't want to grow numb to it, because once she does, she'll become what she once was. A creature that destroys everything in pursuit of its own interests without a second thought. "You can go for now. The mission bonus will be deposited tomorrow." I don't move. I just lower my head slightly. Zane's death has hit me hard, but to say it completely changes my decision, that it would drive me to blindly join some organization that will spend my life, that's simply not possible. But right now, truthfully, I don't know what I want. Tess turns and looks at me with a smile, one that carries just a trace of bitterness beneath it. "Don't join us out of sympathy. Lucian, sacrifice may be inevitable, but you should never become numb to it." She seems completely unbothered by Zane's death. I feel a hint of displeasure at that and say, "Strictly speaking, if the Bureau had handled that creature properly back then, none of this would have happened." We hold each other's gaze in silence for a long moment, before Tess tosses the blade to me. "You have one night to think it over. If you change your mind, return the blade tomorrow. If you still choose to join the Bureau, the blade is yours as your service blade." After leaving Bureau, I find Lyra already waiting outside. "Are you hurt?" She scans my body with anxious eyes. I point to my temple helplessly. "I'm not hurt, but Captain Zane died." Lyra's response is completely flat. "Oh, as long as you're okay." This leaves me slightly displeased. But then I think, she's a vampire. She's lived for ages. Maybe human lives feel like brief flickers to her, gone almost before they begin. Maybe you can't understand it, that hollow feeling when someone just disappears. Your life is too long for that. Beside me, Lyra's steps slow. By the time I notice, she stopped completely and is standing behind me. I turn back with a puzzled look. "What's wrong?" Living long doesn't mean I don't understand death or that I'm heartless. Lyra looks at me directly. Her expression is still composed, but I can hear the urgency beneath her words. She's not angry with me, rather she's eager to explain something to me. "I was once taken in by an elderly couple. They treated me as their own, loved me as a real daughter. Even though my origins were unknown, even though I was an other kind, they still gave me food and clothes without asking for anything, and paid for me to go to school." Her voice catches as she says this, barely holding back, and I suddenly remember the first time I saw Lyra. The grief and despair in her eyes. Wasn't that exactly the look of someone who had just lost someone they loved? But I couldn't even keep them alive. I am not a cold, unfeeling creature. I have lived through the real pain of loss, and there are people I can't bear the thought of losing now. Lyra looks up, her eyes brimming with tears she's been holding back. I see it and step forward quickly, pulling her into my arms. I'm sorry, that was all on me." I said something careless and thoughtless, after my clumsy attempts to comfort her. Her emotions settle, but her face stays puffed up with indignation. "Come on, don't be upset, I'll take you to get something sweet tomorrow." I reach up with a smile to ruffle her hair, but she tilts her head away with a haughty little dodge. I sigh inwardly. This little vampire has quite the temper. "That's not why I'm upset." Lyra suddenly announces with a pout. What? Not because of that? Not because of what I said? Then what did I do? Now I'm completely lost. Before I can even figure it out, Lyra turns her face away with a cold huff and mutters with great displeasure. When you held me just now, I could smell it. Another woman's scent on you. Guilt hits me immediately, like being caught red-handed. She obviously means Amber. This little vampire's sense of smell is absurdly sharp, even sharper than a dog's. She picked it up the second I held her. Wasn't she one of the victims? When she was rescued, she was emotionally overwhelmed. So you held her? Well, no, it wasn't me holding her. She threw herself at me. I don't want to hear it. Lyra quickens her pace with barely concealed irritation. I stand there completely stunned. At that perfectly awkward moment, Bree's voice reaches me from ahead. Lucian, why are you just standing there? You really have no idea how a girl's mind works. You mean Lyra? She can't really count as a girl, can she? Bree sighs, pressing a hand to her forehead. Then she gives me a light knock on the head. All right, stop standing there, go after her. Something clicks. I spin around and sprint after Lyra. Right as the elevator doors are about to shut, I thrust my arm in and force my way inside. Lyra shifts aside, polite on the surface, but she's deliberately putting distance between us. I can't hold back anymore. I reach out and grip her by the shoulders, forcing her to turn and face me. What do you want? Lyra asks, her eyes shifting away from mine. So what if she left her scent on me? Just cover it with yours. Before she can respond, I pull her into my arms. She's so small that her feet lift clean off the ground. Let go of me. I can't reach the floor. I hold on tight and don't let go. It's fine. I've got you. Okay. I'm not mad anymore. Put me down. I still don't let go. Instead, I lean close to her ear and murmur, is the scent covered now? All I get back is a soft little huff. But one look at those flushed cheeks, I know the anger has melted right out of her. Tucked inside this tiny elevator, I hold her close, warm and soft against my chest. Honestly, I want to break down and cry. I want to scream until there's nothing left inside me, because even now I can't shake the image of those girls' faces, hollow with despair, or the look in Zane's eyes in his final moments. And that cold, heavy blade is still right there, lying quiet in the long case strapped to my back. The weight of it is suffocating. What it stands for is almost too much to carry. That I'm sorry I said a moment ago. I meant it for Lyra, and maybe it was also for those girls I couldn't save no matter how hard I tried, and maybe most of all it was for Zane. On the walk back I can't stop looking at the smile on Lyra's face. She clasps her hands behind her back and turns around, looking at me curiously. What are you thinking about? Just something I heard once? If I put down the blade, I can't protect you. If I pick it up, I can't hold you. Who said that? So cheesy. Lyra lets out a laugh she can't quite suppress. I have no idea what you're talking about, you big idiot. She skips ahead, and I quicken my pace to keep up. Zane, I have someone I want to protect too. Not many. Just this one. If that's such a selfish reason, can I still hold this blade with a clear conscience? Across town, Tess sets a cup of coffee in front of Felix. Good work out there. Squad 7 hasn't run a field operation in a long time, and yet, not a step missed. The ending wasn't what any of us wanted, but that was Zane's choice to make. Humans are so good at hiding what's inside. Even I thought he'd made peace with it. Felix picks up the cup and takes a small sip. The bitterness doesn't agree with him. He sets it back down. He has never liked socializing with those in power. He'd rather be hunched over a keyboard in a dark room than sitting here making small talk with his leader. You're too kind, Director Tess. He doesn't take the bait on the heavier subject. Tess settles back into her chair with effortless composure, stirring her coffee slowly, and smiles. So, do you accept my proposal? A bitter look crosses Felix's face. I appreciate the thought, Director Tess, but I'm not cut out to be captain. But as for the captain of Squad 7, I do have someone in mind for the job. Let's hear it. Tess's smile doesn't waver. Felix takes a breath, then says the name quietly. Lucian. Tess's expression flickers with surprise. She tilts her head, studying this 18-year-old genius. Don't you want to carry on Zane's legacy yourself? Felix lowers his eyes to the dark coffee in his cup and lets out a quiet, humorless laugh. Maybe the one who can carry that legacy the furthest is Lucian. After all, he was the one who witnessed Zane's final strike. Tess gives a slow, thoughtful nod, her gaze drifting to the captain's commission she'd just set aside, and after a beat she asks, You're sure? If you sign now, I won't take it back. I don't have what it takes, Director, and honestly, isn't this what you wanted too? You wouldn't have handed him the blade otherwise. Tess shakes her head with a wry smile. For all we know, he'll hand it right back to me by morning. He won't. Felix's voice carries a conviction that's rare for him. It might just be the most certain thing he's ever said in his life. I know he won't. Tess doesn't push further. Then it's Lucian's call. The next morning, barely past dawn, Tess has me dragged into the bureau. Didn't expect you to summon me yourself. It's barely 9 in the morning, Director Tess. You just got in and you're already this fired up? Tess curves her lips into a faint smile, her tone almost playful. Of course. Can't waste talent like yours, can I? I've always had a soft spot for the gifted. Honestly, none of this feels real. I don't hold back. I stumbled into a vampire, found out a demon is living inside me, and learned other kinds are everywhere, and there's a whole bureau keeping tabs on them. And then there's Zane, what happened to him last night. Everything that's happened to me, it all feels like one long dream I can't wake up from. Tess listens without interrupting, her eyes quietly urging me to keep going. I'm not some great hero, Director. If it weren't for what's inside me, you wouldn't have looked at me twice. The gem invites the thief. I carry this power, so I become a target, including yours. and I'll be straight with you. If I were strong enough to stand above the bureau entirely, I might have walked away. I've thought about this long and hard. Growing up in an orphanage teaches me to be cautious about everything, but it also taught me something else, how to play it smart, so I won't pretend. I'll join the bureau, but only as a place to learn how to control what's inside me, to get stronger, to see this world for what it really is. Not because of you, not because of Zane, this is my choice, no one else's. The moment the words leave my mouth, I watch her face closely, looking for any crack in that composure. Tess's spoon slows to a stop, her expression stays calm, but somewhere beneath it she has to admit, this boy in front of her is not who she thought he was. She had assumed Zane's sacrifice last night would push Lucian in one of two directions. Either he'd walk away entirely, or he'd be so shaken and moved that he'd throw himself into the bureau, running on grief and raw loyalty alone. If either of those had happened, he would have been just a tool in her eyes, a sharp blade, nothing more. The third possibility she'd considered is that seeing the cruelty of this world would shatter his nerve entirely, leaving him too afraid to set foot near the bureau again, too paralyzed to face the power sleeping inside him. If that had happened, she'd have referred him to counseling, pulled a few strings, and arranged a quiet, protected life for him under the bureau's care. But Lucian chose none of those paths. He chose to learn. In all her years, she has never once heard someone treat the bureau as a school. Everyone who's ever walked through the door had their reasons. Some had been attacked, some had lost everything. Most ordinary humans came carrying a bone-deep hatred for the other kinds that had torn their lives apart. As for the other kinds who joined the bureau, most had simply accepted that this was humanity's era now. They were tired of the endless fighting. Better to find shelter inside the bureau than be hunted outside it. Whether human or other kind, the first thing every new recruit had to swallow, willing or not, was learning to coexist with the other side. It was a long, grinding process. Those who couldn't make it had their memories wiped and were sent back to live ordinary lives. But this boy in front of her is something else entirely. He started as a pure human, yet a demon's soul now sleeps inside him. In other words, he is both at once human and other. He doesn't need to bury a grudge or force himself to fit in anywhere. He was born standing on ground most people will never reach. In the entire history of the Bureau, there has never been anyone like him. And maybe that's exactly why he can walk a path no one else could. Tess looks at me for a long moment, then smiles, genuinely this time. You're something else, you know that? I have no idea what to make of that. You can learn here, earn a paycheck here, fall in love here if you want, and I promise you, Lucian, once you've fully mastered the power inside you, you'll be free to walk out that door whenever you choose. No strings attached. The words stir a quiet doubt in me. There's a Bureau branch here, and surely others across the country, with a headquarters above them all. Can Tess really make that call on her own? But when I look into her eyes, I see something steady and sincere, a promise she means to keep. This woman entered my life because of the power I carry, that much is true. But there's no denying it. After Lyra, she's the kindest person I've met in this world. Tess extends her hand. Looking forward to working with you. I take her hand. The handshake carries trust and sincerity. After a few more words, Tess cuts straight to the point and drops a document on the desk. If you have no objections, then sign it now. I pick it up and take one look, and my hands start shaking before I even finish reading the title. Captain's Commission, Squad 7. Director Tess, are you sure you grabbed the right document? I'm supposed to be signing an employment contract. Relax, you'll get your contract. We're a government body, we don't skip paperwork, but sign this one first. Her tone leaves no room for argument. I'm not signing anything I don't understand. Give me a real explanation, otherwise I'm not putting my name on this. I set the document back on the desk. The entire squad voted for you, is that reason enough? Tess walks to the window and lights a cigarette. I really want to point out that we're underground, standing by a window isn't going to help. But the next second, what she just said stopped me cold. For a moment, last night flashes through my mind, and Zane's final strike. I lower my head slowly. I'm not qualified. Just yesterday I was still unsure whether I even wanted to be here. I'm not the one who should be carrying Zane's mission. Stop waffling. Tess exhales a thin stream of smoke. You witnessed his last stand. You were the one who saw him off. Frankly, I didn't expect that kind of nerve from you. Lucian, no one has more right to this than you do. Of course, if you truly refuse, I won't force you. But Squad 7 may have to be disbanded. I look up confused. Felix, Bree, Vera, any of them could lead the squad. Why does it have to be me? It can only be you. It has to be you. They indeed have more experience, and their bond with Zane ran deeper. But you were the one who walked out holding that blade. If you don't feel worthy of it, then earn it. I understood. The word comes out quiet. I go still, and in the silence I feel the weight of the blade at my back, almost warm, like it's breathing, like Zane's hand on my shoulder, his low voice saying, "Kid, it's yours now." I reach for the document and sign my name, slowly, deliberately. I can't promise I'll be the best, but I'll give everything I have. Tess smiles. As long as you can live with yourself, that's enough. Congratulations, Captain of Squad 7. Come with me, let's get your paperwork sorted. As of today, you're officially part of the Bureau. She then pulls out a separate report. There's something I need you to do. Squad 9 wants to borrow you for a while. I let out a sigh. I'm barely through the door and there's already an assignment waiting. This captain's seat isn't even warm yet. Why me? Doesn't Squad 9 have their own other kind member? They've been having some trouble lately. Their other kind member is emotionally unstable, so they need extra support. Across the whole Bureau, you're the only new member without an active assignment right now. And you're the first captain the Bureau has ever had as an other kind. That alone makes you significant. Just consider this an opportunity to reach out to the other squads. Are we clear? Tess fires all of that off without pausing for breath. My head is spinning, but as a new captain I have to make a move, so I don't argue. Our agreement still stands, right? Of course. Tess smiles, tapping the document lightly. If there's a mission you don't want to take, you can turn it down any time, though your pay will be docked accordingly, you understand? I nod. It's not that I plan to refuse anything, I just needed to know where I stand, to make sure the Bureau's attitude toward me hasn't shifted. In the end, I take the file. As I step out of the office, I catch the looks, people glancing at me with something strange in their eyes. That's the one who killed Zane. Zane had absorbed a forbidden power, violated the Bureau's highest law. He wasn't fully human anymore. The kid just gave him a way out. So Squad 7 belongs to him now? Every whisper is about the same two things, what I did to Zane and what I've just become. I let out a quiet, bitter laugh. This is what it feels like to be dropped in from the top. The next morning, I'm jolted awake by my phone going off. I pick it up, it's Amber's mother. Lucian, it's me, Amber's mom. Morning, is everything okay? I'm still half asleep, still too groggy to remember that I'd saved Amber's life just the night before. Lucian, I'm at the hospital with Amber right now. She went through some tests last night. Oh? Was she hurt? My voice comes out flat, no particular feeling behind it. No, thanks to you. She said you were the one who got her out. She's shaken up, but not seriously hurt. The doctors want to keep her for a couple of days. The police are coming to take her statement too. As long as she's all right. Lucian, I know what happened between you two. The words leave me silent. For a beat, I have no idea how to respond. Amber's parents have always been good to me. Whatever went wrong between her and me, they shouldn't have to be dragged into it. It's okay. You and Uncle are like family to me. What happened between Amber and me won't change that. Lucian, I know I shouldn't stick my nose into this. You're both young, it's your business. But couples fight all the time. Was it really worth throwing everything away over one argument? Something between a laugh and a sigh rises in my chest. I can guess exactly why she's saying this. Amber clearly didn't tell the whole story. She didn't mention that she dropped me the moment a rich guy came along. Calling that an argument is generous. It's fine, we're really done, but it was mutual, no hard feelings. Lucian, her father and I would like to take you out for a meal. I scratch the back of my head and sit up straight, only just noticing that Lyra is asleep right beside me under the covers. Looking at her sleeping face, I can't help but smile. I couldn't let you pay. You've both come all this way. It's only right that we treat you. How about this? Let me go ahead and book somewhere, and I'll call you back as soon as it's set. If there's nothing else. So loud, Lyra mumbles from her sleep, as if my voice on the phone had drifted into her dream uninvited. Lucian, do you have someone over? Amber's mother clearly catches the voice from a girl, so she sounds a little puzzled. Sorry, something just came up. I'll call you back later. I hang up cleanly and give Lyra a poke. What? Lyra opens her eyes, visibly annoyed. I realize with a start she wasn't actually asleep. She'd been listening to my call this whole time. So that little mumble of hers just now, was that her way of making her feelings known? The thought makes me smile. Amber's parents are in town. They've looked after me since I was young. I'm meeting them for dinner tonight. You don't need to report to me. Lyra is still lying draped across me, with zero intention of moving. I smile and ruffle her hair. Then why aren't you getting up? Dinner's not until tonight. Why would I get up now? She clearly doesn't want me to go, but she can't find a real reason to stop me, so she's just keeping me pinned here out of sheer stubbornness. Fine by me. But those two are basically my parents. Are you really going to meet them dressed in clothes that don't fit you? Lyra blinks. She slowly rolls onto her back and looks up at me with those bright eyes. What do you mean? I want you to come with me. What am I supposed to do there? You're my guarantor. So we're kind of a thing now. I can't be away from you for 24 hours. Lyra pushes herself upright and rubs her sleepy eyes. You actually believe Tess's nonsense? I'm not going. That's a shame. I was going to book somewhere fancy, unlimited premium desserts. Hearing my words, Lyra's eyes light up instantly. Of course I know she's a little foodie. From the very first morning I brought her home and she went after those fried dough sticks, I knew exactly what kind of person she was. She clearly hadn't had much of this kind of food before. Later, whenever I brought her desserts, she'd be over the moon. After all, what kind of other kind is this obsessed with sweets? Since you don't want to come, I'll just go by myself. But they don't do takeout. What a pity. Fine, since you put it that way, I suppose I have no choice. I am your guardian after all. Really, you don't have to force yourself. I wave my hand, my tone breezy. It won't be more than 24 hours anyway. I'll be back after dinner. The words barely land before her head snaps up, those round eyes wide. Shut up! I said I'm going, so I'm going. She barely hesitates, her voice sharp, but the corners of her mouth are already curling up on their own. That's just who Lyra is. Her words are always sharp, but her heart is soft as fresh spun cotton candy. Out in the bustling shopping district, Lyra is still wearing my clothes. An oversized black turtleneck that swallows almost half her face. Not much to be done about it, it's not like she has anything else to wear. Apparently her old clothes are still at the home of the couple who took her in. As for why she won't go back for them, there's clearly something she can't bring herself to say, so I don't push. Today's trip has two purposes, dinner, and getting her some proper clothes. Most importantly, she needs proper undergarments. Regular clothes you can make do with, but that's one thing that absolutely cannot be skipped. The moment I think about what, or rather what isn't, underneath that oversized sweater, my face goes hot and my heart does something embarrassing. On top of that, this girl clearly hasn't been shopping much. Everything in every store catches her eye. Oh, sweetie, you're so adorable. Come try this hair clip. Wow, it's perfect on you. It's yours, no charge. You are just pretty. This bubble tea is on me. Come back anytime. Today I witnessed firsthand just how far good looks can get a person. Without spending a single coin, Lyra's hands are already full of freebies. How come they don't give you free stuff? She asks me, genuinely curious. Ha, if she didn't look so genuinely innocent asking that, I'd think she was rubbing it in. Alright, stop wandering, we need to get you some clothes. Look at what you're wearing. You look like you just came in from the countryside. But I actually like this one. She mumbles around a lollipop, her voice dropping to almost nothing. It smells like you, but I don't catch it. I grab her hand and head straight for the clothing store. Idiot. Lyra glares at me, but follows along anyway. To make things easier later, I decide to take her to the lingerie store first, but the moment we reach the entrance, I lose my nerve entirely. This is a women's specialty store. A guy walking in alone would be mortifying. What's wrong? Why aren't you going in? Lyra looks at me puzzled. Give me a second. I need to mentally prepare. My face goes completely red. I've had a girlfriend before, sure, but things never went further than kissing, let alone anything that would have taught me anything about women's undergarments. Hello, can I help you with anything? A staff member notices us at the door and comes out smiling. I nearly jump out of my skin. Every word I'd rehearsed vanishes instantly. I want to buy clothes. He gets upset if I don't wear any. Lyra beats me to it and points straight at me. The staff member stares at me in wide-eyed surprise, and the look she gives me shifts into something deeply suspicious. No, that's not. She's my cousin. Distant cousin. She just moved to the city from the countryside. She's not used to wearing things. Distant cousin? Lyra stares at me, thoroughly displeased. Her grip on my arm tightens. She's always been stronger than she looks. It actually hurts. I grit through the pain and keep going. She just got into university. She can't keep going around like this, right? The staff member manages a smile. Strange as these two are, the girl really is strikingly pretty. How about this? You wait outside, and I'll take her in to have a look. Do you know your size, sweetheart? Lyra glances at me, thinking it over. Probably. I watch the staff member lead her inside, and crouch down outside with a sigh of relief, pulling out my phone. Just as I'm getting into the game, the staff member calls out from behind me. Sir, your sister is insisting you come see. I turn around completely baffled. What am I supposed to look at? As long as she likes it, that's fine. The staff member's expression grows even more uncomfortable. She almost ran out here herself, so you'd better come in. I don't know whether to laugh or cry at this point. Well, there's no escaping this. With no other choice, I steel myself and follow her to the fitting room. This is clearly not a common situation. The other staff members nearby are all blushing. After all, a girl in her lingerie, showing herself to a man who claims to be her cousin, no matter how they look at it. It's weird. With every female staff member's eyes drilling into me, I am squirming like I'm on hot coals, like a criminal caught red-handed, just as my mind is spiraling. The fitting room door slowly swings open. What I see makes me swallow hard. The heat rushes straight to the tips of my ears. After getting my compliment, Lyra visibly relaxes. My opinion clearly matters a great deal to her. The staff member wraps everything up quickly. I knew women's clothing wasn't cheap, but seeing the total still stings. Just as I'm picking up the bags to leave, the staff member gives me a meaningful smile. Sir, if you can afford all this, you really should be feeding your sister more. At her age, she's still growing, you know. Lyra looks like she's just taken a direct hit. She opens her mouth to fire back, but I grab her and pull her out the door before she can. Once we're a good distance away, Lyra asks quietly, do you think I'll still develop? Eventually? How would I know the growth cycle of another kind? I mumble something vague and pull her swiftly into the clothing store. This time I handle myself much better. I walk straight up and point to a soft pink and white dress. I think this one's really pretty. Lyra frowns. Looks like something a little kid would wear. I bite my tongue on what I really want to say. Sure, your actual age is a mystery, but you look exactly like a teenage girl. It would really suit you. Just try it. Do it for me. After enough coaxing, Lyra finally agrees to try it on. A short while later, she steps out in front of me, visibly self-conscious. Does it look good? Her eyes are anxious, watching my face. I freeze. Words fail me completely. It's not just pretty, she's stunning. The whole store seems to hold its breath. Every customer nearby turns to look. The guys who came shopping with their girlfriends are staring with their eyes practically glazed over. One girl kicks her boyfriend in the shin. If you want to stare that badly, go over there. The guy snaps back and launches into a stream of apologies, sweet-talking his girlfriend for all he's worth, but his eyes keep drifting back to Lyra anyway. Well, does it look good or not? Noticing my silence, Lyra's tone gets a bit anxious and impatient. I reach out gently and brush her hair back softly. You look just like a princess. A smile rises at the corner of her mouth at my honest words. Do you like it then? Of course I do. The dress or me? The question hits me completely out of nowhere. I end up scratching my head with a sheepish grin. Both. Lyra puffs out her cheeks slightly, clearly not satisfied with that answer. By the time we're done shopping, it's almost dinner time. I watch Lyra not far away, sitting on a coin ride machine, happily competing with several little kids over who get to ride it, and shake my head with a smile. Just then my phone rings. It's Tess. Director Tess, is there a new assignment? No, we're not a sweatshop. After all, it's the weekend. I'm calling to let you know your commission has been approved. As of right now, you're officially captain of Squad 7. Thank you for your trust, Director, but I'm feeling incredibly pressured right now. I lean against the mall railing, glancing over at Lyra, who is still locked in fierce negotiation with kids over the coin ride machine, and let out a long, heavy sigh. Pressure is a good sign. You sound distracted though, what's on your mind? I normally wouldn't bring personal matters to my boss, but for some reason right now I want to talk. After all, the self-appointed queen of the playground beside me is certainly no help, so I collect my thoughts and say, I'm trying to take some important elders out to dinner, but I can't get a reservation anywhere decent in the city. Is that all? Leave it to me, I'll sort it out. The confidence in her voice gets my hopes up immediately. Right, she's senior bureau leadership. Securing a table at a top restaurant should be a piece of cake for her. Whatever you're imagining right now, stop. I'm a public servant. I don't do extravagance. Don't get me in trouble. Thank you, Director Tess. If possible, I'd like to aim for 7 tonight. There's a brief pause on her end, as if she's checking her schedule. Should be manageable. And with that, she hangs up. Meanwhile, at the city hospital, Amber has just finished her final round of tests. She's the luckiest of the girls. The police moved fast enough that she walked away without any real physical harm. She has no idea how central a role I played, so naturally she doesn't feel much gratitude toward me. But now she's facing a very concrete problem. Her discharge papers are signed, and her parents have packed up her things. But one question from her mother stops her cold. Amber, where are you living these days? She had been living in the villa Roman bought, but that's been reclaimed. She doesn't even have the right to go back for her things. Every bank card she had has been frozen. They were all tied to the Holt Group's assets. As for her own savings, those were spent long ago. She had believed that attaching herself to someone like Roman meant a life of luxury was guaranteed. Now she has barely 2,000 in her account. Enough for a cheap room, but then what? Go back to odd jobs and scraping by? After the luxurious life she's been used to, there's no way she could handle that kind of hardship. Seeing the troubled look on her face, her mother assumes I'm the one to blame, that I threw her out. Lucian, really? Even if things didn't work out between you two? You grew up together. How could he be so heartless? Amber's father clears his throat, cutting off his wife's unfounded accusations. We watched Lucian grow up. Do you really think he's capable of something like that? Amber, are you hiding something from us? What really happened between you and Lucian? Nothing. It's nothing. Dad, we just weren't right for each other. We broke up. It looks like you don't have anywhere to go right now. Here's what we'll do. After dinner tonight, you stay in a hotel. Tomorrow, move back into the dorms. The thought of that cramped 4-person dorm room makes Amber's skin crawl. No, I'm not going back to student housing. Once you've tasted the good life, going back is agony. Even now, Amber hasn't learned. She's still chasing the illusion of wealth, completely blind to where she actually stands. She's still holding on to the fantasy that Roman will have a change of heart and come back for her. You never listen! Fine. We'll help you rent a place near your school. Get yourself settled. Who knows? Maybe you and Lucian still have a chance. At his wife's wishful thinking, Amber's father's expression darkened slightly. Why don't you get it? Whatever happened between those two is not that simple. Dad, Mom, can you please stop pressing me? Things between Lucian and me are complicated. But I can tell he still has feelings for me, otherwise why would he risk himself to save me? If you and Lucian could make it work again, that would be wonderful. Your father and I both adore him. Tonight at dinner, be a little softer, okay? You can't keep pushing people away. Give him something to work with. Don't worry, Mom. He did save my life after all. I'm willing to give him another chance. And you know what Lucian's like? He's always been a bit of a loner, a little odd. He has nothing going for him except his looks. Who else would ever want him if not me? While they're busy making plans, Amber's mother's phone rings. She sees it's me and her face lights up. Hello? Lucian? It's all booked, Aunt. 7 tonight, Silver Moon Residence's 32nd floor. I say the address, but even I feel uneasy. It really doesn't sound like any kind of restaurant. Wonderful, Lucian. You really didn't have to go to all this trouble. Hearing it's not some grand establishment, Amber's mother actually seems relieved. She knows me well enough, stubborn as I've always been. When I first left the orphanage, I barely said a word to anyone. But she's always known that underneath it all, I'm someone who takes loyalty seriously. That I've been silently looking out for Amber, all to repay them for everything they've done for me. If I'd booked somewhere flashy just to put on a show, she'd probably have felt uncomfortable. Amber overhears the address and frowns slightly. Why have dinner in an apartment? Did Lucian move? Silver Moon Residences. That doesn't sound like anything upscale. All right, Lucian, we'll bring Amber and be at that restaurant of yours at 7 sharp. Hearing that Amber is coming too, I want to say no outright, but for the sake of her parents, I swallow it. My voice comes out cooler than I intend. Okay. The atmosphere on the other end goes quiet. Amber notices the chill in my voice and keeps her head down, saying nothing. She knows she's the one in the wrong. She's half tempted to use the awkward silence as an excuse to back out, but then Lyra's voice drifts through the phone. This is so good. Open up, I'll feed you. Wait, I'm on the phone. Open your mouth. Amber recognizes that voice immediately. A flash of irritation flares up inside her without warning. That uncomfortable feeling surges through her. The words, I'm not going, get stuck right in her throat. After the call ends, Amber's father looks at his daughter with a searching expression. Amber, that girl's voice in the background, do you know who she is? Amber lets out a cold little scoff, biting her lip, and says nothing. Amber's father understands immediately. He lets out a sigh and doesn't press further. At precisely 6 in the evening, I arrive at Silver Moon Residences with Lyra. From the outside, it's nothing special, just an ordinary residential building in the middle of the city. Tess's message said the 32nd floor. But standing at the base of the building, I can't spot a single sign or advertisement of the restaurant. Then again, I've read online that the best hidden private kitchen restaurants, tucked away in the corners of the city, are where true food lovers go. That thought only makes me more curious. I walk to the elevator bay and press the up button. While I wait, my mind starts wandering. What kind of private kitchen restaurant could this be? A tastefully decorated private dining room? Or a humble hole in the wall where the chef is a retired culinary legend hiding in plain sight? Either one is enough to make the imagination run wild. Just as I'm lost in my mind, Lyra is already standing at a different elevator, waving at me and calling out, "This one's faster! Come on!" I walk over to pull her back, but she grabs me first and drags me over to her elevator. She points to a notice on the wall. That one doesn't even go to the 32nd floor. I go look for myself, skeptical, and sure enough, there's a small note beside the buttons. This elevator stops at odd-numbered floors only. I turn to her and give her a thumbs up. "That's pretty clever of you." As the elevator doors slide shut, Lyra answers in a flat tone. "What's so surprising about that? I used to come here all the time." I turn to her, surprised. That sounds strange at first, but then it makes perfect sense. Lyra was brought in by Tess. Tess was her guarantor. Of course she'd have brought Lyra here for a meal before. "So how's the food?" Lyra thinks about it for a moment. "Her cooking is decent enough." "Her? Who's her?" "Tess, obviously. You didn't know?" My head starts buzzing. What is happening right now? This private kitchen restaurant is something Tess runs on the side? She's a public servant. How is she openly running a side business? She runs her own restaurant and cooks herself? She's always run off her feet. When does she even find time to develop cooking skills? What restaurant? This is just her home. I go completely blank. My brain just stops working. It takes a long moment before it reboots. A few minutes later, I'm standing stiff as a board in front of the door, finger hovering over the doorbell, unable to press it. Was Lyra messing with me? She had to be messing with me. This has to be just a regular private kitchen restaurant. Tess has 1,000 things on her plate. She's my direct superior. There's no way she'd personally cook dinner for me. Seeing me hesitate to ring the doorbell, Lyra reaches up on her tiptoes and presses the bell for me. The door clicks open. I brace myself for Tess's composed expression. I've always wondered what she looks like at home. She's always in that black uniform. Thinking about it now, I realize I'm actually a little curious. "Welcome home, honored guests," but it's not Tess at the door. It's Bree, who should be back at base. Even more baffling, she's in a full maid uniform, looking every bit like an anime character come to life. I slam the security door shut before my brain can even fully process what I've seen, and spin around to face Lyra. "This is what you called Tess's place?" Lyra also goes oddly quiet. She seems to be questioning her own memory. The door is pulled open again from the inside almost immediately. "Why'd you close the door, Lucien? Was my greeting not good enough?" Facing Bree again, I manage to pull myself together, barely. I place both hands firmly on her shoulders and look at her with complete seriousness. "Tell me the truth, is this some kind of special operation?" Bree meets my eyes and nods firmly. "Yes, Lucien, there is indeed a very critical mission, and that mission is..." Before she can finish, a familiar voice drifts out from the kitchen. It's Tess. Hearing her voice settles my nerves a little. Bree in that maid uniform had genuinely shaken me, but when Tess actually walks out of the kitchen, I completely fall apart. She is also wearing a maid dress, paired with black suspender stockings. There are lace cat ears on her head. Is this really the director I know? But that same calm, unbothered smile on her face tells me, yes, it absolutely is. "Director Tess, are you, is this some kind of..." The last word gets stuck in my throat. I can't bring myself to say it to her face. If I did, she'd throw me off the 32nd floor without blinking. "I don't really understand what you young people are into, but according to Felix's script, this is what's required to make you feel truly at home." Tess glances down at her outfit and turns her arm slightly, as if examining herself for the first time. "Director, I just wanted a simple dinner. I know they mean well, and I can't exactly turn them down outright, but the people coming tonight are basically my family. How am I supposed to explain any of this?" Bree and Tess put their heads together, whispering about what to do next. That's when I notice Felix has appeared too, pink apron tied around his waist, a sharp kitchen knife in hand, apparently serving as Tess's sous chef. "Captain, there's nothing wrong with your taste, right? This is the ultimate fantasy for any guy. I personally love it. That's not the point. This is completely inappropriate. Come on, you're way too uptight. If anything, I think the skirt should be even shorter." Before Felix can finish, Bree delivers a precise chop to the back of his neck, and he drops on the spot. Felix is hopeless. "Director Tess, shall we go with my backup plan?" Bree drags Felix along like a rag doll, then looks at Tess with eager eyes. Tess thinks for a moment and finally gives a nod. Watching these unreliable people, an ominous feeling begins to stir inside me. 10 minutes later, Tess and Bree have finally changed out of the maid uniforms into something normal. Bree is in a white turtleneck, clean and warm-looking, with a black pleated skirt. Tess opts for a relaxed, casual outfit. Where Bree looks bright and youthful, Tess carries herself with the quiet grace of a grown woman. "All right, enough commentary. Everyone has eyes." I cut Felix off. He'd somehow regained consciousness and was already critiquing both outfits. Since coming round, Felix has been visibly deflated, crushed that his carefully written script had been so completely rejected. "You really won't reconsider my plan?" Felix tries again, eyes still glimmering with hope. He's clearly still picturing it. Two stunning women in maid uniforms calling me master in front of my family, serving tea with perfect grace. The scene would be something else. Lyra turns and gives him a look cold enough to cut glass. Felix physically feels the killing intent and shuts his mouth immediately. But a moment later, he drifts back toward my ear. Actually, I also got a set in a smaller size, very fitting for, let's say, a less developed figure. Why don't you take it home tonight, and one day you could— He doesn't get to finish. Lyra, face blazing red, slaps him clean across the face. Felix goes down for the second time without any resistance. Lyra's cheeks are still flushed, and she turns to me. Do you actually like that kind of thing? I scratch the back of my neck awkwardly. I mean, most guys probably would— My voice trails off in a helpless laugh. I genuinely don't know how to answer that. Tess and Bree disappear back into the kitchen. Lyra curls up on the sofa with a can of soda, watching cartoons, completely uninterested in anything Felix and I are doing. Look, Felix, I really just wanted a simple dinner. Captain, I get it, but the moment you mentioned it to the director, there was no turning back. Because you probably don't know. Tess is a compulsive host. What? Tess has a thing like that? She didn't, not originally, but about a year ago she signed up for a training course, specifically on how to be a better leader. She came back from it and started inviting people over for dinner non-stop. I stare at him blankly. So we're all just lab rats in her leadership experiment tonight? Don't stress too much. Felix's mouth curves slightly. Tess's cooking is genuinely something else. The warm aromas drifting from the kitchen ease my anxiety just a little. I cook quite a bit myself, so just from this amazing smell, I can already tell whatever's cooking in there is going to be good. Even if the whole setup is awkward and unexpected, at least the food is something to look forward to. But I'm not fully relaxed. Bree mentioned a backup plan, and I still don't know what that means. Bree seems reliable most of the time, but who knows what she's still got up her sleeve. So stop thinking about running. You walk through that door, this dinner is happening. Felix pats my shoulder. Time passes. Before long, it's 7 o'clock sharp, and Tess and Bree have laid out a full spread across the dining table. Felix had been planning to stay for dinner too, but he gets an urgent call out of nowhere. Someone is launching a malicious attack on his firewall. He grabs his laptop in a fury and storms out. Just minutes after he leaves, Amber's mother calls. Lucian, we're on the 32nd floor. Which unit are you in? Just a moment, I'll come out and get you. I cover the receiver and call toward the kitchen. Director Tess, my family's here. Then what are you standing there for? Go open the door. Tess carries out the last dish and wipes her hands on her apron, waving me off. I push open the security door. Winter nights fall fast, it's barely past 7, but the sky outside is already pitch black. The motion sensor lights flicker on in the hallway. I look toward the far end of the corridor, and catch sight of those familiar figures. Amber's parents are standing near the elevator, talking quietly between themselves. And beside them stands Amber, someone who feels both familiar and complicated to look at. My brow furrows without thinking. She used to be everything I hoped for. Now, looking at her just makes me tired. Over here, uncle, aunt. I wave both arms, and the warm yellow light makes the gesture feel genuinely welcoming. I wave them over and lead all three inside. The moment they step in and take in the simple, cozy space, all three of them stop at once. The air carries a faint trace of perfume mixed with the irresistible smell of food. Nothing at all like what they'd imagined a private kitchen restaurant to feel like. Every detail around them says home, warm, and lived in. Just as the confusion is settling in, the dining table catches every eye at once, dish after dish, plated beautifully, colors vivid and inviting. Each one looks like something out of a restaurant spread. That's the only thing that convinces them this might actually be a private kitchen restaurant after all. Honestly, the moment the first hot dish came out, Lyra locked her eyes onto that table, and has been giving Tess the most desperate look ever since. Every time, Tess has mercilessly intercepted that little hand before it can make a move. Now that she sees me walk in with guests, her eyes instantly light up with delight. Time to eat, we can finally eat. Everyone, all the dishes are on the table now, please take a seat. Tess steps forward to greet Amber's parents with a warm smile. That effortless composure she carries, combined with a beauty that's impossible to overlook, leaves them both a little flustered. She doesn't look like anyone who runs a private kitchen restaurant. She looks like the daughter of some old money dynasty. Lucian, did you pick this place yourself? It feels so homey, you really went out of your way. Amber's father senses something is off, but he's not the type to dwell on it. He laughs and claps me on the shoulder. Little does he know I'm 10 times more awkward than he is right now. As for Amber, trailing in behind them, discomfort is written all over her. There are 4 girls in this room right now, Lyra, Tess, Bree, and herself. She's been the campus beauty her whole life, the girl everyone fawned over. But standing beside these 3, everything she's ever been proud of suddenly feels like nothing. She's the plainest one in the room, and when her eyes land on Lyra, the feeling tips into something worse, a creeping sense of inadequacy she can't shake. Lyra is gripping her chopsticks so hard they could snap. Like a warrior braced on the edge of battle, every nerve wound tight with anticipation. Her eyes shift to me, those clear eyes making absolutely no attempt to hide her desperation for food. She urges me on in a voice so small it's almost a whisper. Let's eat. Can we eat? Just a little longer. Be good. I grab a cold soda from the fridge and press it into her hands, giving her head a quick, soothing pat. Once Lyra's restless energy is settled, I turn to Amber's parents and say respectfully, please sit over here. I gesture to the best seats at the head of the table. Only now do they turn their attention to Lyra. Amber's mother is sharp. She places Lyra's voice immediately, the girl from the phone call, and now that she sees the girl in person, she has to admit, even her daughter, the one she's always been so proud of, fades next to this girl. But what puzzles them more is why does this pretty girl act so naturally close to me? Once everyone is seated, Tess and Bree take their seats too. This only deepens the confusion on Amber's parents' faces. They'd assumed Tess and Bree were the chef and waitstaff, meant to stay in the kitchen. But not only are they not leaving, they're sitting down like they own the place. In the middle of all that confusion, Amber's father smiles and breaks the silence. Lucien, are these two friends of yours? Just as I'm scrambling for an explanation, Bree cuts in with a bright, sweet smile. Hello, I'm Bree, Lucien's senior from the same department at university. He's helped me out so many times. When I heard you were coming, I wanted to be here too. I hope that's all right. Every word Bree says is poised and clear, her whole manner radiating quiet, well-bred grace. Amber's parents look visibly charmed. Of course not. If you're Lucien's senior, you must be Amber's too, right? Amber's mother turns to her daughter with a smile, trying to draw her into the conversation as well. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't actually know your daughter. The moment Amber's name comes up, Bree's warm smile freezes. The shift in her tone is impossible to miss. Amber doesn't know Bree either. She's always chosen her friends strategically, girls who look a little worse than her, to make herself stand out. Someone like Bree would never have made that list. After all, standing next to Bree, she would be the one doing the fading. Hello, I'm Lucien's homeroom professor at university. Tess steps in before the awkwardness can spread. She's holding a hand drip, coffee, legs crossed, stirring it slowly with a small spoon. That signature smile still on her face, but her aura keeps the world at arm's length. Professor? Amber's father's jaw nearly drops. He fixes me with a look that's half disbelief, half reproach. Lucien, you brought us to your professor's home and let her cook for us? Inside, I am screaming. This is Bree's so-called backup plan? Well, at least it's better than the maid uniforms. Please don't blame him. Tess smiles and steps in to save me. Lucien is one of the most outstanding students I've taught in years. I think very highly of him, and I've been wanting to meet the family who raised him, to see what kind of people could shape someone like that. So today I took the liberty of joining you. If it's at all presumptuous, I do hope you'll forgive me. That's a career official for her, every word airtight, delivered without a crack. Amber's parents are completely won over on the spot. Amber, however, sees straight through it. She doesn't buy a single word. If a professor this stunning existed at their university as the campus gossip queen, she would absolutely know about it. Moreover, their actual homeroom professor is a middle-aged man with a receding hairline. This woman is so far from that description it's almost insulting, okay? Finally, both of Amber's parents turn their eyes to Lyra. She's been Amber's mother's main focus since the moment they walked in, because the way I interact with her is far too comfortable, too natural, the kind of ease that can't be faked, like the too deep in the honeymoon phase. This is Lyra. I catch their curious looks and speak first. Lyra's situation isn't easy to explain away. Amber has seen her living at my place with her own eyes, so I decide to take control of the moment. I reach over and place my hand over Lyra's, just as she's about to go for the food. The sudden contact makes her visibly startle, the unexpected touch freezing her in place. She turns her head slightly and glances at me from the corner of her eye, something shy and uncertain in her expression. Aunt, uncle, I begin, my voice soft but leaving no room for argument. If you'll allow me on this rare occasion to formally introduce you to someone. I take Lyra's hand and rise to my feet. Her eyes, however, remain stubbornly fixed on the food. This is my girlfriend, Lyra. The moment the words land, every face in the room shifts differently. Tess rests her chin in one hand, watching with a quiet, amused smile. Bree dramatically claps both hands over her mouth. Amber's parents exchange a stunned look, clearly not expecting me to be so direct. As for Amber, her hands tighten around her chopsticks, and everything she's been holding back, the jealousy, the fury, finally breaks. She lets out a sharp, cold laugh. Lucien, don't you have anything to say to me? I glance at her barely, like an afterthought. Finally grasping the intent behind her words, I give her the same cold smile right back. Don't mention it. Now it's Amber's turn to be speechless. She'd imagined I might play it cool or pretend she wasn't there, but this response never crossed her mind. Before she can push further, I cut her off. Shouldn't you be the one with something to say? After all, I did just save your life. A thank you would be appropriate, but I've already said don't mention it, so let's leave it there. I don't give her another second of my attention. I turn straight to her parents with a warm smile. Lyra is also a student at our university. We're living together. Oh, how long have you two known each other? Amber's mother fumbles for something to say, clearly not ready to accept this. She hadn't truly believed that things between her daughter and me were really over. But if she's being honest with herself, this girl, Lyra, outshines her daughter in every way she can see. Looks alone, any reasonable man would choose Lyra without hesitation. Perhaps it's because of how coldly I shut Amber down just now. It was practically a public announcement that she mean nothing to me. Amber's father feels like he's lost all face too. Thankfully, Bree has a gift for smoothing things over. She stands up and urges everyone to start eating, and produces a bottle of something special from the back, filling Amber's father's glass to the brim. The mood at the table eases, just a little. Amber is clearly still seething. Lyra, on the other hand, couldn't care less about her. Every bit of her focus is on the food. She eats with pure, uninhibited joy, one bite after another. Lucien, seeing you doing so well, I'm genuinely happy for you, from the bottom of my heart. After a few rounds of drinks, the conversation finally opens up. Amber's father raises his glass and claps me firmly on the shoulder, eyes glistening with something genuinely moved. You've made real friends. You've opened up. I am so proud of the person you've become. I almost never drink, but tonight I make an exception and match him, glass for glass. I shake my head modestly at the praise. None of it would have happened without you. Without what you both did for me back then, I never would have gotten out of that hell. Amber keeps opening her mouth and closing it again. Watching this warm, easy scene in front of her, With the alcohol pushing her past her limit, she can't hold it in any longer. She stands up abruptly and points straight at me. Lucian, what exactly is going on between you two? Don't think you can fool me. There's no way you two are actually together. The mood that had finally settled shatters all over again. The person she's pointing at, of course, is Lyra, who is still eating with complete focus. Amber, what has gotten into you? Her mother yanks at her sleeve. Does she not understand not to bite the hand that feeds you? How dare she cause a scene in someone else's home? Mom, you don't know the truth. This woman is not what she seems. What are you talking about? She is Lucian's girlfriend. How can you be so rude? Amber's father flares up too, pushing to his feet with the force of a man who's had a few drinks and run out of patience, glaring at his own daughter. Bree and Tess exchange a quiet glance. They saw this coming. You have to believe me. Her name is Lyra, right? She's notorious on campus. I don't say a word. I just watch. Amber keeps going. Lucian, I warned you before. I told you to have some self-respect. Maybe you've climbed a little higher lately, gotten a little taste of something. That's exactly why you need to stay away from someone like her. She's only after your money. She's nothing but a vampire. Lyra's chopsticks slip from her fingers and clatter onto the floor. She turns slowly, staring at Amber in disbelief. How did you find out? Your little reputation is spread all over campus. Tell me, how much of Lucian's blood have you taken? I haven't. It's not that much. Maybe around 200 milliliters a day. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. These two are having completely different conversations. Amber's parents are totally lost. They have no clue what's happening right now. But the way Amber is carrying on so confidently makes it clear she knows something about Lyra, or thinks she does. Amber, stop making a scene. Amber's father's face turns ashen with anger. The whole school knows she's actually involved in something disgraceful. Amber's mother's eyes go wide with shock, her gaze snapping instinctively to Lyra. As for Lyra, she's still reeling from the fear of being exposed as a vampire by a completely ordinary human, head down, both hands clutching her skirt. To everyone watching, that look of distress reads perfectly as the shame of someone caught red-handed. I look across the table at the three of them, my expression calm and cool. My voice is steady as I throw the question back at them. Does she look like that kind of person to you? Hand on your heart, does she honestly look like what your daughter is describing? You never really know what someone's hiding. Lucian, I'm saying this for your own good. Don't let someone like her twist you around her finger. Wow, this recording is really getting hard to listen to. Bree cuts in out of nowhere. Somehow she's already got her phone out, a recording playing. Let me play you something interesting. This one will really open your eyes. Bree turns the volume all the way up. A woman's voice comes through the recording, loud and clear. It is obviously Amber, fawning over someone with every shameless word she has. The color drains from Amber's face the instant it plays. She knows this recording way too well. Every word in it came from her own mouth, and the man's voice responding to her, that's Roman, the one who threw her away. How did you have that? What are you doing? Amber shrieks at Bree, nearly unhinged. Bree gives a casual shrug, and turns the volume down just slightly, still smiling. Sorry, I just received this and honestly the content is so compelling. How to put it, this woman sounds exactly like what Miss Amber was just describing. Absolutely shameless. Oh my, Miss Amber, why does the woman in this recording sound so much like you? Would you like to keep listening? Amber goes limp. How did she forget her own mess? She was the one who broke faith first. She sold herself for money. She was the one who tore apart every promise that had ever been made. And yet she stood there 5 minutes ago and threw all of that filth onto someone else. The shift comes so fast that Amber's parents can't catch up. How did things go from a dinner to this? But what came through Bree's phone keeps playing in their heads, impossible to unhear. Amber's father is a man who's seen enough of the world to piece it together instantly. He's not pleased with how Bree handled it, but he pushes the anger down and turns a sharp gaze on his daughter. Amber, what have you been doing behind our backs? Amber's mother has gone completely white. Her hands are shaking as she grabs her daughter's arm. Did you really do something unforgivable to Lucian? Amber can't get a single word out. She stands there with burning cheeks, jaw tight, saying nothing. What did you do? Amber's father slams his hand on the table. The impact sends his glass tipping off the edge. Bree exchanges a look with Tess and puts her phone away without hurry. Amber's parents seem like reasonable people. They have no need to add anything more. Mom, Dad, I just wanted a better life. I wanted to break into a world I wasn't born into. You gave me good looks. I just used what I had to make things easier for myself. Is that really so unforgivable? As she says it, her eyes stay fixed on the floor, shame bleeding through every word whether she wants it to or not. None of the defiant swagger she had back in that rented room. It is not wrong to pursue a better life. Working toward your goals, we respect that. But could you perhaps refrain from spreading vicious lies about people who have done nothing to you? Tess still has that composed smile, chin resting in her hands, eyes on Amber. Every accusation you just made against Lyra, not a single piece of evidence has ever been produced, and yet you stated them with such absolute certainty, whereas your own conduct, that has left very real evidence behind. Amber's defenses collapse entirely. Had someone actually documented what happened between her and Roman? She looks up at me with something close to desperation and begging, but I'm cold as ice. I warned you once, it is true that the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward, but the bigger the risk, the easier it is to go under. You got lucky this time. Roman went down before he could take you with him. Otherwise you wouldn't be standing here at all. My words leave Amber with nothing to say, but deep down she still can't accept it. She can't believe she's losing to a girl with no traceable past, and after all the years we had together, she cannot stand to see someone else standing where she used to be. Lucian, please don't be so hard. What Amber did was wrong. Her father and I know that. We're ashamed. But you two have so much history together. Amber's mother tries one more time, but Amber's father has already read my face. He knows. He cuts off her wishful thinking and looks at me gravely. Lucian, let me ask you one last thing. You and Miss Lyra, have you truly decided to be together? Or is this just to make Amber feel it? My heart is steady, and I have never been more certain of anything. I take Lyra's hand again and draw her close, my arm around her trembling shoulders. There are only 2 keys to my home. She has the other one. Amber's father lifts his glass and drains what's left. Good man, Lucian. Our family wronged you. We owe you a debt, and we'll find a way to make it right. Amber stares at me with hollow eyes. She can't understand it. How could I give her up so completely? I promised once that I would protect her for the rest of her life. So why is someone else in my arms now? In the warped world she lives in, I have become the villain, the one who broke his word. You'll regret this! Amber spits the words through clenched teeth, grabs her bag and storms out of the apartment without looking back. Amber! Amber! Her mother scrambles after her. The rest of us are left looking at each other in the wake of it all. Amber's father breaks the silence with a heavy sigh. We spoiled her. That's on us. Lucian, can you tell me what really happened? All of it. Meanwhile, Amber hasn't gone far. Every few steps she glances back, still holding on to the fantasy that I might soften and come after her. When she sees it's only her mother, a deep disappointment crosses her face. Amber, why did you just run out like that? Can't we sit down and talk this through? Mom, I was wrong. I know that now. I really do. But I don't know what to do anymore. I'm so lost. Amber cries until her whole body shakes. She seems to have finally understood a brutal truth, that I am gone from her world completely, and she's the one who cut this bond, with her own hands. Amber's mother cuts through her tears. Amber, don't go near Lucian's life again. She has always given her daughter everything she asked for. At this moment, her hand still moves gently through Amber's hair, but her voice has never been harder. You were the one who did wrong first. Amber, when you make a mistake, you carry the consequence. She lets out a long, grieving sigh and looks at her daughter with sad, tired eyes. In this lifetime, you will never find another person who loved you the way Lucian did. The dinner that started with such hope ends in pieces. After Amber leaves and her mother goes to find her, I stay and talk with her father for a while. Of course, I keep my mouth shut about the secrets of the Bureau and the demon inside me. After I see him into a cab, I turn back to Tess and Bree, who are standing outside letting the cold air hit them. Director Tess, Bree, what exactly was tonight? I pulled your personal file beforehand and saw you had a particularly troublesome ex. I figured she'd show up with her parents tonight, so we decided to take the opportunity to deal with it. Honestly, I can't find a single flaw in that reasoning, but using that recording to publicly humiliate Amber's parents, that's not something I could ever bring myself to do. Bree, on the other hand, had no such hesitation. If Amber had pushed any further, I believe that Bree would have cast that recording straight to the TV and let everyone enjoy the full show. Either way, Director Tess, Bree, thank you. Tonight was a lot. Don't be so formal. I'm a good leader, that's all. Just remember to give me high marks on the annual performance review. I stare at her in surprise. The Arcane Oversight Bureau actually does annual performance reviews, but the look on her face is completely serious. It doesn't seem like she's joking. You have my word. 5 stars across the board plus a 10,000-word written commendation. By now, Lyra has eaten herself into a daze. She's been leaning against me with all her weight, her fair cheeks flushed with a strange, unnatural warmth. I just bend down and hoist her onto my back. You've both worked hard tonight. I'll carry her outside for some air. After saying goodbye to Tess and Bree, I carry Lyra home on my back at a slow, easy pace. Back home, Lyra sprawls across the bed, arms and legs everywhere, staring up at the ceiling, murmuring to herself, I really don't understand. What don't you understand? I toss back casually, tidying up the room. Why humans put so much thought into food? I think of how feral she looks every time she takes my blood, and sigh. Vampires in movies always drink from goblets. That's a kind of ritual, isn't it? Movies make it up. Doing it that way kills the vitality of the blood, only when it comes straight from the veins still rushing. Mid-sentence, Lyra snaps upright. Her gaze locks onto my back like a starving wolf that's just spotted prey. All right, you're the foodie. The most natural is the most premium. But could you spare a thought for the victim? Nobody wants to be left covered in blood. Why'd you go quiet? Did you fall asleep? When I don't hear anything behind me for a bit, I turn around to check on her, and come face to face with Lyra, close enough that I could count her eyelashes. What are you doing? I startle so hard I drop straight to the floor. Even the most breathtaking face in the world will scare you half to death if it appears from nowhere at that distance. But what really sends a chill down my spine is the wild, burning look in her eyes. What's wrong with you? I'm so hot. Lyra's voice comes out thick and strange. She lunges forward and sinks her teeth into my neck without a word of warning. This time it's a different kind of pain, sharp and deep, nothing like that tingly, numbing feeling from before. Wait, Lyra, you already fed today. You can't be this greedy. Something is wrong. It's not just feeding. It feels like she's pulling at something deeper, like she's tearing at my soul. I can feel the power draining out of me through my blood, fast and overwhelming, like the vampire attack before, but worse. Lyra is scarier than any of them. I try to force the demon power awake. My pupils shift to pale gold, but before I can get my defensive domain up, in a single instant, Lyra slams me down onto the wooden floor with one hand, pinning me there. A pair of black wings tears open behind her, and her eyes have gone a deep burning red, all madness and hunger. I don't know what's triggered this, but I'm starting to think this might be where it ends for me. At that exact moment, the closed window slides open, no sound, no warning. A white blur bursts through and crashes into Lyra with blinding speed, sending her flying off me. I scramble upright the moment she's off, throwing everything I have into channeling the demon power to close the wound. In that brief window, I get a clear look at what came through the window. An enormous snow-white wolf. It has Lyra pinned to the floor, and surprisingly she isn't fighting back, she's just gasping, face deeply flushed. She twists her head and looks at me with those same burning, desperate eyes. Then, right in front of me, the wolf begins to shrink. It shifts, reshapes, and becomes a tall girl. The same one who pulled me out of that vampire situation not long ago. I remember her name, Yara. Sorry to intrude, she turns and smiles at me. It's a smile that carries the cold of the far north, and the depth of a night sky full of stars. But those eyes, glowing with a quiet, icy light, are a constant reminder, do not underestimate her. What is going on? I ignore the wound and get to Lyra's side. She nearly tore me apart just now, but I know something else is at play here. Yara doesn't rush to answer. She crouches in front of Lyra with unhurried grace, reaches out with slender fingers and gently wipes the blood from the corner of Lyra's mouth, then brings it to her own lips and tastes it. I see. She seems to have found something really interesting, and her smile grows even wider. She rises and turns to face me. There's no denying that she and Lyra are total opposites. If Lyra is dark gothic elegance, then this girl is a lone wolf walking through a blizzard at the edge of the world, wild and magnetic in a way that's hard to look away from. Would you mind getting my clothes? Yara smiles and points at the jacket lying by the window. Once she settled a weakened Lyra onto the bed. I can't hold the question back any longer. What happened to her? I've never seen Lyra look like that before, those eyes, fixed on me, full of something frantic and uncontrolled. It was like watching her lose herself entirely. Yara reaches into her pocket and pulls out a small cloth pouch, glancing at me as she does. Did you give her a drink with anything unusual in it? Something with gooseberry or clove? Gooseberry? The word means nothing to me. In this region, you might know it as Cape gooseberry or ground cherry. I don't remember her drinking anything like that. Wait, at the department store today, she did take a drink from one of the sales staff. Strange color, really sour smell. I thought it smelled like fermented pickled beans gone bad. That confirms it. Help me open her mouth. As she speaks, Yara draws a small ceramic vial filled with white powder from the cloth pouch. There we go. Stay still. Just open up slowly. Yara settles on the edge of the bed, pushes the loose strands of hair back from her face, and speaks to Lyra in a calm, steady voice, the way a gentle doctor would. I hold Lyra's head as still as I can, gently squeezing her cheeks to coax her mouth open. Right then, the black wings on her back stir again, but not violently. Yara tips the entire vial in. Suddenly, thought cuts through my head. Yara is a dangerous other kind, and one outside the Bureau's jurisdiction. How did I just stand here and let her feed Lyra something unidentified without question? Yara seems to read my mind. Relax. I'm here on behalf of the Northern Bureau. Once Lyra has swallowed all of it, Yara murmurs an old language, low and rhythmic. Slowly, the heaving of Lyra's chest begins to settle. Her breathing evens out. She comes back to her normal human form. I crouch beside the bed, watching her with worry. How do you feel? I lost control. I'm sorry. I almost hurt you. You're okay. That's what matters. Don't take food or drinks from strangers anymore. Yara tucks the pouch away and stands, turning to explain. An extract of gooseberry combined with clove is an extremely powerful catalyst for vampires. Any vampire with normal instincts would recoil from the scent. They would never willingly touch it. She glances down at Lyra on the bed with an expression that doesn't try to hide anything. A flicker of open contempt flashing in her eyes. Of course, a sheltered vampire princess, kept comfortable in her greenhouse. She's probably lost even the most basic survival instincts. What are you actually here for? Lyra pushes herself up with my help, voice sharp as she stares at Yara. Counting tonight, I've saved your boyfriend twice. Can't you manage a thank you? Yara drifts to the doorway and leans against the wall, arms crossed, like she's waiting for something. I step in before things escalate. Thank you, for last time, and for tonight. Don't mention it. I wasn't trying to save you, it was just convenient. Just sold a favor to the Arcane Oversight Bureau. I've come a long way, and there are things I need the Bureau's help with. I made it clear last time, if you have requests, take them to the Bureau directly. Looks like Lyra and Yara have some deep history. I can see it clearly. But this isn't the moment to step between them. I stay where I am and watch. Then I'll handle things my own way. And one more thing. Yara doesn't seem interested in dragging this out. She turns and walks toward the open window, and at the last moment glances back at me with a look that carries more meaning than the words. I've become very interested in you, Lucian. Just as I'm wondering why she suddenly addresses me that way, Lyra lunges off the bed. Get out, you insufferable wolf! Before she can reach her, Yara leans back through the window and disappears into the dark. More than half an hour later, Lyra finally settles, and at last she tells me about Yara. She's other kind, like me, and she's a catastrophe-class threat. I can't believe two legendary figures hiding in plain sight ended up in the same city at the same time. I'd meant it to lighten the mood, but Lyra stares at me blankly. She clearly didn't understand. I awkwardly steer the conversation back. So why is she here? She's looking for her brother. They've been separated for years. She is a descendant of Fenrir from the myths of the Northern Realm, and she has a brother named Skull. In the old legends, Skull chases the sun, and she chases the moon. The ancient texts say that when the two of them devour the sun and moon, this world will be brought to its final Ragnarok. I've heard of this mythology before, but only ever from novels and games. And it's one of the Bureau's deepest headaches. Those ancient otherkind who exist straight out of myth, carrying real divine power. Beings from mythology actually exist. Every time I think about it, it feels like I'm dreaming. I can't help but say it out loud. But then I remember I have Baal sealed inside me, and somehow that makes it easier to accept. So what's the bad blood between you two? Years ago, when I was traveling through the Northern Realm, she mistook me for the embodiment of the moon, and tried to devour me whole. So we fought. Lyra clearly doesn't want to say more on the subject. That woman is extremely dangerous. Don't ever let her looks fool you. She repeats it again and again. Like a record, it seems that she's genuinely frightened of me getting tangled up with Yara. I agree every time she says it. Internally, I'm thinking something else entirely. If I repeated what Yara said about her, would Lyra go charging out into the night to pick a fight? For the sake of the Bureau, staff getting some sleep, and for the sake of Tess's dark circles, I decide to take that secret to my grave. I am, after all, a deeply devoted employee. The next morning, I'm called back to the Bureau urgently. Tess has me walk through everything that happened last night. They're not perverted enough to be monitoring my personal life. It's just that the surveillance team on Yara flagged that she entered our residence last night. Tess is holding a strong coffee, dark circles sitting clearly under her eyes, but that calm, measured smile hasn't moved. What a group of troublemakers. You don't need to worry about Yara for now. The Bureau will allocate resources to help her locate her brother. An uncontrolled, catastrophe-class other kind operating in our jurisdiction is too large a risk to ignore. Director, you called me in this early just for that? Report delivered. Can I go? I have a major class this afternoon. Tess sets down her cup and comes over, patting my shoulder the way someone older would. You remember what I mentioned to you before? You mean the temporary transfer to Support Squad 9? I remember. Good, come in. Tess snaps her fingers, and the office door is pushed, open from outside. In walks Vera, looking thoroughly unenthusiastic. She gives me a single cold glance on her way in, then ignores me completely and heads straight for Tess. Tess nods at her with a smile, then tilts her chin in my direction. Aren't you going to say hello to your new captain? Vera gives me a perfunctory look and says reluctantly, Captain Lucian. Just call me Lucian. I rub my nose, feeling awkward. Tess said the whole squad voted for me, but this girl clearly isn't sold on the idea at all. Tess reads me instantly. She takes a calm sip of her coffee. Don't doubt what I told you. Felix was the first to nominate you. She was the second to second it. Vera turns her face away. It clicks. Vera is a textbook tsundere confirmed. Vera, since your captain is here, I'll announce the order directly. Effective today, Lucian is temporarily on loan to Squad 9 to assist with some urgent situations they're dealing with. While he's away, you have full authority over Squad 7's day-to-day operations. Vera doesn't hold back. Our squad is down to 3 people. What exactly are we supposed to accomplish with that? It finally hits me. The reason she's been cold all morning, I took the captain position and immediately got shipped off to another team. For a squad that's already been through the worst, that stings. The order comes directly from above. Follow it. Tess's voice drops a degree. Vera turns her head slowly, still sulking, but saying nothing more. While I have you, let me brief you on the Bureau structure. The Tianhai branch falls under Nanling Province, and within that, I have class this afternoon. I cut her off quickly. Although I was never a top student, I fought to get into this university for Amber's sake, not academics. Nothing changes the fact that long briefings put me to sleep. Tess doesn't push it. She just pats my shoulder. You'll pick it up as you go. Tonight, after class, report to the Paranormal Affairs Division. Someone will be there to receive you. I'm genuinely touched, but also confused. That soon? It's an urgent situation. That's why you're being sent at all. Vera scoffs. You're Bureau now. Why are you still going to class? Tess shoots her a look. They're not stealing your captain. It's a loan. I don't care about him. I just don't want the squad sitting idle. After leaving the Bureau, I head straight to campus. Lyra actually comes today too. We run into each other at the gate. People are giving us strange looks. I don't care anymore. Let them say whatever they want. After walking Lyra to her building, I run into Landon. Lucian, that girl at the barbecue place was actually Lyra? I don't even know where to start. Tell him what she is? Or I'm her blood source? We're walking toward the building when a voice calls out, Lucian. Landon and I turn at the same time, and both of us freeze. A tall, striking girl in a school uniform is smiling in our direction, more precisely, at me. Oh my, isn't that the transfer student everyone's been talking about? That's Yara? Yara walks straight up to me and wraps her arms around me in a light embrace. The students nearby look baffled. Someone starts whispering. What's happening? She's always ice cold to everyone. Who is that guy? He's not even that good looking. Let go of me. I pull myself free, and before I can breathe, a wave of freezing pressure hits me from behind. Lucien, what are you doing? A familiar voice carries a barely suppressed fury. I go rigid and turn around. Lyra is marching toward me, biting the inside of her cheek, radiating fury with every step. Landon's jaw is somewhere near the ground. Lucian, who is this one? Yara doesn't move an inch. Her mouth curves into a cold smile. What's wrong? Only you get to claim him, vampire? The moment their eyes meet, the air between them hardens, like a catastrophe-level fight could break out any second. Every student nearby takes a step back, instinct. Caught in the middle, I press a hand to my forehead with a headache, standing between two catastrophe-class forces of nature who cannot stand each other. A memory surfaces from somewhere. There was a time my biggest dream was a steady job, an ordinary life, an ordinary person to share it with. Now look at this crazy reality I'm stuck in. Surrounded by dangerous other kind, walking the edge of life and death every single day. This damn life has strayed so far from what I originally imagined. But I look at their faces, vivid, real, completely alive, and feel the sunlight, warm and almost blinding. And I laugh. This is fine. This is actually fine. Compared to that clean, quiet dream, I think I love this messy, unpredictable, real life more. Hey, stop spacing out. Start explaining. Lyra comes at me. I spin around and sprint for the teaching building. Two catastrophe-class girls give chase. The entire campus watches with their jaws on the floor, accompanied by our playful chase. Through the campus, the sunlight scatters gold everywhere. This is where my new life truly begins.